one of those life-consuming poisons on the internet.
Yep.
One of those doom scroll initiatives.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know this, but apparently there's if I'm not mistaken, because, excuse me.
God bless your soul.
Thank you.
God bless your soul.
I also always give a disclaimer whenever I see any kind of like medical information online. Like I saw this on YouTube, so I don't know how real this is, but
it's 100% real.
Yeah. The internet never lies, right?
Nope, never.
But what I saw was apparently there's a small percentage of people who are blind who actually see nothing.
Interesting.
Blindness is apparently not what we think it is. There's like a spectrum of blindness, and a lot of them do impair you to the point where like you can't see. It's not to say that like, but apparently there's a very small percentage of people who actually literally like just see like just darkness. Like from what they showed, there was like glasses, I guess, that they sell or give out at doctor's offices or something like that are meant to like simulate what it's like. And so a lot of the times it's like spots and like darkened areas on the eyes. So like there's peripheral, right? But then there's like huge black blots like over like the main parts where you'd be able to see. So like so I tripped. I never do that before. I just assumed if you were blind you just saw nothing. See shit. Yeah. So I was like, wow, I guess
that's maybe just because how it's portrayed, like all the time.
When we see
like,
it in movies and
this dude just has the the black glasses on, and he has the walking stick, and he can't, he's freaking.
And then I think the other thing too that at least jaded me personally is it's like I think about something like Daredevil, right? And it's like he has that where he's not like fully blind, but he is blind. So I was like, oh, you must have to be a superhero in order to like fucking see or some shit, So it's just pop culture jaded me, man. That's all. I tripped out.
It'll do that to you, man.
It really does. It's almost inevitable. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Clink. Yeah. Real tasty.
Nothing beats a good Paloma, man.
No, never. I'm always partial to a Paloma. Yeah, it's Halloween.
Hell yeah, it will. I'm gonna drop this tomorrow. Fuck it, I'm gonna fucking drop it tomorrow so it can be on Halloween. Okay. So happy Halloween, motherfuckers! You already know what it is. This is 2-Hour-TV, where two guys get too high and talk about a little bit too much TV. This is your first time listening. You clicked on this because you were scrolling through Spotify for I don't know how long, and you're like, wow, this is kind of interesting. Let me click on this.
Yeah.
Welcome.
What's up?
This is where every single week, me and my homie Daniel, we sit down and we pick a couple movies, TV shows, anything media related.
Pretty much.
Could be video games too. We talk about video games a lot. And we sit down and we just discuss them. We talk about them. We give you like the reviews from the consumer's point of view, right?
Yeah.
We're not these super crazy. Oh, now I got to sneeze. Goddamn.
Do it. Yeah. Salud. Bless you.
Woo. My sneezes always come in twos.
One more and I would have given you the Gesundheit.
Gesundheit.
After that, I run out of languages to bless you.
Gesundheit. Salud.
Salud, yeah.
Gesundheit.
Gesundheit and bless you, that's what I know.
Yeah, bless you.
That's about it.
There's got to be something.
There's of course, yeah.
But yeah, we give you guys the very...
casual reviews.
Casual consumer review, like...
We talk about our opinions on things. We're not really trying to be like unbiased reviewers, I don't think. We just talk about like how it affected us. I mean, we have tried to be better. We've talked about it. If you've listened to us before, from time to time, we'll try to put our analytical hats on and, be a little more highbrow about it. But for the most part, we just talk about what we like, man.
Yeah.
Or if we don't like, we agreed. Sometimes it's fun to just shit on stuff.
Yeah. Like last week we talked about Scooby-Doo. Second one sucks.
Garbage.
Hot
garbage.
It's terrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But we liked the first one.
Yeah,
we liked the first one.
Yeah.
And after we were like, damn, that's a good episode.
Yeah. This week's choices for me is going to be very similar because I really enjoyed one of the movies, not so much the other one.
I enjoyed both of them. I definitely enjoyed one more, but I don't know. I liked both of them. I think I liked both of them about the same. I think they do a couple different things for me. They're both very different horror movies.
Yeah,
one
definitely.
is very, very much your traditional, like, scary horror, like gonna get you horror movie, and the other one is a little bit more psychological and
it
deals with a lot more of like topics that are very like hot nowadays, poverty, race, classism, how we treat our veterans, all this stuff, that tickles that part of my consumer. Like, definitely. I really like, you know,
it gives you a little bit of a deeper layer beyond,
a little more grounded,
yes,
you know.
Yeah, not that horror can't be deep on its own without needing to like relate to real world things, right? Like,
I mean, shit, Black Phone's literally about a kid learning to stand up for himself.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's one of the most basic stories you can get. Yeah,
that's so funny.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just like thinking about that. Like after I was watching the movie, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
This dude was like, hey, you got this story about this kid who like he needs to learn how to stand up for himself. Yeah. But guess what? It's going to be a horror movie.
It's basically just a giant metaphor for, like, anti-bullying. It's just like an anti-bullying PSA, just like the worst bully you could ever think of. Like, this bully kidnaps you and kills you. Like, they just went super hardcore with it.
Naughty boy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, I think I can agree with you on, because I think we're talking about the Purge, right, when it comes to the more, like, nowadays topics.
Yeah.
And obviously we'll get into it more a little bit later, but I just wish that the directors, writers, whoever would have treated me with a little bit more intelligence. That's all. I felt like they were beating me over the head with that stuff. And I was like, I'm not dumb. Like, I know what you're trying to do. You're just going you're pushing that pedal a little too hard for me, you know?
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. But again, before we get there, before we get into everything,
just a tease.
I did want to start off a little bit more on a serious note. And we did have a few passings in the past couple weeks.
Oh, I only heard about, I remember too. Yeah.
In the you know, the movie TV world, we had Richard Roundtree, who did play Shaft in Shaft.
Crazy. You know? We literally just covered that shit.
Exactly. Man. So that was a little bit surreal because we just got introduced to him and then the blaxploitation genre of films that you know, inspired a lot of, you know, modern films.
Tarantino's and whatnot.
Exactly.
Well,
So that was very surreal, like learning about that, seeing that, like, damn, like we just... Crazy. Like I'm glad like we got to watch and appreciate that movie before his passing, right? And we really got to give it the flowers that it, you know, probably, I wouldn't say like people don't give it the flowers, but I don't know, it is probably more of like a very like niche movie like nowadays. Like I don't think a lot of people are being like, hey, have you seen Shaft from 1971?
Yeah,
you know?
at least not people. I was gonna say kids. We're not kids anymore, but people our age, I think it's probably less common because like I've certainly heard my dad and like my tios and stuff like that, you know, they're like, bro, you ain't never heard of and even they'll hit me with the Shaft, right? Shaft, so Shaft. Like obviously it's iconic. I think it's just something that's probably missed on our generation. Yeah. And so I agree with you. I'm glad that we got a chance to delve into that before the unfortunate circumstances, because it's not to say that like your viewing experience is like jaded or anything like that, right? But I think when actors or just artists in general pass, there's kind of a tendency of like, and it's a beautiful thing, right? But like I can imagine some fans might be turned off by it, where it's like oh man, I've loved Shaft this whole fucking time. It's like now that he's dead, you want to watch Shaft or whatever, you know? So it's like it's weird. It's a weird landscape, the internet.
Yeah, exactly. And then most recently, we had the tragic passing of Matthew Perry.
Matthew Perry, man, I know.
If you guys have ever watched Friends, it's the homie Chandler
Bing.
Yeah, man, that was a crazy one. That was another one that was very surreal for myself, because when he was very relatively young, you know, 54.
Oh, yeah.
He's not old whatsoever.
No.
Maybe to young kids that are like 6 years old, they're like, dang, you're old, man.
You're old.
But, you know, still generally relatively young to be passing away, right? And, yeah, man, that one was just a little crazy, because I remember just in high school, like, loving Friends and, like, watching that, and that being my first experience, being like, wow, this is fucking awesome. And also Chandler being someone that... that at least for me, I feel like I related to like a little bit more on that show versus like, you know, Joey is cool, Ross is cool and stuff like that. But I feel like I always was like, Chandler's my guy. Yeah. Like I really loved him, you know? So it was definitely like, it was crazy, man. When I saw it, it's one of those things where you're almost like, this is not real.
You don't believe it.
You know, you don't believe it whatsoever.
You want it to be a fake post.
Exactly.
Like, because,
And fuck, man, it was just, it's just so crazy. It's like, it's going to make that, then whatever next time I go and decide to dive into Friends again and watch it, it's gonna be that much more emotional.
Most
you know?
Definitely, yeah. I think it's tough too, because like obviously only those who are close to him know what was going on in his life around this time and whatnot. But for us as like audience members and what little nuggets of information we get, like from what I understand, he had like, you know, pretty troubled life.
Oh yeah,
I've heard the stories on Friends, you know, about if you watch the show, you can see it happen in real time from season to season, right? So I don't know, it's like No, I don't. It's. I don't want to say bittersweet, but like it's almost like the Robin Williams thing as well, where it's like you hear after the fact how much pain, like some of these people really are in, and how much they hide, like for the sake of us, right? So that we can just be happy and laugh at friends and shit like that. And it's just like, it's tough, man. It's a really, really tough thing.
Yeah, man. And he, like, he had his time on the big screen too, in like those rom-com movies. You know, I really like the movie 17, like with him and Zac Efron. That's such a good fucking...
that is a good movie.
Such a good fucking movie,
I forgot that he plays older Zac Efron, basically. He plays
that's
the dad version.
That's such a funny pairing. Like,
Zac Efron and fucking Matthew Perry.
We get Zac Efron and, hey, Matthew Perry, you're going to be older Zac Efron.
Yeah, super funny. I wonder what came first, the chicken or the egg. It was probably Zac Efron first.
It's an Ouroboros, man.
Yeah, it is. Oh, God. Yeah, exactly. I never even realized that's what that, like, dragon was called, and that's also Obi's name. It's going to be... something for sure. We'll get there. We'll get our 15 minutes of Loki.
Yes, guys. Thoughts and prayers to the families, the friends, the loved ones of Richard Roundtree and Matthew Perry. We loved both of them.
We did.
We appreciated what they did for us and making us laugh and bringing smiles to our faces and bringing enjoyments on maybe days when we didn't we weren't enjoying shit. So.
Rest in peace, man.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Yeah, it's crazy. We did mention it when we did the Carrie episode as well, but they always say they go in threes. And Piper Laurie, too, the woman who played Carrie's mom. Yeah. As well. Crazy, man.
Yeah, that was another fucking crazy one where I was like, dang, we just did this. We
did this. Yeah, it's crazy. Man. Crazy. But anyways, rest in peace. Short moment of silence.
Exactly. All right, let's take a drink.
I don't know how long you're supposed to do a moment of silence.
How long is a moment?
But thank you for the enjoyment. Thank you for the happy times. Thank you for the laughs, for the scares, whatever they may be. We appreciate your work, and it will live on forever.
Hell yes. And just one more serious note that I've wanted to touch on, but I haven't known how to touch on. I just want to say for a moment, if you guys aren't familiar with what is going on in Israel and Palestine and all that stuff, I definitely do highly recommend you do some research.
Get educated, man.
Get educated about what's going on, because it is very serious on what's going on. We are literally living through a genocide right now, like what's going on out there. So, again, I'm not the person that's going to sit here and tell you guys all the details about why it's fucked up, how it's fucked up. Obviously, it's fucked up on both sides. We got people from both sides that are, thousands of people that are on both sides. So we don't support the loss of human life, as I think what we're trying to say. Politics aside, there is just too much tragedy and suffering happening right now, man. It's just not okay, dude. It's tough, man.
Yeah.
I literally had to delete Twitter today because I was like, I can't subjugate myself to all of this. It's tough, man, because it's like a place where you really want to get like your news, because that's kind of where everything is. That's where you get your fucking news now, But it's just like, fuck, when you're on there and you see just like, this is going on, that's going on, like, this and that. It's like, it takes a lot out. It takes a lot out. And I was just like, got to the point today where I was like...
That's the tough thing about, I think, just news outlets in general, and then I think social media in particular, is it's like, those things are just echo chambers, man. Like, one post gets reposted and redone and this and that and whatever, and you just can't escape it. And, to a certain extent, that's... I'm not going to necessarily say a positive thing, but it can be a useful thing to be able to have that information as widespread.
It's important to not be ignorant to the things that are going on outside of just your immediate, everything that's going on around you. Like, obviously, we all have our issues and we all go through shit.
And that's okay.
And that's fine.
Yes. We're not saying, your problems don't mean anything, because I'm very much of the belief that you shouldn't compare one person's problems to another. But there is a global catastrophe happening, not even just like a nationwide or like countrywide. Like, literally, this is like fucked up on a human level, man. Yeah.
So yeah, guys, do your research, get educated. I'm not going to sit here and rattle off every single thing I've learned from every single fucking documentary I've watched and listened to and read about this.
We're not always a politics podcast. We talk about very light stuff every now and again.
Yeah, I just thought like, it's been on my mind the past like few weeks. And I've been like, man, I really, not that we have like hella people that listen that need to be like, what do these guys think about it?
But we do have a platform in some sense or another. And I'm I'm down, and I like that you brought it up because it's important to use stuff like this to get that information out there. Yeah.
At a certain point, you really have to just sit there and just be like, hey, these are as much as we like to have fun on this podcast, and after we are for sure going to have fun and talk about a lot of great things. But I think there is a moment when you do have to sit back and be like, hey, this is what the fuck is going on. And this is, like, again, it's ignorance is bliss to an extent, right? Like, if you are unaware of whatever's going on,
then you don't got to deal with it.
You don't got to deal with it, but it's just crazy shit that's going on, and I do think it's worth just talking about. Like, I think talking about it is important, you know, like, if you don't know what's going on, fucking learn. Fucking learn about that shit.
Yeah, and figure out ways that you can help and support as well too, right? Because talking about it is good, and you do need to get word of mouth out there, but that can only do so much, right? At a certain point, you have to start taking action as well. And as much as it might seem like taking action to repost something or put something on there, that, again, is important, but it only does so much. Yeah. So take it that one step further as well, too.
Exactly. Yeah. Research, find out where you can donate and do anything like that, because there are literally a whole generation of people, like a whole ethnic group of people being wiped out at the moment. And again, I think that should just be on everyone's radar so everyone knows what the fuck is going on. Yeah. Don't be so jaded and just think about what you got going on. Again, like we said, not that what you got going on isn't important, but there is a whole grand scheme of things on just a humanity level that I think everyone needs to be aware of. You know, so that's my thoughts on that. I'm not going to go into too much more. Just again, do your research.
Yes. Stay informed. Very important in this day and age of information and misinformation.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
But all right. Enough with the serious topics.
Now we get goofy.
Now we get motherfucking goofy. I finally fucking finished Spider-Man. I 100% of that shit.
Oh, good. Yeah, I remember you texted us in the group chat. Yeah, you got your platinum trophy, right? Oh, my gosh. Yeah, it's way too good, bro. It's crazy. I'm playing it again. I'm almost done with it again.
Damn. I will say there's no new game plus for it yet, right?
No, it's gonna release by the end of the year from what they've said.
I need that because I don't want to go through the game if I don't have that.
I don't care. So I
get it. I like it, but I just got too attached to what.
Your upgrades and
my upgrades
stuff,
and everything.
The suits you unlock. I get it. Yeah. I'm just a fiend, bro. That's all it is. Yeah.
I just love doing my combos with all the different like special abilities that you have. And it's fucking all the gadgets are so fucking good. I don't remember myself using the gadgets as much in the last game.
Yeah, me and Diggs had a conversation about that just when he and I were texting. It's like, you get less of them in this game. You had more options on the wheel in the first one, but they're so much more useful in this one. It doesn't even matter. Oh yeah, you don't miss the old ones at all.
They're so fucking fun to use. I love the I think the one you get on X when you fucking
Ricochet. That one?
Not the Ricochet. It's the one that I think X might be Ricochet, but I think the one I'm thinking of is the one where you fucking it pulls all of them together. Or
the web grabber.
Yeah, the web grabber. That one's
my favorite
awesome.
is you go web grabber, Ricochet web, upshot, concussion blast, and then you just take out whatever's left. Dang. Like, it's crazy because like the game, I think they built it on purpose that way, but there is like a flow chart that like you can kind of mix and match because all of the gadgets work in tandem with each other, like and the abilities too.
The best thing is when you upgrade like the concussion
to the Sonic one.
Yeah. But then like when you upgrade it all the way, like you get all the other Sonic ones.
The micro blast.
Yeah, the micro blast.
Yeah.
And then you just use like I would use that, and then I would use the grabber to pull them all back, and then they get hit again on the second way fucking through.
That's good. Yeah, it's crazy. Like because it makes some. I will say this because you don't unlock the ultimate difficulty until you beat the game once. If I'm not mistaken.
I'm so scared to play the ultimate difficulty.
It's actually hard. I'm not going to lie to you. I have struggled with the boss fights in particular. They got really difficult, like, after you get the black suit. Like, for the most part, the beginning ones are fine. The lizard pissed me off fucking hard.
Yeah.
I had a super hard time as well with Peter in the black suit when you fight him as Miles.
Oh, yeah.
Kraven was easy because they overpowered Venom super hard, so that didn't matter. But I am for sure dreading the final fights of the game because it is difficult, man.
Because that Venom fight is pretty fucking challenging.
Already as it is, it's already hard. On like the spectacular mode or whatever it is. Yeah, so yeah, Ultimate is definitely a welcome challenge that I appreciate because I told you, like, I struggled with some of the bosses in the last game. But certainly not to the. I'm not the last game. My first.
The last playthrough.
Yeah. But certainly not to the extent that I've been struggling this time. I have, like, actually gotten angry in the way that I do when I'm playing like Dark Souls or something. Like, not to say that it's the same level of challenge. Don't come for me, FromSoft fans, okay? I know Spider-Man is baby Dark Souls or whatever, but it definitely has certain challenges to it.
Oh fuck yeah, dude! Yeah. I'm not the craziest gamer, so I definitely had a harder time with Spectacular than for sure you did.
Oh, okay,
and yeah, there were some where that I was just like, fuck, dude, this is like the MJ fight when she gets the symbiote suit. That shit was hard.
The scream shit was intense.
That shit was hard for me.
That's another one I'm dreading too. I died a few times on that, even on Spectacular. Yeah,
I died a bunch of fucking times.
Yeah, it gets hard there because I think what happens is they ramp up the difficulty very quickly. Like the end of the game, all of a sudden, just gets super tough.
Yeah,
which is good for the stakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, it makes you feel like you're in the end game of stuff. But yeah, I was like, whoa, dude, where the fuck did all this come from?
Yeah, that was fuck, dude. Yeah, the game was so fun. I think this is the first game I've ever 100%ed for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you not even do Survivor?
No, I didn't even.
Okay.
I think I almost got there. I can't remember.
I thought you did. Did you do Harry Potter? Hogwarts Legacy?
No, I almost got it, but like once you finish the game, that shit gets low-key kind of boring.
Oh, 100%.
Like once you finish it,
when the main story's over, you have nothing to look forward to.
It's like, what is there to fucking do?
It's a beautiful looking world.
Yeah, I just don't want to fly around too much.
Yeah.
It's not as like, even with like the Spider-Man game, like I finished and I've done everything and I can't do anything more. I guess I could go and get like all the tech from all the boxes, but
I don't think those are even like a checklist. I'm pretty sure those regenerate.
Yeah.
They just spawn randomly.
And even I'll throw on music. Like I have like Apple Music downloaded on my PS5.
Oh yeah.
And I just play music in the background on my headphones. I turn off the sound for Spider-Man and I just start fucking swinging. And
dude. Okay, I'm glad to hear you say that because me and Diggs need to send you the invite because ever since Spider-Man 1, we've had a joint playlist. And we've made two. We consolidate it all into one for this game because it's Miles and Peter, but we need to add you on.
So what kind of music is on this? I'm very curious because I think your guys' taste in music is way different than mine.
Sure, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean it varies. I can pull it up really quickly, but it will go back and forth between. We have of course included, some of the scores on there, especially some of the more famous ones from both the games and the movies. But in terms of like jams that are on there, let's see. For Miles stuff, we have things like California Dreaming, Hypnotize, Empire State of Mind, some Roots, some Kanye, there's some Childish Gambino.
Nice.
Obviously Diggs added these ones, but I still vibe to them. There's some Outkast on there, Kendrick.
Heck yeah. Okay.
You get into the Peter stuff, and again you're looking at like some classics. So like we have just for vibes. I don't know if you remember, but it's a big staple in our childhood, the fucking Hero song that they played in the end credits of the Tobey Spider-Man. And they say that a hero can save us. Dude, okay. Yeah. That song's cheesy, but swinging to that shit with the Raimi suit on, bro, fucking hardcore vibes, dude.
Yeah, I went on and I was playing because Brett Faiyaz dropped a new album.
Oh, I think I saw you post that. Yeah,
fuck, dude, that fool's just so fucking good, bro. Like that fool has a crazy voice, and like on everything, he's just gliding on everything, and it's just so fucking crazy.
Silky.
But he has this song, Best Time. That's literally fucking like a minute and a half long. But I throw that shit on repeat and I just swing around just because the beat's crazy and he's like singing hella crazy. Like the beat is very like simple. It's like boom, doom, doo, 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 boom, doom, doo, doo, doom. Yeah. And then, but all of a sudden, like the sample comes in and he just starts singing. And you're like, oh my god, this is crazy. But yeah, I've just like I've thrown on like a lot of like R&B, throw some Drake on, and then just be swinging. And I'm just like, damn, this is fucking awesome.
It's good because what is so fun about like that is, and I mean, Diggs have had so much fun doing, is like there's two things that you can do, right? Or I would even say three. There's some that are just vibes where it's like, all right, this is just a good song to be swinging around and like beating up on some homies. There's some, I guess, like traditional where it's like you can live out the fantasy because you can put the amazing suit on and then listen to the amazing like soundtrack, right? So you can like literally recreate like the fucking opening to Amazing Spider-Man 2, like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And then there's also the goofs, right? So like one of the ones that we got really into is like it's not in this game yet, but in the old ones you could switch between day and night, and we got really hooked on swinging around at night to like angsty 80s songs.
Oh yeah.
So we would
yeah.
put on like Journey, and then we would, and you would be like, "Oh, Peter just got in a fight with MJ," so he's like all sad, fucking swinging around at night, like, "Someday love will find you." It's so good, bro, and it's just like such a good time, man. It's fucking hilarious. Great. So yeah, I will for sure send you the fucking invite to that playlist. You can throw some jams on there, bro. It's fucking fun. It's just, I think the other thing too that they have nailed better than literally any other game I've ever played is it's just so fun to move around in this game. Like, it's the best traversal system, hands down.
It's
There's
ridiculous.
nothing that comes close.
I will also say the fast track, like if you do fast travel,
it's crazy
so,
tech,
it's
bro.
So seamless.
It's
literally ridiculous because it literally drops you in like around like a general area of where you picked, and you're literally just swinging it. And it's
you can literally pinpoint. Like I tested it. Like if you choose a street, like it'll put you on that street.
Okay,
it's fucking wild, bro.
Yeah,
it's insane.
But there's no loading screen. Like you play Assassin's Creed and you want to fast travel. Like, you gotta wait through a loading screen. That shit kind of sucks.
Yeah,
it's
you pull up your phone, you're sitting there, you like take a hit or something.
But this is just an instant. You pick it, you probably wait like a few seconds to like
hold the button,
and then you drop it.
You see the animation, Even with the Spider-Man switching, even that's super quick. There's like a black screen for maybe half a second to do the transition.
Oh yeah, and then you're
very quickly into whatever little animation the other Spider-Man is doing at that time or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I didn't know the running around the bases was a trophy, and I just did that, and then I got the trophy. I was like, "Oh shit, nice, hell yeah!"
I'm curious. Did you do it as Miles or Peter?
Miles.
Okay, I also did it as Miles, and I went back to try to do it as Peter because Miles has like a voice line that gets triggered when you get the trophy. But I think it's only triggered when you get the trophy because I even did it on this new game that I'm playing, and when I run around, Peter doesn't say anything. So I'm like very curious if like Peter either has like the same line or a different line or just doesn't say anything at all.
That's hella funny.
Because Miles says something like, "Oh, base is loaded, like Spider-Man's on the pitch," or some shit, whatever he says.
Spiders win, blah, 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 something like that.
Something goofy, a Spider-Man pun or whatever. But
that shit was just hella funny because I was just swinging around. I was like, "Oh, baseball field."
Yeah.
And
check this out.
I dropped down and I was like, "Dang, I'm going to run around the bases." And I did. And then I was like, "Oh, shit. Nice, a trophy."
Dude, what I've been so addicted to this playthrough is photo mode. I probably have like 50 plus photos now that I've been taking, but like some of them it's just hard to not like sit there in awe and just like in particular I got to the Venom mission last night again where you play as him, and like holy god, like it is just beautiful to look at in still images, like when you see all of like the goop like falling off of him, like the Vavas in his teeth and shit, bro, like it's so detailed. But also it's just really fun to do like goofy ones. So like I did like a whole like photo shoot where like do you remember the mission where you infiltrate Kraven's like mansion?
Yeah.
And then you find the cat, right? The big cat, the tiger.
Yeah.
So like he passes out, and there's a posing mode. So I fucking put Peter right next to the cat, put him into like a pose where he's kind of like this, like laying down, and then just you can like scroll through the stickers and find little like text bubbles and stuff. And so the one that I put on there is like, "Oh, you must just be a riot at a party," or something like that. Yeah. So just like goofy shit like that too. It's like so fun to play around with.
That's hella funny.
Yeah, but I love that game. So what are your thoughts on the ending of the game? Were you satisfied?
Let me think about the ending. I was. I don't know. So I think overall story-wise, I thought it was a really great story. Yeah. I liked it. There's a bunch of different storylines that they're juggling, and I think they do a fairly good job of touching on all of those. Like, you have the stuff with Peter and him, Harry coming back and him, Peter loses his job and then Harry gives him a job, blah, 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 blah. You have all the stuff with MJ, in the background where she, might lose her job. You have all the stuff with Miles and everything like that.
College and all that.
Exactly. Yeah. So you have even the stuff with Kraven where he's like literally like has cancer or something, he's dying, right? Yeah, he's dying and he's just looking for his last time, final hunt, so he can fucking die as like a warrior and stuff like that, So there is a lot going on. I do think they do a pretty good job of handling all of them. I do think they focus on Peter definitely a lot more than the other characters, which is fine. Like we did have, the first Peter game. We had a freaking a Miles game. So it only makes sense for them to focus a little bit more on Peter, given the fact that we just had a Miles game.
Yeah, so I think that came out in like 2019 or 2020 or something like that.
So it's not super old. Yeah. I thought the Harry stuff was good. I would have liked to have like I feel like the stuff with Harry, it's just like you get the suit and like you see him here and there. I think most of the story with him is through like phone calls from when you're like swinging around and stuff like that. So I would have liked to have seen him a little bit more. I do see like the comments online of people like, damn, he was just like Venom and he is a one-dimensional character. I don't necessarily agree with the fact that he is a one-dimensional character.
I don't either, yeah.
I do see though how like he does feel underutilized a little bit, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't think they use him to like his fullest potential, but I still think they do a really good job with him. Again, it's just hard when you have like a bunch of fucking characters that you are trying, you're trying to get storylines in. So I do see that. I will say I was one on the podcast where I was like, if you don't give me Eddie Brock Venom, I'm not fucking having it, bro. Like, I don't know if I'm down with Harry.
It's a good replacement.
And I thought they did pretty fucking good. I thought they made it very convincing. It makes sense that, he has the suit. He's feeling good. He does all the superpower, superhero stuff.
Yeah,
and then,
the Age of Venom tease. Not a tease, but like an Easter egg, sort of.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, he has to save Peter, give up the suit, and then you see, like, what that does to him after. So it makes sense.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I think whether you like the execution or not is up for debate. I think in terms of an idea, I think this is miles better than Eddie Brock Venom.
Yeah.
It's just way more personal.
Yeah. And it like, if you just drop Eddie Brock in here, I don't know if it hits as much as it does,
Eddie's he's not fully one-dimensional with all the stuff they've done with him lately in comic books, but like, he's very much just like a classic revenge tale.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Spider-Man ruined my fucking career or whatever it was. I hate Spider-Man now.
I freaking hate Spider-Man.
Yeah. I think this is a lot more impactful on Peter. And it I think adds more weight to just like the guilt that he already feels from like what happened with the suit and then letting it take Harry and stuff like that too. It's good. Yeah.
I will say I wasn't like, I would say in the moment, I really liked when Miles like revived him.
Oh, yeah.
But I would say removed from it when I've gone back and kind of sat with it more. I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of that. I would have kind of liked to have been like Peter finally has to, like, he does have to kill someone, but he has to do it to save, everyone.
Else,
and he does it because Harry's like, hey, this is how we're going to heal the world.
Yeah.
I feel like it does get undermined a little bit by bringing him back. I'm not I'm not pissed about it, but I was kind of like, damn, this is a super impactful moment.
Yeah.
And you kind of almost ruined it by just like, hey, we're just going to revive him right here.
Sure, yeah.
But it like, it's not the worst thing.
Yeah.
But just removed from it and like just sitting with it, I was just like, dang, I think it would have been like a little bit more impactful for me if he would have just died. But I think that's just who I am. I just think I want to see people fucking...
You want to see him bite the bullet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think I was skeptical about it. It's funny because I think for me it was the reverse. It was that I was in the very moment, obviously I was overwhelmed by the emotion of what was happening, but immediately after the game was over, my first thought was like, oh fuck, well what are they gonna do with him now? Like he's just sitting in a bed again now. So like
he's just a vegetable.
Yeah, it kind of just puts him back to where he was in the first game. But I think afterwards I really liked it because I think that like not a theme, but an idea at the very least that I got in this game, especially playing it the second time around, is that like, and I think I've seen online discourse that like some people are kind of pissed off about this. I really like it, and I'm a fucking hardcore Peter Parker fan. I love Miles, but Peter is my guy. So I am okay with this, but I think that this game makes a point of showing that Miles is a better Spider-Man than Peter is. 100%. He's more capable. I think he's not ridden with the same guilt that Peter has for the job of being Spider-Man. He did lose his dad, but it wasn't in the same way that Pete lost Uncle Ben, where that was a direct result of him not using his power. So he's like a little bit more free to be Spider-Man the way he wants to be, rather than in order to fulfill some like impossible goal to your dead uncle, right?
Yeah, it's probably also easier on him being younger and the closest people around you actually knowing your secret and not having to keep that and harbor it from everybody.
And he has a mentor who is also literally the original Spider-Man.
He has two mentors. He has Spider-Man and he has his uncle.
True, that's true. He's got Uncle Aaron to help him out as well, which is nice because it's a good dichotomy, right? Because you have the hero and the criminal, but the reformed criminal.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the things that I love so much about this game is that the eternal struggle of Spider-Man is that Spider-Man, very much like Batman, does not kill his villains, right? Most superheroes don't, but I think most superheroes don't have qualms with killing people. Like Iron Man will repulsor blast somebody and fucking like put him in a coma or whatever, and he's like goes back to being Tony Stark. Captain America's literally from World War II, like so on and so forth, right? But Spider-Man very specifically has a no killing rule, and I think a lot of people will just say it's like, oh, because he's a goody two shoes. But I think if you read a little deeper than that, it's because Peter like is just one of those people that just believes in the goodness of humanity and the potential that people can have. And I think I've read it in a comic book somewhere. I think that's literally what he says. And I could be misquoting this, but it's like, you don't know the potential for good that somebody has, so you can't take that off the board, even if they're doing bad right now or whatever. And so it's a constant struggle for Peter Parker Spider-Man to try and reform his villains. And he's done it from time to time. But what I really like is that in this game, Miles does what Peter could never in this universe. And he fucking turns Martin Lee into a good guy, basically. Maybe not perfect. He's not absolved of all of his sins. But
he even says, like, I can't forgive you.
No, but I need to.
But I can't hate you anymore.
Yes, exactly. And that's just, like, such a cool, like, passing of the torch moment to me. And especially just, like, the little moments that you get across the whole game of Peter just, like, really just being impressed with Miles. Like, there's just those little glimmers of, like, pride where he's like, damn, this kid's got it. Like, this kid's fucking Spider-Man, dude.
Except when he makes his fucking last suit. That shit looks like fucking ass.
I disagree. I really like it. I think it looks good. I know that that's the popular opinion. I did not realize that I was in the minority here because I really like it a lot. And the only person I talked to about it was Diggs, and he also liked it. I think it gets more hate than it deserves. I don't think it's like the best Spider-Man suit, but I think it's definitely like a meme right now, and it's like a little too much because I don't think it's that bad.
I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think it's kind of like, it's also weird him being like, this is Miles' original suit when his own suit he fucking made himself.
Well, I think the point is that like
the suit he has now, like he made that shit himself.
Yeah, but I think the point is that like the other suit is basically just a Spider-Man suit but black and red. It's not like a new design, if that makes sense, you know? Like it's just a color swap.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't the fucking. Yeah, I just wasn't the fucking big. I wasn't the fucking biggest fan of it, dude. It was just fucking.
We talked about it last time. I think the suits in general are weaker compared to the last two games, and you know, it is what it is. It's all right. I liked it. I think it's cool. I like that it's. To me, it feels like this universe's rendition of Miles. Like to me, it does feel like it fits his character. On top of that, I like that it feels new, but also incorporates the original color scheme because he is red and blue again, right? With like the Venom shit that he has and whatnot. And honestly, I just dig the Adidas. I like the idea of just like, fuck the big old boots and like something that like just wear some comfy fucking shoes to go Spider-Man in.
I'm all with that. I think I'm not the biggest fan of like
Is it the open top? Do you not like the hair poking out?
I don't even think it's that. I think I just literally don't like.
Is it the spider? The way the blue is or whatever?
I think it's just that. I think it's just too much for me. I don't like a whole lot with my Spider-Man outfits. Yeah. And I think that's very like...
It's very MCU. It's over-designed for sure. 100%. It's over-designed. Like there's too much going on it. But I just don't mind. I think it's good.
Yeah. It was cool. It was whatever. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I was just kind of like, eh. Like I don't like. I think it's nice in the context of like his powers and like.
Yeah, because he has the new Venom.
And
Venom
I guess
powers.
that's kind of cool. But yeah, I'm just not the biggest fan of like all the big flashy like all the colors and like.
Yeah,
because
it is already very red, and then he has.
It makes me wonder like how do you do stealth missions?
Yeah,
how do you do stealth missions?
I mean, stealth shouldn't be part of Spider-Man if you ask me anyway.
Why not? What do you mean? Spider-Man stealth shouldn't be part of Spider-Man.
Spidey can sneak around people, but like. That was what, because okay, we can be honest, right? The game mechanics in terms of like taking out bad guys, it's just Arkham, right? Like have you played those before, the Batman Arkham games?
No.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, it's just Arkham. That's exactly what it is, right? And even in the first game, I remember thinking to myself like, okay, this feels a little bit like an afterthought, like in terms of how fleshed out the combat is, in compared to how simple stealth is. I don't need it. Like. Just get rid of that and put more into the combat for me. Because, like, honestly, by the time I get strong enough, anytime I go into a mission where they're like Peter's whispering when he comes in, I'm like, I know you guys built in lines where he's just going to yell anyways if I start fighting, so I'm not going to miss the dialogue. I'm just going to jump down there and fight.
Yeah, that's cool.
But, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't need the stealth in this game.
I think I just like being stealthy. Like
Sure,
I like that.
I
Like,
like it in other games.
I like sneaking around.
Yeah.
Like that shit's cool to me. Yeah, I fucked with a lot of the stealth missions. I think a lot of the times where they give you the option of be stealthy, and it might take you a little bit longer.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take that because I think it's it's like a game within a game for me. Like,
Yeah, sure.
You know, like you're trying to figure out how you're gonna position yourself to take out all these motherfuckers so they don't see you, especially on Spectacular. Like, you really got to be pretty quiet. You know.
I just wish it was harder. It's
that's true.
It's not difficult enough stealth for me because like it's mindless. Like all I have to do is shoot web lines everywhere until somebody walks in and it shows safe, and then I press a button and it's over. Like
I like that.
It is simple and it's fine.
I like the idea of being like a spider.
Sure, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like I'm gonna shoot over here,
webbing them up and putting them in your shit.
Yeah.
And stuff. Yeah.
But there also does get to a point where I'm like, how are these people not just like walking around being like, hey, what's this dude doing up here?
It's immersion breaking sometimes because like your web line is like maybe at the roof and then they're hanging from that. So their feet are very much in their vision.
And sometimes you'll fucking smack someone into a bar and you're like, does no one hear this?
The one that gets me so much is when you stealth the birds, Craven's birds, because you like kick them and they like explode.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, shh, nighty night. And it's like totally fine. And I'm like, okay, that thing just went boom and nobody heard it.
But I fuck with the stealth missions heavily. I will always do a fucking stealth mission. I love being stealthy. I love dressing up in the Miles, the all black forever suit, and being hella stealthy.
Oh yeah, that one's awesome. That's a good point. But okay, so the only last counter argument I'll make to the stealth thing is that the MJ ones are good.
Yeah, those are fire.
Focus it there. Divert resources away from trying to make Spider-Man stealthy and put more game mechanics into MJ stealth missions so that they're more fleshed out. They were better this game for sure.
Dude, they were way better.
Way better than the first one.
Yeah.
I think the last one kind of sucks though. It annoys me a little bit. It slows the pace down too hard.
Oh, it does. It does.
Yeah.
It is a random spot to put an MJ mission.
Like the first two, I'm super down with. The first one I think is really fine. It's not like anything to write home about, but it's cool. Second one is really good because that's like when you're being chased by like symbiote Peter and stuff. Last one fucking sucks because you're like in the middle of the finale and then they're like, hey, play as MJ. And I'm like, fuck you. I want to fight Venom. Like,
I love her fucking gun that she has.
Yeah,
her gun
cool.
is so sick.
Yeah.
When they're like,
the web shooters and the sonic blast. Yeah,
when they're like,
cool.
here, shoot this gun at these guys. I'm like, this is what I'm good at right here.
No, that's cool. Yeah.
I'm an arcade shooter guy. Give me a fucking gun and give me some fucking arcade homies to shoot
I
at.
was laughing to myself because, like, I think I noticed it by the time I got to the second one, the suburbs one, where you're running from Peter. But like, you're basically just playing Last of Us at that point.
Yep,
that's all it is. Like, she even has like the backpack sometimes, and it's like doing the same animation stuff. I was like, okay, it's the PlayStation family, so it's fine. But yeah,
and it's just so funny. All these like enemies that Peter has to fucking really work hard to take out. She's just like
one-shotting them.
Yeah. I'm gonna sneak up behind you. And all these hunters are supposed to be like the best hunters like in the world.
MJ can sneak on them. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Little, immersion breaking here and there, but we can forgive it.
Yeah, but it's a fun ass motherfucking game.
Yeah,
it's
really
so
good.
fun.
It's really good.
Definitely worth putting in the time and doing the 100%. I think you get a lot of very fan service moments within getting certain trophies and completing certain missions.
Yeah,
even
definitely.
I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. Complete the Spider-Bots mission.
Oh,
complete that shit.
One of the coolest Easter eggs in the game.
You're going to want to complete that one. Also do the flame missions. All the flame missions, you're going to want to fucking do that one for sure.
Yeah. I hope that is DLC rather than like saving it for the whole next game.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about too, because I was like, that's a lot you're going to have to put into that game.
Yeah, and I just think it's like
because I imagine the person we're referring to is not going to be the main villain of the because you can put him as a main villain, I would say.
Yeah, 100% you can. Yeah,
but I don't know if you're going to do it in this next game because it'd be so pretty much just.
Well, a couple. Let's just really quickly, for those of you who haven't played it, I'm gonna spoil who we're talking about right now.
Okay, yeah,
so sorry.
Let's do it.
But anyways,
spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Because my initial thought was we're talking about Carnage. The Flame missions reveal that Cletus Cassidy has the red symbiote. He hasn't put it on yet, but he has it. Mm-hmm. And so my initial thought was, okay, do number 3 and make Norman and Carnage the main villains, because just recently in like the last few years they did a story arc in the comic books called Red Goblin, where Norman gets the Carnage symbiote and just goes fucking nuts because he's already psycho. So like with Carnage attached to him, it's crazy. And so I was like, that's cool. I think that would be solid. Like that would be fine. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, I don't want to wait another 5 years or 6 years, whatever it ends up taking, just to go back to like more symbiotes. wrap that up here and now in your
Yeah.
symbiote game so you can move on with like Green Goblin and Doc Ock, whatever they want to do, what they teased and stuff.
I'm curious as to what they're going to do the third game, because did you see what like the creators said about like the first one steps, being like Iron Man, and the second one being Civil War,
last one's Endgame.
So like, what does that even fucking mean? Like, what is that like?
I think to
like, what is Endgame for Spider-Man?
To me, Green Goblin is Endgame because like, you know, you can make a lot of arguments for who is like Spider-Man's arch nemesis. A lot of people say Venom. Some people say Doc Ock. I think especially in recent years, like since the release of 2018 Spider-Man. But for me, and I think in general, it's pretty much always Green Goblin. And like, because Norman Osborn has such a personal connection to Peter in a way that like some of the other villains don't, which is not the case in this universe because they have given each of them that personal link, right? But typically speaking, Norman can just fuck Peter's life up hard, like really fucking hard. And like, I think that's what I would like to see them do is just a lot of these games, Peter fails, especially in this one, right?
Dude, yeah, but, like we were saying last time, it makes you wonder, like, how the fuck was this full Spider-Man just by himself?
Beforehand, yeah. Well, I mean, that's part of the charm of him, right? Is it's like he always gets into situations that he probably can't handle, and he just Spider-Man's his way out of it.
He's like, damn, the world's ending? Fuck, I'm just Spider-Man.
I guess I'll just have to deal with it. Like, it's classic, right? Where's the fucking Avengers when you need them? Like, kind of vibe, right? But, yeah, I think Norman Osborn... I think just seeing Green Goblin go up against Spider-Man is already endgame enough. That might have something to do with the fact that we grew up in the Raimi era. So like our first introduction to Spider-Man is Spider-Man versus Green Goblin. But like that is already epic enough to me that they don't have to do everything else. But if they capitalize on everything that they have teased in this game, I've heard a lot of people talking about Daredevil possibly being in DLC or the next game because like the Nelson Murdoch plaque isn't there anymore.
Yeah,
like,
and then when they asked the creator straight up, he was like, you guys will find out.
Yeah, he's like TBD or some shit, right? Yeah. So I think what would be cool, especially since he referenced Endgame, is that maybe Spider-Man 3 taps into the larger Marvel universe finally. So Norman obviously already has immense resources as it is. So if he just goes full fucking tilt psycho, includes Doc Ock in that as well, they can cause some havoc, right? And put the world in shambles. So I think that would be like a cool next step.
What if they go like multiversal Spider-Man?
I could see that too. That was my initial thought. The only thing that I wondered is who's the villain?
Yeah.
Who's a big enough threat that you need to include all these different spider people to take on like the one bad guy or two or three have they been doing? But
well, I mean, shit. If we like take Into the Spider-Verse for example, like
they did this at Spot.
We did, yeah. We all thought beforehand, like, oh, who the fuck is
Goofy?
Yeah, Spot's just gonna be this first villain that he just beats the fuck up, right? And now he's like the big bad of like the third one. You know?
Yeah, true.
So who knows? Who knows what lengths Norman will do to try to save Harry, right? Yeah. Because he does have this reverse, like Raimi Spider-Man 1, where like at the end of Spider-Man 1, you know, Toby brings back dead Norman, and fucking Harry's like, what the fuck, you know? And it's
fuck
kind of,
you, Spider-Man.
it's the reverse of this, you know, where Spider-Man literally brings him to the fucking hospital, and Norman's like, what the fuck did you do? He's like, brought him to the hospital. What do you mean?
Yeah, what's so good, and these are not my thoughts. I can't remember if it was actually Brian Intihar saying this or if it was the people interviewing him who said it, but they basically say something along the lines of that, like, Norman is obviously hardcore deflecting, right? Because he's the one who fucking put Harry in the symbiote to begin with. So deep down, he knows that it's his fault. He introduced the problem to the board, right? But he's a pretty selfish guy and doesn't really care about a lot except for his money and power. And then in this game, we kind of see a second dimension, which is like he really does give a shit about Harry. I think maybe it's it's definitely not healthy, but he does truly care about his son, I think, and they do a good job of showing that. And it's like a nice thing that I feel like I've never really seen. Maybe I haven't read enough Spider-Man comics. Maybe there's a story out there, but like more often than not, like I just see Norman and he just like kind of despises Harry. He's like, you're such a fucking failure. You're an idiot. Like, you're so dumb. Like,
and I think also, like, especially, like, you're bringing up how we are, like, Raimi Spider-Man kids, right? Like, I think a lot of the times in that movie, like, Harry was like, my dad, blah, blah, blah.
I hate my dad.
My dad fucking does all this shit, you know? And
which
like,
he sucks.
Yeah, and this, it's not so, like, I don't think you ever hear like, oh, my dad sucks. Like you kind of hear like, you know, my dad's a little much. Yes. Like when when Peter first goes to the Emily May Foundation.
Yeah.
And he's like, dang, this is a startup. He's like, yeah, you know, my dad put in like hella money, you know, which like, again, it's like, I think on the outside looking in seems very much of like,
like a I hate you dad kind of thing or what?
Not like an I hate you dad. Like from the outside looking in, like a dad giving their son hella money to just do all this looks like like a nepotism move.
Yeah,
you know,
like a nepo baby.
And I think he sort of Harry feels like that. Yeah. He's like, you know, my dad didn't have to do this. Blah, blah, blah,
well,
blah.
he also they save face very much, and like there's a Danicast episode that plays like immediately after this moment that we're talking about that like even hammers it home even more. Mm-hmm. But there's very subtle lines where they go above and beyond to show you like, yeah, Harry is a nepo baby, but he's responsible with his money because he's like, I made some changes, diverted most of my salary into like everybody else's, like made sure it blah blah blah. And it's like, all right, Harry's a good guy. He does come from this like money hungry, power like grabbing father who is kind of a piece of shit, like a corporate asshole. But he's trying to use those resources in like a helpful way that is genuinely helpful to the world. Mm-hmm. And so it's a good balance between the two of them. And I like it. It's good. I like Harry a lot in this.
Yeah, I think that this game did a lot of good things on just not like the combat side. I feel like we talk a lot about just like how fun the fighting is and how great the missions
mechanics are in the fucking
But like
bag.
the stories, I think the story is really good and it holds its own. Like, like even like I was telling you guys, like this is very much like a story on like, you know, Spider-Man trying to balance like being regular people and also being Spider-Man.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
you know, you have Miles with like going to college and he's really putting that off to do like Spider-Man stuff. Yeah. And like Peter's telling him the whole time like, hey, focus on like college, like do all this, like you're hella smart, like make sure you're doing this.
Definitely.
And you have Peter who's trying to low-key move on from being Spider-Man because of Miles, you know? And it's like this crazy like it's something that if you're not that I'm saying if it's not a big thing, not that I'm saying it's not a big thing in Spider-Man, but I think sometimes it's not touched on like super hardcore.
Certainly
you know?
not in the movies. I think that is the eternal struggle of Spider-Man, especially in the comic books, right? Is it's like the balance between Peter Parker and Spider-Man. But in the movies, they do not do anywhere near as good a job of these games do as portraying that. Is that it truly is a struggle, and his life crosses over so much between those two things, and it's like, how do you entangle all those webs? Like to figure out how all that shit works, right? And
even the beginning when he's like literally a teacher about like, hey, can you come help me with this? And he's like, fuck, and you're like, fuck, dude, like you're literally gonna be fired for being a teacher.
But he has to.
The
school won't exist if he doesn't go be Spider-Man. They'll get smashed.
And like even when he's talking to the teacher, and like there's like this huge disconnect because she doesn't know what he's doing. No. Like, you know,
she doesn't realize that by abandoning the kids, he actually saved them. In a way, right? Yeah, no, it's tough. Seems very difficult to be Spider-Man.
Crazy being Spider-Man, yeah. I could imagine. Yeah, I saw a post on like, would you like if something about like would you rather take like $50 million or like the powers of being Spider-Man?
Being Spider-Man.
And it's just like, and someone was like, do I just get the powers or do I also get all the bullshit with being fucking Spider-Man?
You mean the responsibility? Yeah. It's written in the fucking first entry. Yeah.
Like, do I just get all the cool shit?
Yeah. Nope. Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, I will say on my second playthrough, there is one part of the story that I found a little weak. And I think that like the Norman kind of like reaching out to Peter and then Harry getting jealous. Yeah. Kind of fucking comes from nowhere. Like, I get it to a certain extent, you know, because like they do a lot of legwork in the flashback sequences and like the moments where they do get to just be friends together where like they might not show it on screen in this game, but you certainly feel the depth of Harry and Peter's relationship. Like they really feel like best friends, at least to me. But that didn't sell me on like Norman's connection to Peter and him. Like
it's just it's super random.
It feels like they needed a reason for Harry to be like get pushed over the edge, you know, and to like go full like fuck you, Peter, like blah 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 blah. Yeah. And so that I didn't really even pay much attention to it on the first playthrough, but the second time when I got around to it, I was like, this kind of comes from nowhere. It doesn't really make a lot of sense for Norman to like break down to Peter right here.
Yeah, I remember on the first playthrough being like, "Dang, he hella like just went there." Like it was like
cries like a blubbering fucking
random,
baby to him. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I guess it makes sense like in the story because he's just freaking he's stressed out. He's trying to find another cure for Harry. Blah blah blah. All this stuff, and he's just kind of maybe just emotionally just like dumping onto fucking Harry like at the moment, because he's probably not a guy that knows how to express his emotions very well.
Oh hell no,
100%. That's why he buys Harry all this stuff, and he so. It is random. There was just like a lot of like exposition right there where he's just like, "You guys have been friends for so long." Yeah, and I remember we used to blah blah blah. You're like a son to me here,
I mean, that's the double-edged sword of how Insomniac has decided to treat this universe, which is like
they're just dropping you into the universe and they're not building it out. It's like
and I think
we're giving you all this tidbits of information.
I love it. I'm not even gonna say I like it. I love it because it is useful and good for fans like us who know the like wider history of Spider-Man. So it's like a satisfying way to include these little hints and stuff of like, oh, you know where he was and this is where he is now kind of vibes, right? But at times, like in this, it has its weak points where it's like, okay, maybe I would have liked to see a little bit more of that relationship, but like, just give me another flashback mission. Like Peter and Harry go for ice cream and Norman took them or some shit, something goofy like that or whatever. I don't know, some shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, really good. It's awesome. So
guys, Spider-Man 2, go get that shit. You gotta have a PS5 to go get that shit. So sorry, go get a PS5. But find someone who can get you a PS5 for cheap. Yeah, kind of. That's what we did.
Fastest selling Sony exclusive ever.
Yeah. It was pretty super crazy. Good. The gameplay's fun. Like
story's fantastic. Yeah. Side content is like top tier. I have
way better than the first game.
I even just compared to other games, I haven't played a game in probably like 4 or 5 years that I have actually like felt like meaningful like gameplay in the side content. Like all of the Spider-Man shit that you do outside of the main story feels very Spider-Man. Yeah. Whereas like in any other, like even the last Spider-Man, it's just busy work. Yeah. It's like go find the drones or go find these pigeons or go find this or go do that.
Go beat these people up.
Sure. Yeah. It's like simple stuff. But I think if I'm not mistaken, there's not like a single side mission that doesn't have like an actual rendered cut scene and like voice work attached to it. Yeah. Like pretty much all of them have stories written for them.
Yeah. All the side missions you have to do. Yep. Have a story.
It's good shit.
Oh yeah,
real good.
Go get a PS5. Yeah, go buy that shit. Yeah. But all right, shall we get into some Lokester?
Some Lokes?
Some freaking Lokester.
Let's do some Lokes.
Let me
I'll hit the timer.
Let me text Effort back real quick.
We're gonna hit 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's do 20 minutes.
Okay, yeah, this one was a little heftier.
This is a heftier
definitely a heftier episode for sure. Yeah, I liked it a lot. Let's see. Recap. Where did we leave off in episode 3? I have such a hard time trying to connect everything because it's very like.
At the end of episode 3, we basically had.
Timely's back at the.
We had the TVA. We had Mobius and we had Loki take Timely back to the TVA, and then we had Miss Minutes take Ravonna to the end of time, basically.
Yes. Yeah, and then that's where we pick up as well. We start with Renslayer and Miss Minutes, right?
Yeah, because we learn at the end of episode 3 that there was this big secret.
I have a secret. It's gonna make you mad.
My theory was wrong. I theorized that she was gonna be a variant of.
As far as we know right now. Yeah, it has neither been confirmed nor denied.
Exactly. Yet. So actually, I won't say I was wrong. I will say I haven't been right yet. You know, I'm not right yet. I'm never wrong.
I like it.
I'm just not right yet.
That's good. Yeah.
But so we learn that her memory was wiped, basically. So we get a replay of what we're presuming is the end of the first multiversal war that
it's the
He Who Remains basically freaking won.
It's also the audio recording that we heard in episode 1.
Yep, right? Exactly.
We get the actual like live action version of it, if you will.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's
she was the leader of the armies. We come to find that like not only was she instrumental in like supporting him, she literally commanded the armies that won the multiversal war for like whatever version of King this ended up being, the one who became He Who Remains.
Granted, he could have picked her because she was a variant of King, so
true. Very true. Yeah. I think it was satisfying to me. I was like pissed for her. I was like, yep, that's pretty ass. Fuck that shit. Like that's a dick move. It wasn't like the most. I wanted them to maybe go a little crazier with it, but it fits within the story, and so I think it works well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it was crazy to me. The fact that he was just like, yeah, erase their minds. And she's like, are you sure? And he was just like, yeah, just fucking do it. I was like, okay. So yeah, she basically tells him like, hey, let's go back. And TVA is waiting for us. Like, we're going to go roll it together. And he's like, oh, I'll catch up with you. And she's like, all right, leaves. And he tells Miss Minutes, hey,
wipe all their memories.
Yeah. And so we're just like, oh, fuck. So she learns that. And then pretty much her and Miss Minutes scheme together and are like, hey, how about we just do this ourselves? Maybe we don't need him. Maybe it was just you all along.
Which it certainly was not.
1000% was not.
Yeah, Renslayer's real bad at this. She's got a hardcore ego on her, and she's not pulling their weight.
And Miss Minutes is just pissed off that Victor Timely
doesn't like her back.
Just doesn't like her back,
Pretty much. Yeah.
So yeah, they're plotting together, and then we get Victor Timely that's back at the TVA, and pretty fitting for him to pretty much spawn just like right in front of
the Kang statue.
The Kang statue, and he's just like looking around like, oh my god, like this is the TVA, this is all I freaking read about, blah blah blah. And he's going around like looking at all the stuff, like pretty much mesmerized about all of this.
I mean, the fucker comes from like 1890 something or whatever.
Yeah, and he's like, holy shit, this is all I've ever fucking dreamed about my whole life. You know, he gets to see the mural of like the Kang freaking war basically and everything, and he's tripping the fuck out. Sees his hot cocoa machine, and he's like, oh my god, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah, that was weird. That was like a, I don't know. To me, that had like it almost felt like. Almost, not exactly, but almost felt like plot convenience because I was like, all right, I get it. He would be mesmerized by a hot cocoa machine for sure. But I don't think he would walk away from the end of like the multiversal, like the end of all things. If like for that, unless he has had a plan this entire time, which I think he has. I don't think he's been truthful with our main group of heroes. I think this Kang is also like a conniving, conning artist bastard, which they showed us in that last episode. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so we'll get there at the end, but I don't think everything we saw was exactly what we think we saw.
I think the hot chocolate machine's fitting because I think he is just like mesmerized by temperature control, just in general, because you know he has that chair that doubles as like a refrigerated fucking
that's true
chair, and he's like, oh my god, look how cold.
That's true.
And he's like, what, you have hot cocoa? He's like, oh, how the fuck does that make sense? So I think he is from 1860 whatever.
There's a machine that does it for you.
Yeah.
But
definitely. Also the fact that he's like, hey, I made a cold chair, and now you're telling me there's hot cocoa. There's a hot cocoa machine. Trip out.
Let me
bro.
check that out, dude.
Let me check that shit out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he goes and he's tripping out on the TVA.
Yeah.
And Loki and Mobius are like, hey,
Focus, bro.
Yeah. We need your fucking help.
Yeah.
And they take him back and they meet Obi.
Yeah. Really good meeting of minds there, I think. It was like a super wholesome moment. Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, super wholesome moment. I think I really liked it a lot. If Kang's not lying. Or not Kang, sorry. Victor Timely, technically.
Yeah, it is random because they get into the whole, like, you know, Victor Timely is, a big fan of Ouroboros because Ouroboros wrote the TVA handbook, and that's what was given to Victor Timely back in 1860, whatever. Yeah. And Ouroboros is mesmerized by Victor Timely because he met, bless you.
Thank you.
I got the sneezies today,
I know, dude.
Yeah. But he's mesmerized by Victor Timely because he learned everything from him.
Yeah. So it's like that weird, the Ouroboros.
The Ouroboros, right? The snake eating its own tail.
Yeah.
A lot of crazy shit. What
shit with that. What came first, the chicken or the egg type of vibe? Yeah, definitely.
Life and rebirth, all that fucking, that fucking shit.
Yeah.
But I like that. I like the interactions between Jonathan Majors and Ke Huy Quan.
Me too.
Really is that how you say his fucking name? I don't know how to fucking say it.
I don't. I think it is Key.
Key something. Yeah. God, I'm so sorry. I'm so bad at pronouncing names.
Yeah.
I apologize.
I think both of us also just have bad memories, so we probably looked it up before and then just forgot.
Yeah, I have a terrible memory. I'm pretty sure we probably looked it up like last episode and the episode before that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, the whole problem that Obi is having is like
Obi and Casey,
yes, because they're trying to devise the loom. They're trying to add a part so that'll expand the loom so it can take in all of these time threads and thread them together. And Victor Tom was like, hey, I was having the same problem when I did X, Y, and Z.
Until I invented this little thing. Yeah, he's got the little spinning sphere thing, whatever it is. Yeah,
I don't know what the fuck that is.
It's apparently... See, this is why I think he's conning them, because that's the secret special project that he's looking for when they get to his lab at the end of the last episode. He's like, wait, there's one last thing that I can't forget or whatever. And it's like that. He looks at it and he's like, what is that? Or somebody asks, I think it's Miss Minutes, like, what is that? And he's like, this is my greatest invention yet or some shit. So like, it seems, I don't know, like how much he was putting on it very much seems too convenient for him to be like, oh, I have this thing that works. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it seems bland.
Yeah, the way they've been writing him has been very interesting because, again, I'm with you. Like, I don't know whether to trust him. I don't know whether to not trust him because I've had times where I'm like, no, this motherfucker's lying.
Yeah.
But then I've had times where I'm like, damn, like, this fool's telling the fucking truth.
He does seem like he's trying to be different than the other kings. Yeah,
exactly. Especially the moment at the end where he's like, nah, like, I'm going to go out. Like, you know,
like, I can make my own. Oh, yeah.
I got to be brave, you know, and stuff like that.
Okay, see, that I read the opposite. To me, that was the con.
But why? He's just going to get torn apart.
Did he, though?
Yes, dude. He got torn apart.
No, because look, I didn't come up with this. My dad did immediately after. What if all of those threads was him? They literally just created the multiversal Kang problem. In that each little spaghetti string that just spun out of Victor Timely is now a new variant that lives on all of the excess timelines that are in that room. He just spread himself across the multiverse.
I'm not mad at that.
I'd be down for that because, like, for them to just... It's not the worst. I won't care if they're just like, yeah, Kangs exist everywhere across the multiverse. Don't worry about it. They're all really bad. That's fine. I don't care. Like, that'll work well enough for me. But if they can build in an origin for him of why that happened or how that happened, and we actually have seen the origin of Kang, and we've seen, like, Kang Prime in a sense, I think that's better. I think that's cooler. So I would like it if that was the case. I also just think it's... I mean, they have shown us across the MCU in general that they're not afraid to kill Kangs. This is the third one that's died. If you take it at face value that Victor Timely is dead, right? They killed He Who Remains. I mean, I guess he didn't really die in Quantumania. He just gets, like, sent back into the microverse or whatever. But
still gets fucking beat by Ant-Man.
Yeah, he gets smushed up super intense or whatever. Yeah.
Jesus Christ,
maybe he just wasn't the best Kang. It's all right. We'll see one later. It's fine.
This fool's fucking killed every Avenger apparently, and then all of a sudden Ant-Man comes along. He's like, "Oh, I got some ants, and I'm gonna fucking beat you." Fuck that shit, dude. Fuck that shit.
Teach their own. But anyway, on Loki, where everybody can agree that Kang is cool.
Yeah.
I think it's just very suspicious to me that they would put so much emphasis on this Victor Timely character just to kill him off.
Yeah.
That's all. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like, if we just don't see him at all for the rest of the season, I'd be pretty surprised. Like, if he is really genuinely just dead.
No, I think we're going to see them because I watched the trailer for, like, the next episode.
Don't tell me.
Don't tell you? Okay.
No, because I heard it's very spoiler filled, and I don't want to hear anything about it. I want to be surprised.
Right, so I won't talk about it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm down with that theory that the spaghetti Kang is
like him splitting.
Like splitting off.
Yeah.
I'm kind of down with it. I feel like that is very convenient to just be like, oh, we split him off, and he split off into the, you know,
all the multiverses. Yeah. Or whatever, yeah.
What I think is going on is I think the collapse of all of that is just the beginning of the Kang multiversal war. Because I was watching this video and they were basically describing, like, so what if this line, so each universe basically,
it's like a thread, right?
It's like, but like just in general, right? Like, so when our universe got created, we had a big bang, right? Everything before that came together was in a really small fucking ball, hot molten everything, then exploded, blah, blah, blah.
Sure, yeah.
And when universes live and die, that just happens again and again.
Yeah.
So what if the whole multiversal big thread that He Who Remains had was just him not allowing the universe to
like Big Bang, to reset.
To Big Bang and reset. Because if it reset, then that means all the Kangs would come back.
Well, that's a given, because he literally spells that out for us at the end of season 1.
Exactly.
Like, that's almost confirmed.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah,
so what if this is just like
the reset of that? I mean, I could see that, and I am totally down for that.
But I will say the only hole in that for me is just where does Victor Timely just fit into that whole into that plan?
Yeah.
Like, why did he obviously had a plan to give him the book, so why does he even give him the book and just let the universe just explode anyway? That's the only thing where I'm just like, why does that, you know?
So the one thing that I told my dad and Ev after we finished watching it was that what if Loki and Sylvie made the incorrect choice at the end of season 1, and Kang has it built in as a failsafe to where that's because he's very nonchalant at the end of season 1, right? He's literally on death's door. He knows he's about to die, and he doesn't really give a shit. He's just like happy about it almost, right? So what if the true ending that is supposed to happen is that, yes, the torch is supposed to be passed. Kang is supposed to be gone in general, and the sacred timeline is meant to be kept by someone else, so that Kang is no longer a threat in the universe.
Yeah.
And they chose wrong by killing him and unleashing everything, right? But the reason why he's not worried and he is so nonchalant is that he has a failsafe built in to, like you said, run everything all over again. So it'll reset. Like you said, the Kang War will start. The TVA will be created. Years and years will pass. Iron Man, Avengers, everything happens. Loki gets pulled out again, goes through season 1, ends up at the end of time with He Who Remains to hopefully make the right choice this time. So it's like a loop, like a built-in failsafe.
And Ouroboros.
Yeah, exactly. To where until somebody makes the right call of like basically him realizing like, hey, I can't be here. I'm going to continue to fuck shit up, and all of my variants will fuck shit up until you decide to take over everything that's happening here. Until that day comes, we're going to have a problem, and I'm going to make sure that you get another chance to do it again.
That makes sense, because that is like Loki's whole thing, I think, throughout this season is like trying to figure out himself whether Sylvie made the right decision or not, and trying to think about whether what He Who Remains was saying, like what he was saying was true. Because that is a thing where he's like, fuck, like
he can't tell still.
He can't tell. He's like, he in the beginning he's like, there was this guy, he was saying this, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And he had a point, and like, like so.
I think that's the thing about like Sylvie is very sure because she's traumatized, right? Like not to say that Loki is not, but she is specifically traumatized by Kang and the TVA, so she really can't make a level-headed decision until we get to season 2 when she like kind of starts to chill out or whatever. But all of season 1 and even in the beginning of season 2, she's just like a fucking wild card. Like if you put her in the same room as anything to do with the TVA, she's gonna go fucking full on chaos, right? And that's not, I think that like the thing that they've kept quiet and kept subtle is that, like you said, Loki's still not sure. He's just betting on the other side because he's seen what happens when the other thing goes, and that was bad, right? Yeah. So he's still, I think, still on the fence as well. Like I don't think he even knows what the right call is yet. He's just, like he said, he's just like, dude, I get it. You just want to go live your life on the timeline. That's totally fine. But if we don't figure this out right now, none of that's going to be there. It won't exist. The timelines will explode or reset or something, and they will cease to exist as you know them. So if you want to save the home that you have built now, we need to do something about it.
That makes sense as to why he like prunes himself at the, because we get to...
Yeah, we get the full circle, right?
We get the full circle. We get basically the full recap of like episode 1. That shit was so crazy, bro. That shit was... This episode, I think, is probably my favorite episode of any Marvel show, like for sure. Like, it was just so good. Like, I liked being brought back into that episode and being like, oh my God, okay, this is where we're at. Yeah. This is what we're fucking experiencing. Yeah. Also, couple that with, like, how much of, like, a horror episode this felt like, with everything that goes on with, like, Doc's, like, and her crew and, like, all the other shit. Like,
yeah,
it was crazy, bro.
Oh, I agree that it was crazy. I've been seeing a lot of people say, like, most horrific scene in the MCU. I'm like, nope, not to me.
What's the most horrific one?
Anything out of Doctor Strange is more intense than this. Like, give me Scarlet Witch going freaky Scarlet Witch and snapping Professor Xavier's neck. That's more hardcore to just seeing a little CGI clock smile and hear. It's disturbing. Don't get me wrong, but for me, it's not like the top of the top. I was like, ooh, this is fucked up, but it certainly wasn't the most gruesome thing I have ever seen. Because you don't even see it. You just see the reactions.
That's the thing, bro. You don't need to see it to know it's fucking crazy.
Sure, but
and then you can hear the blood fucking dripping through the friction.
Sure, yeah. Like I said, I'm not trying to say that it's not disturbing. It's just for me personally, I disagree that this is like the most hardcore thing that they've ever shown in the MCU. I don't think.
I fucking think it is. To me, like when I want, like I will say, like the stuff in Doctor Strange was pretty fucking crazy and creepy.
Yeah,
they do go ham.
Reed gets turned into spaghetti, bro.
Yeah, but
I did it first.
I think, but nothing to me in that was just like, oh my God, this is like disturbing. It was shocking for sure, being like, oh my gosh, like seeing all your superheroes die.
It has to do with tone, right?
Yeah, but I think seeing this, I think what made it disturbing is seeing Doc's being like, okay, yeah, I'm okay with fucking dying right now in this crazy, horrific way because I don't fucking agree with you.
That was satisfying.
Because I've been, like, the veil's been... uncovered, like everything's been revealed, like the people that I've believed in, the 3 fucking timekeepers or whatever, all that's fucking fake. What am I supposed to fucking believe in now? She's going through that and she's like, I'm gonna fucking die versus being a part of your fucking TVA and trying to redo fucking all of this,
See, because like for me, that part of it wasn't disturbing. That was satisfying. That was like to a certain extent almost heroic because it was so fucking wonderfully awesome to see her, because her line is literally, how does it feel to know that we would all rather die than help you? Fuck you, Renslayer. Like, get the fuck out of here with your bullshit. Like, that was a moment almost of triumph that is then put into a different lens of like, okay, well, it is cool when like people sacrifice themselves for stuff, but now you got to watch the not watch, but you got to see it through somebody else's eyes. You got to see the sacrifice happen in a way.
Yeah, I thought that shit was fucking creepy. I was just like,
no, very intense, super disturbing for sure.
And yeah, just seeing Miss Minutes just being like, this is fucking great. I was just like, damn, this shit's fucked up.
Yeah.
Shit is fucked up.
Yeah, definitely.
But what else can I say about this episode? Yeah, it was just fucking.
We got about 3 minutes. We should probably hit the ending, because the ending is obviously pretty shocking.
Yes. Yeah. Let's hit the ending. So basically, Victor Timely and all them, they construct their
the little doohickey.
Yeah, it's called the
temporal loom.
I mean, they create the loom.
Yeah.
But the it's just such a fucking crazy name.
It's a Marvel Science doohickey name.
Exactly. Yeah. So they create the fucking thing, and they're trying to figure out who's gonna fucking go out there, because also their whole thing is like, the radiation waves are gonna be way stronger than when Mobius fucking was out there.
So you gotta go quick.
So we gotta fucking run down there. We gotta run back. And Loki's just like, all right, I'm gonna fucking do it. Especially after the first part of the episode when Obi was explaining. And Mobius was like, haha, Loki's going to do this. And Loki's like, why do I got to do this?
Yeah,
and then
by
the
end.
It
looks like you.
Yeah. And then by the end, Loki's like, all right, I'm going to go fucking do this. And no thought about it. He's like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then Victor Timely's like, nope, I'm going to fucking do it, right? Yeah. And so they're like, all right, cool. They suit him up and we get ready. And we think the basic Marvel thing is going to happen, right? We think what happened in the first episode is going to happen. He's going to run out. He's going to do it. He's going to come, boom, 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 run back. Maybe, get scathed on the way. But
did you really think they were going to be successful?
No, 1,000%.
I knew they were gonna fail.
What I was gonna say, it was funny because before that I was like, "This motherfucker." I literally
not
said,
gonna work.
I literally said verbatim. I was like, "This motherfucker is gonna die."
Yeah.
3 seconds later, he opens the door, and just fucking
spaghetti,
gets turned
bro.
into fucking spaghetti.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my god!" Like that was jaw dropping.
That was better than the Miss Minutes thing for me. Was seeing him scoot up into stuff like that. That was more hardcore to me.
It was more shocking.
Sure.
I think it was shocking. It wasn't as disturbing.
Tomato, bro. That's the same shit. That's the same shit. Them's are synonyms, bro.
Nah, I don't think so.
But yeah, it's definitely very intense. And then I think what happens afterwards is even more intense, because everything blows up basically, and
they're like, what happened? It fucking didn't work.
It's not true, right? Obviously, we have 2 more episodes, so something's going to happen. But they try to fool you into thinking that, like, everything blew up. The TVA is done. Sacred timeline is kaput. Everybody got blasted into oblivion, and there are no more timelines to consider, at least right now.
Yeah. It does make you wonder, because definitely a lot of the discourse online has been like, oh my god, the MCU is getting like rebooted right now, blah, 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 and all that stuff.
That is one of the things that I'm somewhat concerned about, because I had this concern all the way back in like the first episode when they were like, they're pruning timelines left and right. I was like, if they really want to, they could just be like, oh, you didn't like this show? That lived on that time over there. That timeline, which is now pruned. So like it doesn't exist anymore. And like, I don't know. I don't like that. Like, if you've made mistakes, deal with them.
Yeah, it does. It feels like a cop-out.
Just carry forward. Like, don't pander to fans that hard. Just stick with what you've done and try to pull the nuggets of goodness from those lesser successful things that you can to continue those things on. Like, don't just reset everything, dude.
Granted, that is literally what happens in comics. Like, they'll have a big event, and they'll be like, oh my god, everything's just rebooted and it's just started over again.
But it's a different medium, though. It's certainly much different.
It's an adaptation of that media.
No, but the thing is that like comic books move on a much faster timeline than movies do, so they're not as impactful, I would say. Not to say that comic books cannot be impactful, but you get a new issue of a comic book every month. So as much as we take for granted characters on a movie screen, you almost take them even more for granted in comic books, because we know that people can die and come back and it doesn't matter, and universes can be reset because it's printed, it's drawn. There are no real human features really to attach to. But when you have actors that have worked for literally 10 plus years at this point to build everything that it is a much different thing to just say, nope, none of that exists anymore, than it is to just wipe out Because the other thing too that happens is this, right? Is that like while resets do happen in the comic books, they do what I was saying, and stuff gets pulled over.
Yeah.
It's never just a full reset of like we're starting completely over. It's like 100 issues in. It's like, remember that old universe that we just terminated? Somebody from there actually survived, and they're sending out an SOS, and now we're gonna blend them both, right? So like, if they do go that route, I'm still hopeful that that doesn't mean that everything in the MCU thus far is just entirely irrelevant, because as much as people have been unsatisfied for the last, 4 years, right? I would say after Endgame is when people probably started to get pretty pissed. Motherfucker, there's still 11 years of good shit that we loved. Like, don't just get rid of all of that. Like, you can't do that shit, man. I would be very disappointed if they did.
Yeah, I don't think it's like discrediting the old stuff, but it's just like wanting to build upon what's already great with already like stuff that is just as good, if not better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but why can't you just do that? Like, the multiverse exists. So, like, just blend some timelines into a new sacred timeline. You don't need to. That's the real problem for me will be a reset. If they really try to say, like, Iron Man didn't happen the way you think it did. Captain America didn't happen the way you think it did. The Avengers didn't happen the way you think it did. Endgame didn't happen the way... If anything from what the sacred timeline, right, gets touched or altered in any way, I will be upset. I'm not going to be super happy about it.
I don't think they'll ever go as far as to say, like, all that stuff never happened, but I can see them being like, hey, we've been without Iron Man and Captain America and all of these people for a long time. And Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans and all these people don't want to play these characters anymore. So how about we reboot so we can cast someone else to be them? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying like...
No.
Okay, and I'm not saying that like... Again, like, I'm not saying it'll happen, but I'm also not saying it won't happen.
Yeah.
Like, I think on a business level, for someone like Disney or Marvel, like, I can very much see them...
they want to get
like,
the cash cows back in.
Do I ever think they're going to say, like, all the stuff with Captain America and, all the stuff with Chris Evans and, like, Robert Downey Jr. never happened? No, I don't think they're ever going to say that stuff didn't happen because they wouldn't get to the point of a reboot without all that stuff ever happening, you know? They wouldn't get to the point of like, oh, we need to bring these characters back because they are such a cash cow for our companies. You know what I'm saying?
For us as like a meta viewing audience, yes, that is true. But in terms of the story, if they do that, it is effectively wiped. Like, we can say with audience member eyes, like, yeah, I still watched Iron Man in 2008, of course, right? But this is the first thing ever for this long, successfully string a continuous canon together. I think it would be a really big shame for them to just wipe it because a couple of fanboys have been mad for the last few years. Like, make a fucking decision for yourself, Marvel. Just make something that you want to make and double down on it. Fuck what the fans think, dude. That's their problem right now. I think I've said this on the podcast before. I have certainly said it in the last few months. The main issue that they have is they keep trying to pander to everybody that's complaining about their stuff. And they're not letting creatives make something that they are invested in, that they want to make, that they have heart and passion for. It's all about like, oh, they didn't like She-Hulk, let's go in the opposite direction of She-Hulk. Oh, they didn't like Falcon Winter Soldier, let's go in the opposite direction of that. And every time you do that, you're not going to satisfy. No. So just stop doing that. Make what you want to fucking make and just keep going. It's fine. Everybody has a bump in the road, dude. It's okay. There has still been a lot of good MCU projects, even post Endgame, if you ask me. But it's just a lot easier to focus on the negative, and the noise is very loud on the internet. But don't give in. I think that's I think that's a really weak fucking move. If they give in, they're like, "Yup, it's a reset. All the old shit doesn't matter."
I don't even know. I wouldn't think they like. I'd find it like I was like seeing all that stuff, and I was like to myself, I was like, I find it very hard to believe that they would just up and reset on the 4th episode of season 2 of Loki. Like that, like a full on reset.
That's a whole movie.
That's a whole movie. That's the end.
Like
that's
Secret
the end.
Wars.
That's the end of a movie.
Yeah.
Of like everything just fucking.
That's the end of.
Obliterates.
That's the end of this next section. Like you don't even do that at the end of like phase 2. That's Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty shit. Yeah.
So I think people that are saying they're resetting right now, they're tripping.
Well, because
I think they could essentially. I think what this does for them, right? If they're doing this whole maybe some timelines don't get fucking, saved or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
That I think that's just an easy cop out for a studio of like, dang, we don't want to make season 2 of this fucking show because it didn't do too well. So let's just say it's on a fucking
it's not on the sacred timeline.
Yeah,
anymore.
exactly.
Yeah,
so I think that is what could be happening. I think, because this is the first season 2 of a Marvel show.
Yeah, any Marvel. Yeah.
So I don't know if that could be happening, but I think just with that, maybe Marvel as a greater studio can just be like, Moon Knight season 2, we kind of don't want to do that. So let's just say blah, 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 blah.
Well, see, the thing that I think is funny is that I think because we are conditioned to understand television the way that we do, we're expecting things that they might not necessarily be planning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like we assume because they have created television series that they will have multiple seasons, but it could very much be that they only wanted to do one season of Moon Knight, or they only wanted to do one season of WandaVision, or they only wanted one season of Falcon Winter Soldier. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of those things are getting tied up in future projects that are not movies anyways. Wanda's story continued in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Anthony Mackie Falcon stuff is going to keep going in Captain America Brave New World. So I think it also has to do with our expectations of we're assuming all these shows are going to get more seasons eventually.
Yeah.
Might not have been part of the blueprint, It could have been one and dones.
True.
But yeah, anyways, our timer went off a while ago. My last thought before we wrap up here is that I think, much like I was saying with my Invincible theory, they just killed Loki, Mobius, Timely, Orby, and everybody that we saw for the last 2 episodes. But there is the Loki that we got in episode 1 still in play because our Loki for the last few episodes just pruned him. So somewhere in this weird existence of fucked up timelines and stuff, episode 2 can still happen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%.
And the other thing, too, that helped me kind of think that that's where they're going even more is that there's a large jump between the end of episode 1 and the beginning of episode 2. Episode 1 ends and they barely scrape out of the fucking sacred timeline shit. And then they start and they're full on in the investigation.
Yep.
So I think there are some crucial things that they have purposefully hidden from us in that gap that we're now going to see that will kind of connect the dots and maybe make them more successful on this time around.
Yep.
That's where I think they're going. We're going to go back to episode 2, the beginning of episode 2, end of episode 1.
Yeah.
Catch up with the Loki that just got pruned again.
Yeah, exactly. Because Loki, I think I'm on the same page as you because Loki does have this line where he prunes him, where he prunes himself, and then Sylvie's just kind of like, what the fuck?
What'd you do, bro?
And he's just like, you'll understand later, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he's saying that to Sylvie, but he's also fucking saying that to us as the audience of a big hey, we just did this, and yes, some of you guys who had theories about this, all right, we're not going to explain it, but you'll understand later.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So, I agree that there is, because that's my thought. I was like, whoa, so there's a whole time loop going on right now where this is just going to keep happening, So that's where my mind went immediately at the end of the episode was like, yeah, okay, all this ended, but there's still a Loki in play.
Yeah, and a team.
And whenever there's a Loki in play,
shit's going down, bro.
Shit's fucking going down because that's the fucking god of mischief. I will say real quick before we move on, I did like I know which line you're talking about. Dialogue
it's
between the dialogue between him and Sylvie, and she's like, "We're fucking playing God at this point." And he's like,
"We are gods.
We are gods."
I said it's funny because me and my dad and Eva watching it. We were sitting on the couch, and she goes, "We're playing God," and I whispered to Eva, "I was like, they are."
Yeah.
And then he said it, and I was like, oh!
In my mind, too, I'm like,
you're literally the god of mischief. You're like, come on, Sylvie, what you doing?
Sylvie, yeah, how'd that slip from
you?
You
are a
mind?
God. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that shit was fucking cool. Again,
good shit, yeah.
Honestly, my favorite episode of Marvel TV, hands down. That shit had me on the edge of my seat from beginning to end. I thought the twists were really good. There's a lot of jaw-dropping moments, a lot of moments I didn't fucking expect. The music was super fucking good. Yeah. I texted you. It reminded me a lot of. You guys reminded me a lot of 2001.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and it's a lot of just like that.
Yeah, the scary operatic shit. Yeah, definitely.
Like,
yeah. No, yeah, it was a solid episode, man. It's definitely up there and probably my top.
Shit's
3
10.
to top 5.
Shit's a 10.
Oh yeah, instantly. In terms of a single rating, yeah. I don't know if it's my favorite episode of all MCU, because I'm not gonna lie to you, even though Loki is my favorite series on the MCU, I'm a pretty fat sucker for Sam Wilson Captain America. I know you didn't finish that, but holy shit.
No, I did.
Did?
I did watch the full show.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I just wasn't the biggest fan.
Oh,
of
I
the
love
show.
it. I think it's really
Maybe
good.
I just need to go back and watch it. But I just remember watching it being like, eh.
I think it got a lot of hate because it was one of the first woke Marvel projects, But I think it's good. I think it's well written. I think it's well acted, and I think there's some dope fucking action sequences in that shit. But anyways, that's enough Marvel.
Hell yeah.
We both give Loki episode 4 a 10. Pretty much everything's been a 10 this far. Like, the season's really fucking good.
10, motherfucker.
Go watch it. We only have 2 more episodes left, so we don't have to guess for much longer, at least in terms of, what threads they're going to tie up in this season. And then we wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wait for whatever comes next.
And thank God, we also have Invincible starting this week.
I'm excited. Yeah, it's going to be good. I still need to watch Adam Eve. I don't know if it's like a necessary watch, but I still want to.
I would say just watch it. Dude.
Yeah, I'm still gonna. Yeah. I just mean in terms of like, I wonder if there's going to be stuff that you'll miss. I don't think it would ever be big story beats, but maybe fun little things here and there that you might miss if you don't watch Adam Eve. And that's the stuff I don't want to miss out on, Like if there's some fun little callback that they do to something that happened in the movie or whatever.
Yeah.
I love that interconnected
I just
shit.
think like they make all these things for a reason. So I think there's a reason that they put it out as just like I think not only to just hold fans over, but also just to be as a greater part of season. Because I think it's considered in part of like season 2.
Okay. Well, because the other thing too is it's like, I mean, I haven't read the comics, but I know you and I have both like watch the video like recaps of them and such, and obviously Eve is a huge part of Mark's life, so I imagine it's like a good ramp up into her getting a larger role in season 2. I wouldn't go so far. I haven't seen it in a long time, but if I remember correctly, I don't think she's like an underutilized character or even like brushed to the side. I think she's still like a pretty big character in season 1.
It dives way into a lot more into her powers.
Yeah, well, because it's just her too. It's so she gets time. But I mean, in terms of the ensemble, I have a feeling she's gonna start to push her way towards, what eventually becomes the partnership of Mark and Eve in this season. So I imagine that's probably why they dropped the movie right before season 2 came out.
Hell yeah.
They're like, let's get some love for Adam Eve because Mark's finally gonna fucking dump Amber. Jesus Christ, thank God.
We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I've heard
they're gonna
just
change
early
it up or what?
I don't know. I've just seen early reviews that this shit's fucking better than the fucking first season. They're like, yeah, I don't know how they could have fucking done it, but they fucking just go crazy this fucking season.
Well, they're in a very unique scenario where the actual person who wrote the original story is continuing to write this one, and he can now fix the mistakes that he realized he made all those years ago, so he can make it better, Good shit.
I'm excited because I think that is a very good like middle ground between like The Boys and also Marvel, where Boys is that super hardcore, like grounded, and like there is some fantastical elements about it because it is dealing with superheroes, but it does face more of like the very grounded themes within like the show, Do
you think that is? Or sorry, go ahead.
And then like Marvel is definitely the way more like we're having fun.
Sometimes from what the MCU
exactly
the MCU is,
MCU I will say very you're having fun, your superheroes are your superheroes, there are some darker moments, but it is for the most part
it's lighthearted,
pretty lighthearted.
It's a lighter tone,
and where Invincible meets in the middle is like it can be pretty hardcore. You've seen that with Omni-Man and him just literally murder the fucking Guardians of the fucking globe.
Yeah, definitely.
But it can also be pretty lighthearted, like it's also pretty fun like a lot of the times as well.
Definitely. Because what I was gonna ask you is I think because I would say that, like, I agree with you for the most part. I do think it still leans more towards The Boys.
Oh, yeah, especially in the later seasons. It's going to get fucking pretty crazy.
Yeah, and so I was going to ask, do you think that has to do with the fact that it's animation? That's a cartoon? Because if we saw this in live action, it would certainly be obviously much more jarring than it is to see as an animation.
That probably has something to do with it.
Not that like cartoons are for kids, right?
But I think even some of the things like like in the first season when he's like when they have like the tryouts for like the Guardians of like the Globe or whatever, even that like it's pretty brutal. People are getting beat the fuck up, but they're like cracking jokes and doing shit like that, And I feel like The Boys is just like. Yeah, they're cracking jokes, but they're like pretty heavy, like
dirty, raunchy, fucked
pretty
up
raunchy jokes. And like in this, like they don't have like very many, like there's not a lot of that. It is pretty like lighthearted,
Yeah, I mean,
but to a certain extent,
sometimes,
Except when you get fucking Omni-Man like holding up
Invincible.
The
show's just bipolar, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really what it is. It's like it can't decide what it wants to do from time to time.
Bipolar, baby.
I don't know that song.
It's a fucking Drake song. He literally says, "Bipolar, baby." It must not have been diagnosed or something like that. So crazy.
Sounds like a Drake line from what you've been telling me.
It's a very heavy. It's a stereotypical Drake line. When you hear it, you're like, if you were to just hear that and you're a Drake fan, you're like, Drake fucking said that shit.
Okay, I'm not gonna say weekly because I don't know if I can handle it weekly, but I would like that. I would like it. Give me a monthly Drake quote.
Oh, hell, dude.
Once a month, we're gonna have like a little moment where it's like poetry. It's like slam poetry. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna be very serious, and you're just gonna read it.
Dude, he
like
literally
a poem,
came out
bro.
with like, it's called like a poetry book almost, but it's literally just like Drake like one
all his lines.
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's like
Okay, we're gonna get that book.
It's
and
the
every
most,
month we're gonna read one.
the most wasteful. Like it's
stupid.
It's because it's. I guess it's cool. I don't know. To like a hardcore Drake fan, it's probably super tight. You know.
Sure.
But it's literally just a big book. The pages literally just all have one line just right in the middle. So
that is a waste of fucking paper.
It's a waste of paper.
That's insane.
It's a waste
Make
of fucking
the book
paper.
if you really want to stroke your ego that bad, but fucking put more than one line on a page, bro. What the fuck? That's crazy.
And it's just like, yeah, it's just I've heard some of it, and it's just like, yeah, it's just kind of whatever.
Well, it's just all his lines, right? So it's nostalgia more than anything.
It's just Drake.
Did he write new stuff in there?
Yeah, it's just all just all Drake original stuff that he's written. It's not
that
like
makes it a little better.
Yeah,
then. I thought it was a compilation of like his best lines from all
no.
these years.
No,
Okay.
it's like fresh stuff that he's just like written. And he's like, oh, here's my book. But
but you know what I wonder is, like,
I will give you a monthly, maybe bi-weekly.
Sure, that's good too.
You know?
Every other episode.
Yeah.
We
every
can do
week when you get paid, I will
Yeah.
also give you.
Like I said, I
just
can't do every week.
Yeah.
That's all. I need you guys space it out a little bit. And my mental capacity.
Dude, he
is
has
gonna
enough
die.
content where I could do.
We could do it for
weekly.
years, bro.
I could do weekly.
we could do it for years. Probably.
I could do weekly.
Even if we
could go
did
album
weekly.
we can go album by album.
Yeah.
Song by song.
Yeah, we could. A single song would probably last us at least a month.
Oh, dude,
I'm sure there's at least 4 lines.
I can get a few lines out of
Yeah,
a fucking song
exactly,
easily.
exactly.
Especially that song. I'm trying to. Bipolar baby, diagnosed. Block me on everything that's so immature, so unprovoked. I don't even know why.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He's just a toxic king, bro. He's just a toxic guy, and he owns it. And I guess what you can't be mad at someone if they're just fully being themselves, you know. But you can. You
certainly can.
You can.
You certainly can.
You can be,
Yeah.
but you can't discredit them. You can't be like you're being fake because he's just being Drake. That's who Drake is.
As far as we know,
I think
we don't know Drake.
Here's the thing. There's that saying like money just makes you more of who you are. You know, like once you get money, you just become more of just like, you know, if you're a piece of shit, you're probably just gonna become more of a piece of shit once you get fucking more money. Who knows? Maybe you get a lot of money, you're just like, I'm just gonna give it away to a lot of people. You know?
Yeah.
So I think like he just has a lot of money, and he's like, I'm a fucking billionaire. Anything anyone says means literally nothing to me because I can literally do whatever.
That's
you know,
gross.
It is gross.
That's
It is gross.
disgusting, bro.
It's disgusting.
That's horrible.
It's disgusting.
behavior.
But it's just like when you just see him like doing a music video and he has fucking barrettes in his hair, and it's just like that's Drake. It's like I was just watching and I'm like, you know, I can't like I'm pissed off right now, but I can't be mad.
That's the persona that Drake has continued to uphold. I think it's impossible to say that that's really Drake unless you know him.
I think when you just listen to his music, I think especially when you like listen to the beginning, you're like, oh, you've always been this guy. You're just now able to be more him because
that's what people want.
Yeah, you already have the money. It's not like he is fighting to make an album to become critically acclaimed so he can, you know, have a career.
He wants to.
He already has a career. He's had more number one singles than Michael Jackson, more than the fucking Beatles and all that shit. You know, he's arguably the biggest artist that's ever fucking lived, you know?
No.
Numbers wise, there's
Numbers
a big
don't
argument.
mean shit. Cultural impact, baby.
Drake's influenced a lot of fucking people. Drake has influenced a lot of people. You might not listen to Drake music.
No,
you're
right. You're right. That's
but
not my crowd. That's
the
true.
Drake tree is
big.
very
I'm
big.
Sure it is.
It is very,
I'm sure
very
it is.
big.
I cannot accept though any of those names that you said in the same sentence. I just can't accept. I just can't do it.
I get you can't accept it, bro. But it's just I think it's also just the reality that, you know, because who was the biggest before Drake? Michael Jackson.
Yeah, probably.
When you have more number one hits than Michael Jackson.
Okay, hold on though. Because again, numbers and let's say content are totally different. Because let me ask you this:
does Mike not have the numbers to correlate with his content?
Let me ask you this: who has a better discography, Michael Jackson or Drake?
Oh, it's Michael Jackson.
Okay,
1000%.
so then for me, there's no argument in terms of who is a better number one artist. Maybe he has more. But then we're talking quantity versus quality.
I think when you're talking artists in terms of quality of the music, then yes.
Yeah.
I think you can say...
That's what I value.
But when you say biggest artist in terms of like, this fool is the biggest. Worldwide, this fool is known everywhere.
Yeah.
Like that, it's him.
I'm still going to take Michael Jackson.
And
I see kids in foreign countries dressing up and doing Michael Jackson dance videos. I don't see people dressing up as Drake.
I see it. I've seen...
Dressing up as Drake?
Yes. I've seen multiple people impersonating Drake.
But
this fool literally made a career of being a fake Drake.
I can't do it, man. I just can't do it. Can't accept it.
Again,
maybe it is a reality. That's fine. It's not the reality I want to live in. So it's not mine. Fuck you. Hey, man, everybody makes their own reality.
Yeah,
we're all
that's
experiencing
true.
life as
That's
we
true.
want. So fuck that.
That's true. But
Crazy.
yeah, again, it's a thing when I don't want to believe it. I don't want to sit there and be like, fuck.
Then don't. You don't have to.
But it's just, it is what it is, man. It just is what it is. You know, I like people more than Drake. I'm not saying Drake is my favorite artist, but
Sure.
when you just sit back,
I don't even like Taylor Swift. And for the sake of this argument, I will take Taylor Swift over Drake. Taylor Swift to me is arguably bigger than Drake is.
See,
I don't even think arguably. I think Taylor Swift is without a doubt bigger than Drake is. She's crazy, bro.
I mean, I
She's on
can't,
another level.
again, I can't disagree. I can't disagree.
And for me,
but I also can't agree and say that she's bigger than Drake. I think she combats Drake. I think anyone like of the modern era, she for sure combats him in terms of like global popularity and scale as an artist.
Okay, because here's another thing too, actually, that I want to bring up, and this is like something that I have tried to be better about when it comes to comparisons, and I've actually learned this from NBA interviews. Everybody always likes to ask who would win, MJ versus LeBron, like Kobe versus this, that versus that, or whatever, right? I think one thing that we never keep in mind is that eras are different. What would Michael Jackson's sales and reach look like if he lived in the streaming era? Because I think that changes the conversation a lot. Distribution was way different back when Michael Jackson was on top, back when the Beatles were on top. I think if you give them the access to put their music out worldwide in the way that is accessible now, I think the conversation changes quite a bit. If you ask me, I could be wrong, but I think that is one of the things that, again, I've been trying to be better about, is that the eras in which people operate, time and technology and things change so drastically, so quickly. It's kind of hard to compare things like that sometimes because of how different the times were. Like, you were only going to get access to a Michael Jackson record or a Beatles record if you had a record store and or music shop that had it in stock that you could go buy off the shelf. Versus now, if you want to listen to Drake's new album, you just got to have a phone, which you probably have. You go on YouTube and it's instant access. So it is much, much different in terms of the potential sales that they could have had or the potential access that they could have had given the technology of today. I would argue. And I would argue that that's a damn good argument.
I mean, I would agree. I got you
with the thumb on the chin right here, bro.
Because I'm trying to really take in all of that and like I agree with a lot of that. I think there is,
maybe it's not a given, but I think it would certainly change. I would add to the argument.
I think it would for sure. I think you also have to take into account the popularity of the different types of music that they make.
Yeah, because the Beatles were the top when rock was pop, right? Michael Jackson was the top when pop was pop, right? Drake is the top when rap is pop, right? So, like you said, it's also what's popular at the time. But I think if you give them all the same amount of access to potential reach within the eras that they're in, I think that drastically changes the conversation.
Yeah, I would agree. There is a conversation to be had, for sure.
It's much easier to become famous now. Like, way easier.
Not everyone becomes famous.
Yeah, but again, if we're talking about reach, numbers, popularity, that's what it's based off of. It's based off of fame, right? You're not going to sell lots of shit unless you're super popular. And that's kind of easy to do now. Sometimes people just do it by accident. Like, maybe they don't make billions of dollars off of it, but they get billions of views because they fucking fell weird at their grandma's party or some shit. You know
I will say, it is easy to do it by accident. It's way harder to maintain. It is way harder to maintain.
Not anymore.
No. No.
Not anymore.
Think about all, but that's also like optics and everything. Like, think about all the people that have like, think about the fucking, what are those fucking fool? Remember the fool that, what are those?
Yeah.
Like, think about the flash in the pan shit that was like, was that.
Yeah,
and that was, and that's what a lot of things are.
Sure,
sometimes,
yeah.
especially nowadays, like it's easy for something.
The Vine thing, right?
Exactly.
It's like 6 seconds. You got to catch the attention in 10 seconds.
But
it's
about also like staying relevant and stuff like that. So I think, it is easy to get hella poppin' nowadays for sure, but it's harder to maintain the popularity. Not that it was always super easy, right? But there was a time where it was like super hard to maintain that, to attain that popularity, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think at the time when it's like really hard to attain that and you put in the work to attain that, it's probably easier to maintain that because you had to put in all that work.
Well, I think
to do that, to garner that skill, to gain all that skill to get that popularity. Whereas now it's like sometimes people get up to here without having the skills to correlate. Sometimes the people are up here and their skills are way fucking down here.
I would argue, and this might just be the snob in me a little bit, but I would argue that is not due to the circumstances of the music industry. I would say that has to do with the artists themselves. I think that everybody has, with some exceptions here and there, like Nepo babies, like people who have access to connections already, the playing field is relatively equal right now because of the internet. Everybody can hit that level. It is possible for you. So if you don't maintain it, I don't think that's like an internet problem. I think that's a you problem. You're probably a one-hit wonder. That happened back then too.
No, yeah, for sure.
People would put something out and then it was over. Right?
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like, it's easy for you to, like, it's easy for me if like again, like I'm not a great producer, right? But maybe like one day I'm fucking sitting there and I just make a super fucking good beat, right?
Yeah.
And I put it on the fucking internet and it like is the craziest fucking beat ever.
Yeah.
I probably can't fucking recreate that shit. You know what I'm saying? So it puts people in these situations where they gain this super crazy popularity.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll say someone like an Ice Spice, for example, right? Who, like, I didn't really understand the music when she first gained popularity, right? I didn't fucking get it. I wasn't like understanding, and maybe I thought like, there's a lot of people who were like, oh, like, one hit wonder, blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
but now she's had like a couple hits, so she has been putting in the work to maintain that, right? But there's a lot of people who will just get to that and who will get that first single, that first whatever, and then nothing fucking happens after that. So it's like that's
a job. They don't realize that that's a job,
and that's on
the artist.
That's on the artist after that to maintain that. Once you see that you can get to that level, now you're like, oh shit, I have to really put in that work, that extra hard work.
Repeating, you have to grow, because that's what we like to see as consumers, right? We don't want to see somebody be stagnant for 10 years. That's arguably what I would say is happening with Drake, right? That big dude, he said, one of the big rappers that you told me about, that shit stuck with me. That you said is like, the beats are hitting, the songs are still there. It sounds like Drake, but you're the same. You're the same as you were 10 years ago.
True.
Artists need to grow in order to continue to up that level of adoration, skill, excellence, whatever you want to call it. And that's why I say I don't know if it's easy, because people can stay stagnant for years and they will still eat that shit up. We will still buy Drake albums. We'll still stream them, even if he hasn't changed his content in a decade.
True. Yeah.
It's a fucking bummer, man.
True.
But it is what it is,
True.
It is what it is. It's the state of the world that we live in. Things come and go very quickly, and I think we latch on.
I think it's also easier to make a catchier song.
Now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, way easier.
Yeah, because you don't have to actually fucking play anything anymore.
Give Michael Jackson the access to shit now? Oh, dude, that fool would be coming out with the banger every single fucking week. Twice a week.
Well, because the other thing, too, about it back then, right, is it's like, Michael Jackson was, if I'm not mistaken, not a musician. I don't think he played even any instruments, or maybe like a few if he did. But songwriting is not, if you ask me, is not at the same level that it was even like 10 years ago, like from like the early 2000s to like the 2010s and stuff like that. It's so easy to just pump out fucking garbage, honestly, that is popular enough that people will eat it up for those quick little one-hit wonders and stuff like that. And because like you don't have to do much anymore. Like you can press a couple of taps on your iPhone and you have something that sounds like popular music nowadays. So you're totally right. It's way easier to get there for sure. If you're lucky, right? It also has to do with circumstances. Like, people could be the most fantastic fucking musician, artist, singer, whatever in the world, and they just never get their break, you know? Unfortunately, that still happens even in like the access that we have today. But I just very much am a like quality over quantity kind of guy, and I think for a long time now in music, that's why I just tuned out. It's just been quantity over quality, and I can't deal with it, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I feel that.
I don't like it, man.
I feel that.
Don't like it.
I feel it.
But it is what it is. The thing that I like is there's plenty of shit from the eras that I do like that I still haven't heard. So why am I going to complain? Because I still have tons of music to go listen to. So like, you know, I'm airing out my grief right now, but this is not something that fucking bothers me every day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just happens to be the topic of conversation right now.
Yeesh.
So it's all right. It is what it is. To each their own.
I still think Drake is probably the biggest artist that there ever is at the moment. So
I disagree. I disagree. I'm sorry. I can't do it, man.
He is, bro. Like, again, do I want it to be true? No, I probably don't. Like,
well, the other thing too,
there is, and again, I'm gonna sound like a hater because I'm not a Drake hater, but like, I really think there is someone out there that probably does maybe deserve the title of the greatest artist.
That's not getting it.
That's not getting it, but it's just, again, it's hard to dispute when, like, yeah, it's easy to make music nowadays, right?
Oh, yeah.
I will say, though, it is hard to make an album every year, and you're consistently selling, you know, over 300,000 units a week in your opening week, when that is not very common nowadays.
If you're not Drake, it's not easy.
It's not. It's not.
If you're Drake, it is easy.
But
because
I will
he doesn't have to do much.
But no,
his name sells it more than anything.
But there are big artists out there like a Kendrick, like a J. Cole, like that are on like a stardom level that honestly aren't selling close to 300, 400.
Sure.
They're probably selling like 150, which is still really fucking good.
Sure.
But again, there is still something to be said about an era where you're not moving as many units because of streaming.
Yeah.
And you're still getting 300,000. You know, when you're still getting like an album that, you know, the last album that, you know, maybe wasn't as great as people would say. Yeah. And I would probably agree. It was good, but it wasn't like amazing. Shit still selling like 420 to 450 the first week.
But I think, because that's, to me, cheers really quickly.
And I know you're not a big numbers guy.
No, but beyond that too, here's the other thing that I'll say. I don't know that if you want to go based purely off of metrics, sure, fine, right? But if we're talking about like still being, like, you might sell a fuckload of shit in your first week, but that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the content that's being produced. That's just because everybody wants to rush to buy and listen to the new Drake thing right away. It doesn't necessarily reflect the quality of the artist, I would say. It more reflects the clout and status and stardom and celebrity of the artist more than it does their work, which is why I will agree with you. Drake is the biggest star in the world, the biggest celebrity in the world. I cannot say that he's the biggest artist in the world because that shit's not artistry to me. After a certain point, bro, he seems like he's phoning it in. And am I wrong?
He seems like he's what?
Phoning it in. Like doing the least. Do you think he's putting his heart and soul into these last few albums that he's made?
I will say no, but I think there are flashes of to where he's making songs that are like, damn, these are still like crazy Drake songs. Like he had one on Certified Lover Boy called Pipe Down, which is like a fucking crazy Drake song. Like I haven't heard a Drake song like that in a fucking long time where I'm just like replaying it like over and over and over and over and over again. He had one on it like this song. So I'm not like, this is the thing that to me with Drake, like you might not like every song. Like you might listen to a song and be like, this isn't my cup of tea. But when you're hearing it, when you're just not actually actively like listening to what he's saying, you're fucking enjoying the fuck out of it. And I will say that is not like...
That seems so dangerous to me, though. Okay. That's passive. That seems
again,
like...
But again, art's subjective, right? So
Sure,
you're
that's
not
true.
you're not going to
That's
sit there
true.
and like super like everything that you're listening
Yeah,
to.
sure.
But I think it says something when you're able to make music that people will be like, man, I don't like what he's saying, but fuck, like this is kind of fucking, like this is catchy. I can't help but fucking sit here and be bobbing my head to it, you know, tapping my fucking foot, maybe dancing a little bit. Like he makes music that I think, and again, I'm not like a super crazy Drake dick writer or anything like that. Like there are artists that I love more than Drake. 1000%.
Yeah.
But I think from an artist standpoint, and it's just hard to constantly pump out songs or pump out albums where you're having just undeniably just good songs. You know what I'm saying?
The same. So like, is he
But
really
they're good,
doing
but they're
anything?
good.
But they're good because they're the same, and that's my issue. Is it's like you're right. Yes, he's pumping them out consistently, and people are bopping to him consistently, and they keep happening. But it's because it's the same fucking shit you heard from him in 2010. It's not different. It's not new, and that's my problem. That's my problem with it.
I'm not disagreeing, but it's another thing. It's just like, I don't know. I go back and forth with it because I agree. I do want to hear an evolution of someone like a Drake when they get a little bit more deeper, because I do like his deeper songs, you know, and I do feel like sometimes he does pander to a younger audience, but it's like, you know, what are you going to do? That's a lot of people who are consuming streamable music nowadays, you know?
But because that's the root of it right there, is the what are you going to do? And that's like my biggest pet peeve in the entire flipping fucking world. Is it's like, there are things that you can do. You can wait until you have all of those single bangers from the last 10 albums to make one album that is all good and all new stuff, rather than, you know what, I don't really need this money, but I want to go on another world tour, or I want to do this, or I want to get these bitches, or I want to get this music video, whatever. So I'm going to put one good song on here and pump out a bunch of garbage. There are things you can do, especially when you're at that status. He doesn't have to put a new album out every year. He'd be fine. He would continue to be Drake if he didn't put anything out for the next 10 years. People would still herald him as Drake. So there's like a level of taking advantage of the consumers that I cannot get behind, where it's like, I think even he knows he's not putting his best work out there, but he continues to sell it to people regardless.
I will say, I agree, but I think there is something, because a Drake album to the hip hop community is an event, right? When Drake announces he's dropping an album, everyone stops what they're doing and they're like, fuck, okay, I'm going to listen to the Drake album. And I think what Drake does every single album is he does a good job of highlighting a few newer artists that are really fucking solid, and he puts them on their album. So they also gain the notoriety that they might not have gained by, you know, they might have gained that, but it might have taken them a lot longer than being like Drake being like, hey, I really fuck with your music.
Yeah.
So here, be like, I want you to be on my fucking album. Like he did it this year with fucking Sexy Red. He did it with fucking Tizo Touchdown. He's done it with Thames. He's done it with people like a Party Next Door. Not that Party Next Door isn't big in his own right, but you know, Drake is bigger than fucking Party Next Door.
Sure.
But they also fuck with each other, both from the same place. So it's but there's other people like producers like Murder Beats, like other people that I think Drake always does a good job of highlighting, you know, maybe whether it's like UK artists like Gigs and stuff like that. He always like does that. He's always highlighting like a certain sound.
That is cool, and I can get behind that. But here's my counter argument. Why can't he just feature on their track?
True.
Why does he have to put them on his album? He still carries the same amount of clout, so just let them produce something under their banner.
He's done that.
Drake on that. That's
done
good.
That before.
So that's good.
He's done that before.
That's cool, and I'm down with that because highlighting new artists is important, so that I can get behind. But
like when Memphis music was becoming really big, he did a feature with Black Boy JB, who's not like a super big artist, but it's like
it helps push him.
But it helps push him. It helps get that like you know, gets fucking.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't totally understand it, but more or less I have a general understanding of like the power of the feature, right? Of like having somebody on your shit who is important, or highlighting somebody new that's not, or whatever it is. I get what that does. But again,
it's like Michael Jackson being like, damn bro, you play some killer fucking guitar, here, come play
on my album.
Yeah, come play on my album.
I'm gonna put your name in the thing.
Yeah, it's like that.
But again, if he really wanted to support me as an individual artist, or the guitar player in question, whatever, again, he could also just be like, you know what? I'm going to go on your album. This is your stuff. but my name's going to be attached to it. It's essentially the same thing that's happening, right? And that's where I have a hard time with it, because it's like, okay, he is doing a nice thing, but at the same time, he's still trying to get his little piece of honey as well, because it's his own album. You know what I mean?
Is he not also going to get a piece of, like you said, a piece of honey if he's on your
but
shit?
he's certainly going to make a lot more money from a whole album that features a few people rather than jumping on a bunch of separate ones. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying, like, if Michael Jackson calls your phone and is like, hey, man, I need you to play guitar on this, are you going to say no?
No, absolutely not. But that speaks to me personally. Like, I would still
maybe
disagree
in the future,
with, like, the Michael Jackson trying to, if he did it consistently all the time or whatever, you know, and it was, because the thing is this, right, is it's like, if Drake puts out a whole album, it's nothing but features, cool. But if it's like 1, 2, 3 out of 10 to 15 songs, like, I don't know. It just doesn't hold the same weight to me as it does. It seems like throwing somebody a bone rather than really investing in someone's career, you know? And granted, they achieve the same thing to a certain extent, but I think one is definitely more active help versus passive help of like, yeah, you can jump on my thing. I fuck with your shit. Come do this really quick.
Granted, we're also not privy to help that might go on behind the scenes.
True.
Of like, hey, like I need career advice and shit like that. You know,
that goes a long way. Yeah. But that's the thing too that I was saying earlier about like trying to say that like that's just Drake. We don't know what happens behind the scenes. We don't, as much as exposure and access as we've had to what he has allowed us. Nobody fucking knows what Drake is like. Only his close friends and family do. So, like, that's why I say that, like, yeah, it's Drake in the sense that it is true to the brand that he has put out. But we don't necessarily know that that's true to the person that he is.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I preferred for artists put that shit on the line. That's the risk of becoming an artist, is that you're willing to put yourself on the line like that. Not your brand version of you. You, the deep shit, the stuff that people like, where you get into your soul and talk about stuff, bro.
Hell yeah.
I just don't like it. I just don't like it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's difficult for me.
Again,
though.
he has flashes of it. There are parts where you're like, damn, like I like again, like there's this, like one of my favorite songs on his newest album is just like it's literally just him talking and reminiscing about him remembering what it was like before everything.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that song.
And those are songs that I personally really like. But good. I do have love for the songs where I'm just like the Rich Baby Daddy shit, where he's not really fucking saying shit on the song, but I'm like, fuck, I can fucking vibe to the shit, and I can fucking.
Well, because he's
I'm just gonna sit there and I'm gonna be like, oh fuck.
It's because he's pandering to like this new version of pop culture, where it's like we live in a world of memes. We live in a world that takes nothing seriously. The most intense shit in the world can have in a few months, in a few years, whenever, guarantee you there's going to be memes about the shit that's going on right now, if there's not already some right now. So like, we don't take anything seriously, and he is certainly capitalizing on that. So as a businessman, he's making proper decisions. That's fine. I can't support the decisions from like an artist's perspective, though. That's all. So yeah, you know what? You are right. In terms of numbers, he's hitting it. He's doing all the right shit. He's very big. But
that's all I'm speaking. That's all I'm speaking is the numbers.
I just can't support that shit, bro. I fucking hate numbers. I think numbers are ass. I think using that as a metric of greatness is stupid, because you can have a fluke very easily and get a lot of numbers. Even if you hit them consistently, it doesn't necessarily speak to the greatness of a person, I think.
Telling me Michael Jordan 6-0 is not a fucking speaking to his greatness as a basketball player.
Yeah, but that's a much different conversation, because Michael Jackson wasn't phoning. I mean, sorry, Michael Jackson. Michael Jordan wasn't. Michael Jordan played while that motherfucker was sick with the flu. You know what I'm saying? That's not phoning it in. That's not coming in and being like, I'm just going to play today. Like, Michael Jordan comes in every single day with the intent to be greater than he was yesterday. I don't see that from Drake.
You hear that, Drake? That's a challenge.
You don't give a fuck about what I have to say.
That's a challenge to you, Mr. Drizzy Drake.
Listen,
Mr. Aubrey Graham.
If for some reason you happen to listen to this, Drake,
he's gonna fucking DM you, bro, and be like, you know what you said about me, I don't fucking like,
if
bro.
For some reason you fucking listen to what this conversation we're having here, you don't give a fuck about me, I don't give a fuck about you. Live your fucking life, do what you want, bro.
Great. If Drake watched this, that'd be pretty fucking cool. That'd be funny.
That'd be great. It would literally be the conversation we just talked about, and it would help us out a lot.
Exactly.
It'd be exactly everything we were just talking about.
That's fucking hilarious. I'm gonna change your mind on Drake one day. I'm gonna do it.
I guarantee you won't.
No, I probably won't. But I'm gonna.
I would like you to try though.
I wanna open your eyes to it. You know what I'm saying?
I would rather you open my eyes to the artists that you like more than Drake, because I also still have my qualms about some of the other stuff, too. Give me that. Work on that before you work on Drake.
I'm gonna shoot you, Drake. I'm gonna get you, Drake, dude. I'm gonna get you to like him.
I don't know.
Because again, it was someone that I didn't fucking like for a long time.
Yeah,
but I think I don't know. I just got it one day and I was like, oh, okay, this fucking makes sense.
I think you just have to.
I'm very persistent, man.
Sure, yeah. I think at a certain point with artists like that, you just have to kind of give into the show of it all. You have to stop holding the standards of the greatest artists of the world and like the history that we have of like all these people and stuff, and just be like, yeah, he probably doesn't even give a shit about that. He's probably not even trying to be the best in the world anymore. I would imagine that at this point in his career, hopefully he didn't give a shit about what anybody thinks. He's gonna put some shit out. If they don't like it, then maybe he'll be sad about it. I'm not gonna say he doesn't still have feelings, but I don't think that people's opinions are going to influence his decisions unless it's business, in that he's like, okay, they're going to like this shit, they'll gobble this up, so I'm going to make that. But I don't think if he comes with a song that he really likes, that he created, that is completely different from his usual brand, I would like to think that he's big enough and confident enough at this point that he's going to be like, fuck you, I like this and I think this is good. This is what I think is putting my best foot forward. I'm going to do this even if it sounds drastically different from everything you've been buying from me. You know what I mean? I would like to imagine that he's at that point. He fucking should be at this point, He's got enough confidence. He's had enough success to where, like you said, he can do whatever he wants. I just don't see him doing anything risky or like evolutionary, not even in the grand sense, but just within the Drake brand of stuff, So it's like, what are you doing? You're just phoning it in. It's a day job now.
Yeah.
It's not a passion anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe, because again, we don't know him. We don't know what goes into his work and everything. Maybe he's trying real fucking hard to make all these songs that we're talking shit about right now, or that I'm talking shit about right now.
Yeah.
Who knows? But from what it looks like on the outside, it seems like it's just a day job now.
Yeah.
Like it's just clocking in 9 to 5.
Yeah. Last point I'll make before we move on, because we've taken too long on Drake for sure.
I know, yeah.
We've gone in on
a
Drake
little music
for sure.
thing, yeah.
Fuck, what was I gonna say? I totally forgot what I was gonna fucking say. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say, but yeah, that was that about Drake.
That was our Drake.
That was our fucking Drake talk. Apparently, what I was supposed to remember.
Music in general.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
No, yeah.
Drake happened to be the focus artist of it, but I think we were talking about the music industry as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, Drake's one of my favorite artists for sure, but he's not mine. I just think it's hard to deny.
He's got the numbers.
He's just got the numbers to match. And I mean, yeah, I like Fools way more than him. Like again, like I was talking about Brent Faiyaz's album, that shit's fucking crazy. And I've been listening to the fuck out of that shit. Granted, I was listening to the fuck out of Drake shit, but it's just like that's one of the only shits that came out in a while. West Side Gun dropped an album, that shit's fucking hard. Yeah, I'm going to a fucking Earl Sweatshirt concert next week. I'm going to a Flatbush Zombies concert the week after that. So nice. I'm not just listening to fucking Drake. I'm out here. My music taste is extensive.
Oh yeah. Big time. You listen to a lot of stuff. That's for sure. I know that for a fact. Yeah.
I've been listening to Spanish music fucking at fucking
Buddy
work.
Told me that.
I be getting
told me
down.
that. I know.
I'm always like, what are they saying?
Yeah. You got it, you gotta know. I mean, well, because you don't have to know. I mean, I'm not huge on lyrics as it is. I think you know that. So like obviously I'm biased in the sense, but I'm very much of the belief that like if the music moves you and even the melody moves you, that's enough. You don't necessarily, if you want to do the extra work, okay, go ahead and pay attention to what's happening. There's probably a story there. Sometimes there's not though, sometimes lyrics are just whatever. And it's the passion of the song that is really important, right? So if that shit moves you, then it's fine. Jam, bro. Have a good time.
I like the Bad Bunny song where he goes, Rocky Balboa.
Yeah. I like the one, I saw his new album, Ev showed it to me where like, I'm not going to remember the line, but he has something to do with like, it was like, motherfucker was bald or something, like reminded me of Caillou or some shit. And that cracked me up too. I was laughing at that. That's funny.
He also had another line where he just like says, blah, blah, blah. He's like, you don't believe me? He's like, ask Brad Pitt because he was in fucking Bullet Train.
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
yeah.
Fuck.
All
yeah,
right.
dude.
Yeah, good reference, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, let's move on to the fucking movies we're supposed to be fucking talking about and not talking about motherfucking Drake. So yes, for the last week of spooky motherfucking season, the last day, pretty much.
Yeah, basically.
We decided, let's throw some scary shit in there. Because I think, we watched some relatively I mean, for the times, probably
yeah,
scary.
They were scary. Yeah.
For us, probably not.
Well, we have a different history of things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We grew up in the era of just like jump scares.
Yeah, so it's different.
Like everything was trying to scare literally trying to make you shit your pants.
It's funny that you mentioned that because like I think psychological horror affects me more than like the jump scare stuff does because I was so exposed to it when we were kids.
I think the jump scare stuff, I just hate it because I hate the anticipation and just being like
waiting for it. Yeah, you get got, bro. You get fooled. You get got when a jump scare happens.
I fucking hate that shit. Like,
all right, so which one are we gonna hit?
Let's do Purge. Let's do Purge first.
All right, do me a favor, introduce the Purge because your boy's got to go hit the restroom.
He's got a whiz, but yes,
always
guys,
got a whiz.
Purge takes place in future America. And by future America, 2022, because this movie came out in 2013. This was so funny to me. I'm like, damn. Like, they were like, we're going to be this bad in 2022?
The movie came out in 2013.
We pretty much almost are. I was gonna make a comment. If 45 was president for another term, we'd probably be purging. I'm not going to lie.
The new founding fathers for sure sounds like something he would come up with.
Sounds like some Donald Trump shit. Today, I'd like to welcome... I can't do Donald Trump right now. But anyways, yes, The Purge takes place in 2022 America. And basically what has happened, the new founding fathers got elected into power. Who are the new founding fathers? I really don't fucking know. They sound like some white supremacist ass shit. Basically, they got elected into power and they came up with this plan that said, hey, for one day out of every single year, we are going to make all crime legal. So you can steal, you could fucking... shit where you want, you can piss where you want, you can even kill people if you want, which is freaking nuts. And a lot of people in America are for it. And basically we've come to learn that ever since they've done it, the economy has boomed, poverty has gone down, crime has gone down. And I think initially going into the movie, you're like, what's so bad about The Purge? You know, I guess everything's going better. So what? Everything's legal that was illegal for a day. Like, who, you know, it's like it's this weird thing where when you don't really get into the details of it, when you don't start breaking down The Purge, you're kind of almost like, I guess this is kind of a good idea. You know, like if the numbers say that crime goes down for the rest of the year, like I guess it's not bad. Like I'm saying,
big numbers.
No, yeah, but I'm saying, like, if you're not thinking about it, like, too deeply, right? If you're just taking, like, oh, yeah, The Purge, we're letting everyone get out their anger for a day, and, like, the economy goes up, everyone gets wealthier, like, everything, like, blah, 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 all that. I guess if you're not looking too deep into it, you're like, yeah, I guess that's a good thing. Like, who wouldn't want a little bit more extra money, you know? You're like, but then when you really start thinking about, like, oh, this is just a day for... the wealthy people
to kill off the poor.
Kill off the fucking poor people. You're like, oh, this is actually terrible.
Well, and beyond that too, the other thing that I struggled with so hard was that like this would only work if every single person in America, which arguably maybe we are, was 100% certifiably psychotic. Because no way you're gonna go and just kill a bunch of people for the night and not carry that trauma with you if you have even a semblance of like humanness to you, you know, like that is traumatic as fuck. There's no way people just do it for a night and they're like, all right, back to work tomorrow.
No. Oh yeah. That's like, another thing that was
it makes
tripping me out.
No sense.
But yes, we pick up with in the beginning of the movie with Ethan Hawke, and he's just riding in his name is James, I believe.
Yeah, he calls it Mr. Sandin.
Mr. Sandin.
This creepy fucking mascot.
James Sandin.
James Sandin, yeah.
But yes, he's pretty much just on the phone with an assistant, figuring out that, you know, he's sold the most security systems, blah, blah, blah. He's saying, like, you know, it was a team effort, you know, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, this guy's pretty cool. Whatever.
He seems like it.
Yeah, we meet his wife, who is Cersei Lannister.
Oh, it was so hard for me to watch her in this.
Why?
Well, she's one of in the same way that we talk about, because remember, I think we had this conversation when we talked about Barbarian, right? Where it's like, in the same way that it's hard to watch Justin Long be a bad guy, it's hard for me to watch Lena Headey be a good person.
Yeah, I feel you.
Because of how horrible she is as Cersei Lannister.
I feel you. But yeah, we learn a little bit more about the Purge. You know, people can kill each other. People can do pretty much fucking anything
Basically,
they want
all crime is legal for 12 hours, aside from, like, I think they mentioned, like, high-ranking government officials are immune to the Purge.
Yeah, you can't, like, kill the president or something like that.
Government officials, stuff like that, yeah.
I mean, hey, if you're the person who put this in, if you're the person in the government place of power that put this into
that's a good rule.
Makes sense. I mean, I put that rule in there too.
You're gonna want to build in a failsafe for yourself.
Hey, you can kill everyone else, but not me.
Not me. Yeah.
Like, not the dumbest rule.
Yeah, no, it's smart on the president's part, that's for sure.
But yeah, we learned that Ethan Hawke's character is a guy who sells security systems for people that want to keep their house safe during the Purge. Because obviously, if you have a nice house, you're not going to want to get robbed.
No.
It's...
You don't want to get killed either.
Yeah. We, on Ethan Hawke's Drive, we, meet different characters in, like, the neighborhood. Yeah. They all seem like some pretty fucking disgusting rich people.
Yeah, it's weird because, like, I think they, like, try to play off this, like, neighborly kind of vibe or whatever. But this is one of the things where, like, I wasn't totally sold because, like, they tried to bring it back as a twist later. Of like, oh, it was the neighbors who wanted to kill them all along. And it's like, you kind of see it coming from the very beginning. Yeah. It's not very subtle. So like, they're, like you said, they're very obviously pieces of shit right from the get-go. Everybody in that neighborhood is.
Yeah. We learned also that Ethan Hawke's daughter is in a pretty sketchy relationship with someone that is older than her.
Yeah.
And the dad doesn't approve, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. It's fair. And yeah, it's some just weird shit that's going on. And like at the beginning, like you get the weird relationship that's going on with the daughter.
There's a lot of
and the boyfriend. You got the shit that's going on with like the kid, him being kind of like creepy and sitting in his room.
Yeah, he's like surveilling everybody with his little Sid toy, the fucking burnt up baby and shit.
What is it, Timmy or something like that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Me and Ev were talking about because she watched that one with me. Because I guess she really liked The Purge too. This viewing apparently changed her mind. She was not down with it this time. It's so fun. It's funny because like when we started watching it, she was. I told her the two movies, and I was because she came over the other night, and I was like, I gotta watch one. Like I'm gonna run out of time or whatever. Like which one you want to watch? And I explained them both for her. She's like, oh, I love The Purge. Let's watch that. And I was like, okay. And then by the time it was over, dude, we were sitting there, and she was like, yeah, that movie's dumb. She's like, I don't like that as much as I thought I did.
I like it, dude.
I was laughing so hard, dude. I think I was thinking about it too hard. Like you said, like I wanted it to be more than I think even what it's trying to be. So like I think I probably had too much expectations for it, but
I think it made sense to me. Like it was like again, like before you really get into the nitty gritty about it, you're like, oh, I guess it's kind of like, I guess it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, yeah, I guess this is kind of bad, but it's, again, if everyone's a little bit more richer, if crime's down for the 364 days out of the year, I guess it's not totally bad.
Because I'm not sure if you remember all the way back to your first viewing, but like as like disregarding that as much as you can on this viewing, when you go into the movie, do you think The Purge is a good idea?
Oh, 100% no.
Okay, because instantly you're like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
The movie, and that's the thing that I think I have trouble with, is the movie wants or almost needs you to accept things that are really fucking dumb in order for some of like the dominoes to fall correctly. And that was the hard thing that I had about it.
Yeah, I feel that. I think it's one of those things that, like, I don't know. Again, I'm on Twitter a whole lot, and I'm very much subjected to a lot of the crazy shit that
the public
go on.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's the most far-fetched thing.
Oh no,
that
sure.
If this happened, a good portion of the United States would be like, I'm fucking down.
This is great. Yeah, definitely.
So I think immediately I'm like, okay, this is a plausible outcome. This could possibly happen in our future. And again, like I said, if Donald Trump was president again, maybe this fool would have fucking suggested something super crazy like this.
Well,
would it have been adopted? I don't know.
Okay.
But again, I think there is a good, and with the whole thing of like the new founding fathers, like these people coming in, I think that is a very plausible thing to happen because of how like politics is so much like just propaganda and fucking all this shit.
Who can sell the most lives.
Exactly, and I think if you have a group called the New Founding Fathers who are selling this lie of like a greater America, and this being the sole reason because we allow people to let out their aggression for a whole day. Yeah, this could be fucking great.
Yeah.
So it's not the most unlikely thing in my mind that could happen.
Yeah, I think this is the thing where I was telling you, was like I was definitely thinking about it too hard, but I was like, okay, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure when you become a doctor, you swear an oath to do everything in your power to keep ailing human beings alive. Like it's like a thing that stretches way back to like doctors of the old day. Like the little post with the snake around it, that's like a Greek thing that's been around forever. And like you fucking swear your life that you will dedicate your life to saving people. So I'm like, no fucking way doctors, like there's, you're right, there are tons of shitty people, but there are also, I would like to think, a decent amount at least of good people as well. There's no way every single doctor in the country would just be like, well, guess I can't save anybody tonight. Like people would be out there trying to fucking help, I think. It would cause civil war if this really got passed.
Here's the thing I will say. There is a caveat to my viewing about this is because I have watched one other Purge movie, and it's called Purge Election Year. And they actually kind of take you out into the midst of like what it would be like in the middle of the purge, like in the city when shit's going down.
Not in the house.
Yeah. So there are people actively going around trying
fighting
to
the
help.
Purge.
Like, not necessarily, I wouldn't say fighting, but like if people are hurt, like they're trying to fucking save them and shit like that. So
then that's better. But that's not present in this movie.
Yeah. No, they're literally just showing you like the worst possible shit that could fucking happen.
Yeah.
And it's more so about just like, again, like we're saying, like classism, greed, poverty, all that, all that fucking shit. And like, you even see it like with this family, right? Like it's pretty quick, but Ethan Hawke makes like a fucking reference when he's looking at like yachts, and he's like, a few years ago, like we couldn't even, like we were struggling like to afford like
figure out rent.
He's now we're looking at a fucking boat, and he's like, fuck, like, so it's like something like that. It's like, it's just, it's a disgusting thing for sure, the Purge.
Yeah.
And like, but it's not the most far-fetched thing for someone like this who doesn't agree with it, but to also profit off of something like it, for a security system that doesn't, like we find out, isn't full fucking proof. Like it doesn't keep everyone out. And he's just like, theoretically, like 99% of the time,
To be fair, if you're buying security systems out there, you are also being fooled, because no security system on this planet is 100% foolproof.
No.
Like he said, nothing is completely impenetrable. Is he a sleazy salesman? Yes. But he's also not technically lying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's selling state-of-the-art security. Like, you trying to tell me that...
Is it really state-of-the-art? I mean, something just comes down in front of you.
That's a fat metal door, bro. The only reason they're able to get through is because they have, like, a fucking Humvee with, like, military-grade shit that rips it down. Like, you know what I mean? I think more often than not, if you are selling security to somebody's home, you probably don't assume that, like, military grade shit is going to come after you. When you buy a ring or like a fucking security system and shit like that, even like doors, like it's meant to protect you from like not day-to-day shit, but like you said, not worst fucking case scenario in the world. So like, again, I think he is sleazy and I think he's still a greasy bastard, but that was another thing that I had a hard time accepting, is like, I don't know that he was so far selling them on like this fake security system or whatever it was. I think that like the caveats that he had, to me, were relatively understandable. Because again, these fools that come in to break into their house are obviously super fucking rich ass, like white fucking like family shit or whatever. So again, they have like fucking torque wires and like shit that the hunters use in Spider-Man 2, bro. Like that's so like, that was the part where it was like, I just didn't understand the whole dynamic between the Sandin family and the rest of the neighbors, because I was like, the whole thing between them, right? I'm skipping ahead a little bit here, obviously, right? But everything happens or whatever, and like they're somewhat saved by like the neighbors. They think they are, whatever, after Ethan Hawke dies, which was really good, by the way. That, again, I told you I had a roller coaster of emotions with this movie. That was a high point for me because I was happy that they killed the main character. But they have this thing, and they try to set it up earlier, where it's like the neighbors are pissed because the Sandins bought a new addition to their home with the money that they made off of selling these security systems. And I was like, no offense, but you don't have a right to be angry. You gave this person your fucking money, you dumb shit. If you don't want them to spend your shit on stuff, don't fucking buy the security system.
Yeah, they don't have a right to be angry, but I think that speaks to just people's jealousy on like pocket watching, basically. Like they're seeing, like maybe they're very insecure about
like what they have,
what they
earning.
have,
yeah,
and like when you see someone doing all of this, when Ethan Hawke's looking to fucking buy a boat that has a garage for a car, and he's like, what does a fucking boat need a garage for? You know, it's like that can probably be like pretty infuriating.
Yeah.
You know, if you think you are wealthy and you see, again, I'm not fucking, we don't know
what it's like to have that
but
much money.
I think it is just like a commentary on just like jealousy and shit like that for just like materialistic fucking things and shit like that. You know, is there like, because I think that's the thing they like kind of say like, oh, like, you know, people say like in the beginning of the movie, she's telling the wife like, oh, people say like this whole neighborhood bought your house, you know? And she's like, oh, do people really say that? She's like, oh, it's just fucking,
blah,
you know,
blah,
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it's just like, that's probably real fucking real life rich people fucking jealousy type shit where they're just like, look at these people make this money and they're just rubbing it in our fucking face. Let's go kill them.
But see, that's the thing where I have a hard time having any kind of sympathy or empathy or even understanding, because it's like, it's not like the rest of the people in their neighborhood are struggling and they like spent like a big chunk of their savings on this shit and now they like don't know what to do. Like, they bought a fucking security system from them, and a lot of people in the neighborhood did, and they decided to use the money that you decided to spend on your shit to do what they wanted to do. So like, just for me, you're right. Like, it is just trying to be, I understand the commentary that they're trying to do, but the setup for me is not satisfying enough for it to like click. Where at the end, I was just kind of like, this is dumb. I think it's silly that they're coming back to try and kill him or whatever.
I think it's just rich white people shit. Like, I think it's just like,
maybe that's why I have such a hard time understanding it. Yeah.
Like, it's just fucking rich white people shit. Like, I think that's something that you see even like a trope in like old movies, just like, oh, you see what the fucking Samsons did to their fucking front yard? Like, look at all this fucking shit. And that's just amplified by like, look at what we did to fucking give them the money to do, and now they're just rubbing it in our faces. Look at all the money like we made off of you, blah blah blah.
See,
blah.
but that's, I get it. Maybe it is rich white people shit, but that's the thing where there's such a disconnect to me. Is it's not like they're working you. You don't do anything. You just hand over a check, and then a security system is installed in your thing. So like the whole making money off of us idea doesn't make sense to me.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe they, when they got it installed, they kind of knew that like, what the fuck is this? Like this
they
is,
thought it was jank or whatever.
Maybe they're like, oh fuck, you just kind of like
sold us on some bullshit.
Yeah, and now we're just coming back to get you.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's where like there's just too many like things that don't really hit for me. Because like I said, it's like maybe it's just the way I read it. Maybe the security they wanted you to think that like he was this greasy sleazeball who was like selling him bunk ass shit that was meant to just look threatening and frightening so it would scare you off but wouldn't actually work. But like in my mind, I'm having a hard time seeing gigantic thick ass metal doors come down and be like, no, if they didn't have this fucking Humvee, you would be fine all fucking night. Nothing would get in your house. You don't have a bunk ass security system. That group of people is just fucking nuts. That's all it is. You know what I mean?
I think also maybe how I read it in the movie is like, I think he sold people on the fact that like, no, it's like impenetrable and people aren't
nothing
gonna,
will get
nothing will fucking get into it. And that was the whole reveal of like, oh, well, like theoretically, like things couldn't really get into it, but it's like 99%. And he's like, but that wasn't like considering like, burrowing under the house or fucking anything like that, you know? So it's just like,
see, but that's what I'm saying is it's like, I'm going to do it every single time, every episode, no matter what. But let's go superheroes for a second, right? Let's say there's a company in Marvel's New York City who is like, I'm going to sell you a security system that will protect you from anything that can happen in this city. Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, going on a fight and rampage, you'll be good. You'll be fine. Blah, blah, blah. But then if all of a sudden Thanos comes to town and snaps away your shit or does something, that's not something you could have like compensated for. You know what I mean? So that's the part where I have a hard time believing that he is this shitty, horrible, fucking sleazy salesman, where it's like, I don't think that's I understand the circumstance that Ethan Hawke's character is in that scenario, where he's like, holy fuck, these dudes are like armed to the fucking teeth. This is not what we're prepared for. We live in a rich white neighborhood that is meant to protect from regular civilians with the guns and knives and weapons and equipment that they would have in their homes. Not somebody who can afford like, you know, this crazy shit and whatnot. So like, just the believability of it all was hard for me in the whole movie. You know, it's like I had, you know me, I'm a big big supporter of you need to surrender to the rules of the world.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many inconsistent ones in this one that like contradicted each other for me in my viewing, where I was like, I give up. I can't do this. It's just like too hard. There's too many different things happening here that like don't make sense to me, you know?
I don't know. I guess like,
that's just what happened for me. Cause like, and then the other thing too that bothered me, like I told you as well, is like, I understand the themes that they're trying to put in this movie, but like, I don't super appreciate when they, like, to me, I get what they were going for, but I think they very much treated the audience as like low IQ, like little intelligence, because they don't make it very subtle. Like, it's pretty blatant and obvious in what they're going for. And at times, I would like it that, not every time, right? Because I don't give a shit about it in other movies that are lower stakes than this. But when a movie decides to take on a theme like this, something that is complicated, something that is subtle, that you don't really see with your eyes, right? Like, you have to, maybe not that far, but like, it's something that's under the surface, right? Like, that's the danger of this kind of thing, is that like, it doesn't necessarily happen out in the open. It's happening behind closed doors, and we don't even realize that like the system is so rigged against us. We do now. We have more understanding of it, but we're not privy to these types of things. And so like when they're like sitting there the whole movie being like, hey, you see all these rich white people over here? They're trying to kill all the poor people of color, blah, 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 blah. But then this one family who has like a little bit of sympathy or whatever is kind of cool. So they're like the outlier in the whole situation. But even they like, it was just too on the nose for me, to where I was just like, I get it. I know what you're going for. I get it. But I understood that in the first 5 minutes, and you spent the rest of the movie still trying to like beat that idea into my head. And I just got like tired of it after a while.
I feel you.
That, and again, it was having to do with my personal expectations. Cause like I've said, I expected a lot more out of this movie than I should have. I think it is meant to be like a junk popcorn movie. I don't think it's like a super, super deep intellectual thing.
Oh, heck no.
But the ideas that they set up are very, very deep and like heavy intellectual things. Those are commentaries that are very real, that do need to be discussed in a meaningful way now. So the way it was thrown away for essentially like an action thriller movie just bugged me a little bit, and it just was like hard for me to get into.
I feel you.
That's what it boiled down to for me, you know. It was like the themes were too heavy and too real for them to go as like, I don't want to go so far as to say cartoonish, but like goofy as they did with it. You know what I mean? It just seemed like a waste.
I feel you.
It's not necessarily so far. Like, again, I can appreciate for what it is. I just think it's a waste, because it could have been a prolific thing of like, holy shit, bro. Have you seen The Purge? They're talking about some crazy shit in that movie. You know what I mean? But like, it just pushes further into the classic thriller suspense. Let's let Ethan Hawke be an action hero for a little bit. He has a cool shotgun with a thing on top. You know, like it pushed too far into that realm for me to like give a shit anymore. That's all it was.
That's true. I feel that.
It's still fine. Like I said, it has 100% to do with my expectations. I can probably watch it again in like 10 years and just have a fun time like goofing off with it or whatever, right? But just, that's what really soiled it this first viewing for me, was I was like, damn, they had something okay here. Like, this might have actually been something like really good and like deep if they tried. And maybe they did try. I don't know. But like, it just didn't hit home for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of liked the idea, because they kind of mention it when like the kids kind of like, so like, would you guys kill? Like, would you guys purge? And the dad's kind of just like, yeah, I guess, like, I don't know. Like, I guess if like, you know, me and your mom feel the need,
we just don't feel the need to though.
Yeah. And then when presented with the opportunity, like, yeah, he's so, it's like, but it's also like the lengths you're willing to go to, like, to protect your family, right? Like, he's like, granted, he is pretty much just like profiling this dude, and is just like, oh no, this dude's gonna fucking kill us. Like, we gotta send him blah 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 outside. But it's also like, what would you also fucking do in that situation if you're a dad trying to protect your family, and this dude's just trying to come in, and he's just like, hey, on this night where I can fucking murder everybody,
I don't want a stranger in my house.
I'm gonna fucking murder you. So it's like, I liked it for that aspect. Like, there is like the struggle of like, let's just fucking send him out here. And then, you know, Ethan Hawke finally comes to the realization of like, fuck, dude, like, dang, I really don't want to fucking be like these people, you know? And I think that is also a thing in the movie too, of him like capitalizing off of something that he doesn't even really truly fucking believe in. Like, he doesn't really give a fuck about the Purge.
No, he doesn't support it, really.
Yeah, but he's just like,
or whatever.
Yeah, but he's like, I'm gonna act like I fucking support it, and I'm gonna make my money off of it.
Yeah. But again, so like, I'm just really shitting on this movie, and I apologize. I'm sorry, but like, I just
shit on it, man.
Again, that was another thing that was hard for me because of what they decided to do with the finale of it. Because again, thematically, I can get behind that. I like that idea. But Ethan Hawke still fucking takes his shotgun and guns down a bunch of fucking people on the Purge night, you know? And again, it's because he's protecting his family, blah, blah, blah. But
they're going to kill him.
But
what else are you going to do? They're going to kill him.
But if we're going to try to push the idea that he does not support killing on the Purge night.
So he's just going to Spider-Man him?
No, I'm not saying that. That's what I'm saying. This movie doesn't set itself up well. It's like the themes they're trying to tell, going off of the situation that they put themselves in, just don't mix very well to me, I think. Because, like, even with the kid, right? Like, the kid's whole thing is, like, he's the non-violent one, of the most blatantly non-violent of them all. Eventually, we realize, like you said, they all are not down with this shit. But he's, like, the first waiver of it, right? He's pushing it from the beginning. And even that fucker shoots somebody with a gun later, you know? So it's like, again, the survival thing, right? I understand, but it's like, again, it's just too contradictory for me. Like, I can accept wild fucking rules in a movie, but they have to be consistent. If they break their own ideas and their own themes that they're trying to tell of stuff that, for the sake of action or like thrill or suspense or whatever it might be, then that's when I have a hard time and I get kind of like thrown off about it.
I guess, but it's also like, I think with what they're presented, it's like, what else are they supposed to do? You know?
So that's what. So okay, because then another one that I was gonna bring up too, right? Is it's like, I agree, but then we have this whole thing where it's like Ethan Hawke is tying up the dude, right, taping him up or whatever. And at that point in my mind, when the dude walked in, when the fucking stupid kid opened the door, I immediately jump into the mindset of like, okay, what are you gonna do? You need to protect your family. Already, I'm sold. Anything that he needs to do to get that dude out of his house or keep these other people out, I'm good. I'm full in on that. I'm down, right? Like, I can accept that. But then they're tying him up, and Lena Headey, however you say her name, like, tries to pull this whole monologue of like, what have we become? What are we doing? And it's like, dude, he hasn't been doing this like every fucking year for the Purge. Like, somebody broke into your fucking house and you have to figure out what to do at that point. So like, it's just those moments where like, I think what happened, I don't know, this is just guesswork, but I think what happened is that they had these themes and these ideas that are smart, that they wanted to tell, but they picked arguably one of the dumbest genres in movies, which is like horror thriller stuff, right? It's very famous that characters make stupid fucking decisions in these types of movies. And I just think it was the wrong fit. Like, I would have preferred this type of story and this idea to be told in something that like fit the circumstances more, not something that in order to fill the needs of the genre needed to go to that place of like the characters end up being fucking dumb. Like, even the kid, right? I can get behind his ideals to a certain extent, but it's hard for me to believe that like an 11 or 12-year-old kid, right? That's probably how old he is, would, in the middle of a night where people fucking murder each other, would just be like, sorry, mom and dad, I'm going to let this stranger in really quick. Like that was so unbelievable to me. I was like, look, I get it. He's supposed to be like the good kid, right? So it's fine. But I couldn't believe it. I was like, no way that kid opens that door in real life. Like, put yourself in those shoes, right? You're an 11-year-old watching security cameras of like a random who's bleeding out on the front of your fucking street. It's like, help. You sit there fucking like crying, like, what the fuck is going on? You know, like, no way that kid has the foresight to be like, I'm going to save you, buddy.
I don't know. Like, I can see that, but it's like with the movie presented to me, like, he's a fucking smart ass kid. Like, he rigged up this little fucking thing to, you know, fucking go around, play music, and he can fucking see things and hear people fucking through it. So like, to me, like, he's already asking these deeper questions as a young child who is this smart about things like that. That's why he's asking his parents, like, would you fucking kill people? Like,
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't fucking ask my parents that fucking question.
Yeah.
I would just be like, I'm fucking scared of the Purge.
I'm just gonna go play games until this is over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he's literally trying to understand it on like a deeper level.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to me from what they're giving me at that moment. He has this sort of like, what am I gonna do moment, because I don't think people should fucking die. And I see this dude like asking for help. Like, what else am I gonna fucking do? He's bleeding out. He's asking for help. Like,
maybe that's where my like issue from it came, because I agree. Like, I was kind of down. I was down for his character until that happened. But then the movie, and whether it was intentional or not, there's no way else to see it. The movie takes that character and his ideals and basically presents like, this is what started all the problems, though. Soon as you have some heart to you, soon as you want to help somebody else out, it all fucking spirals from there.
True.
So that was the other thing too, where I was like, what do you want me to get from this? Like, what am I supposed to believe? Are you just trying to provoke thoughts from me, or are you trying to make a statement of like, this thing is good or this thing is bad, or like vice versa, whatever it might be, you know? Because he is the root of all the issues in the movie. If he doesn't open that door, they
Nothing
sleep
happens.
soundly till the end of the night, and it's fine when crime becomes legal again in the
Yeah.
morning, or illegal in the morning.
yeah.
So it's like, again, it was just, maybe that just like struck me a little too deeply, because like I sympathize and empathize with that kid, because like I can't speak to it because I've never been in a scenario like that, but I would like to believe that like with the ideals and morals that I have, I would also value human life enough to be like, okay, I don't want you to fucking die, so I'm going to try to save you.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, the movie then tells you like, nope, do that and everybody and your whole fucking family's going to die.
Yeah. I guess.
But again, I don't think that was the intention. I think it's the split between them trying to have these smart ideas set in a thriller movie.
Yeah.
Where shit needs to happen and stuff needs to go down to put you on the edge of your seat and stuff like that, you know? It's like I said, it's just too contradictory at times for me.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the contradiction. I
I
like
just
it.
got to turn my brain off and watch it. That's all.
Yeah.
Because
I was fucking digging it, bro. When all the people are getting fucking killed, I'm like, fuck yeah, kill that motherfucker, dude.
that part I was down. But like, okay, again, sorry. I keep shitting on the fucking movie, bro. I'm sorry. But again,
Go ahead, bro. You shit on it. I lift it up. It's all good.
Yeah. I was down too, because I was like, yes, finally, like this is something that I can get behind. It's like, if at the very end, it's like, you can try all you want and you can try to be good and you can try to be moral, but at the end of the day, we all succumb to our instincts, right? Then Lena Headey, again, maybe it's hard for me because I just know her as Cersei Lannister, but she's like, we're going to end this night in fucking peace. And I'm like, no, fucking kill them. Fuck that. This is unsatisfying as fuck. She gets the butt to the nose and she's bleeding, and that's good.
I loved that part. Dude.
That is great. But
and then she fucking grabs her head and slams it into the table. Fuck yeah.
That's good.
Like, fuck yeah.
That's good, but it's not enough for me.
I
All
feel
of
that.
those other fuckers deserve to die. And quite frankly, she could retain her moral high ground while still killing those fuckers. And she wouldn't like put herself beneath them or anything, I think, because like that's justice if you ask me, right? Like,
yeah, I think it is, because I was for sure like, shoot those motherfuckers,
fucking kill them.
But I think there is also like a strength that comes with like, I'm gonna let these motherfuckers look at me every single motherfucking day and know that I know what the fuck they actually think about me.
Okay, because
I think that was like a circle back to when she asked him like, oh, like, is this what people are blah 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 saying?
Yeah.
No, it's just blah blah. It's just what I hear. It's just like
now
a rumor.
She knows the truth.
It's like, no, now I fucking know, and you're gonna sit there and you're gonna know that I fucking know.
Okay, see,
and I could have killed you,
because that was the other thing.
And now I got a homie that's gonna kill you if I ask him to.
I mean,
maybe I don't know.
Probably
maybe,
not, because he probably just left and they never see each other. Because that was the other thing too, right? Because the immediate thing that I thought of after the movie was, I was like, okay, but they're just going to come back and kill you next year on The Purge. And then Ev pointed out to me, she's like, no, they're probably going to move the fuck away from there and never be anywhere near there again. And I was like, okay, that's more logical. That's what would happen. But I had the same thought too of like, they're going to stick around and then what? Purge is going to come around next year and they're just going to get fucking killed in their home. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, they're not going to let it go over the next year, you know?
Yeah.
So like,
also imagine with the dad dying, they're probably going to move somewhere.
Yeah,
else.
exactly. Like, that's what that Ev set the reality in for me. It's like, okay, yeah, they're not going to stay in that house. But like I said, I went to the same thought of like, all right, yeah, you got the moral high ground over this person, I guess. But like, what does that really do for you? Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, fucking kill him. Like
Yeah.
I was like,
I would have
just
liked-
shoot him
I-
in the fucking face.
I would have
Fuck
liked
those
to have seen them
motherfuckers.
die for sure.
Because they were so awful too. Like they're so horrible. They're terrible. You know. I told Ev I was laughing. To me, in the way that I read the movie, I don't think it would have broke the immersion, but for some folks, I'm sure it would have. But like, I thought it was weird because like it was 2013, so it was like early days of them like trying out inclusion and stuff. But like everybody's white except for one of the family's like wife, who's a black woman.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I was
yeah,
telling
yeah.
Ev, I was like,
There's one Asian guy.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I was telling Ev, like, how funny would it be if, like, the homeless dude who also happens to be a black man is, like, got him at gunpoint and is like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, with all these fucking crazy white people, bro. Like, what the fuck? And I was like, maybe that's immersion breaking for, like, what they set up. But I thought it would have fit perfectly fine, you know? It'd be a funny little joke at the end or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I don't know. It's like I said, just too contradictory for me. Like, for me, contradiction needs to be, like, made with purpose, you know? And I don't think they meant for everything to be as like back and forth as it was. If they did, kudos to them. Like, holy shit, they made the most chaotically fucking contradictory plan of all time and executed. But I think a lot of it was like accidental and incidental, not what they intended. So it was just, yeah, I don't know. It was a hard pill to swallow for me. I was just not down. Also, I will say this too, like, I am very, 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 very much a pacifist. Like, I do not believe in violence whatsoever. I think it is silly to say that with all the advancements that we've had as the human race to be like, yeah, but the very first basic instinct that we ever had, we're never going to get away from. You know what I mean? Like, we've learned, but like, hear me out for a second. How many fucking things have we changed about the way we've lived our lives since back then?
A lot.
You're telling me we can't do that with killing and violence and stuff like that too? I disagree with that. I can't do it. I 100% believe that we as human beings are capable of much, much, much more. I think it is disrespectful. Sorry, I'm getting heated here. I'm going to calm down a little bit. I think it is disrespectful to say that we are incapable of overcoming those urges to act on our primal fucking instincts of stuff. It disrespects everything that we have achieved as the human race, in my opinion.
I think we are capable. I just think for a lot of people, it's easier to fall back on what's, you know.
Certainly it's easier.
Again, what just comes natural versus to actually
try something new.
Try something
different.
So, yeah.
I understand 100%.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I think it's possible. And so I think that is also why I had such a heavy aversion to the movie, is because the very concept of it is like, fuck it, give in to violence, give in to hatred, give in to fear, give in to fucking everything. You know what I mean? For a night, sure, but essentially you're giving into it, you know? So I this was just not the movie for me. It was not going to speak to me. Even if it was wonderfully made, it was probably not going to hit for me, you know?
I feel you.
Yeah.
I fucking love that shit. I'll fucking watch the shit. I love that shit, dude. I think the shit was like an 8 for me for sure. I liked it a lot. I liked Ethan Hawke. I like seeing him in this movie.
He was good. I will say that is that like
there are points for sure where I was just like, damn, this shit's kind of corny or whatever. But I think the overall thing, the overall concept of it, I liked it. I think it did do. It was just big for fucking horror movies back in 2013. Like this was definitely
it spawned a whole franchise.
Yeah, this was a big like nationwide like global fucking moment, you know. This spawned like a whole different genre of fucking Halloween costumes and fucking a whole different type of fear, right? Like fear in just regular society and not just like this supernatural slasher fucking being, you know. It's just like no fear that like people
can be the monster.
People can be the monster. People can just decide to be the monster instead of, you know, trying to be a greater good, you know, and things like that. So it was just fucking gnarly for me. I fucking love this shit.
That was the other thing I was going to mention as well, too, is that like I'm pretty confident that this movie probably would have hit me differently if I watched it in 2013. Because I think a lot of my issues with like how blatantly on the nose they are about this stuff was for sure. Again, if I'm remembering correctly, I was like 16 or something like that in 2013, right? When this came out, I was for sure not as aware. And I think in general, it wasn't as loudly spoken about the type of issues that they were presenting. So I think it probably hits different if you watch it when it released versus when you watch it now. Now it seems like why are you talking about this? Like, obviously we talk about this in real life now all the time. Like you said, this very poignant in terms of like what happens nowadays. And it's unfortunately normalcy, like the type of things that we talk about, right? Versus like in 2013, it was just starting to rear its head. So it was maybe more on the cusp of things, like in front of it. Rather than like for me with this viewing, it seemed very behind the times. You know what I mean? Because I watched it so late. Because I watched it, 10 years later. So that's me being bad about the historical inflation of it, you know? Bringing back the term from last week. So, you know, maybe that's on me as a viewer. That is difficult to do sometimes. But like I said, I think if I watched it in 2013 when I was a teenager, it probably would have affected me a lot more than it does now as an adult who actually has to like contend with this being a reality. Like, let's be real. It's not pardoned. You can't do it legally. But the type of shit that happens in this movie is unfortunately our reality now that we live in America. People will take guns and go fucking kill people whenever they fucking want. Like, oh yeah, just because. So I think that had to do with it as well. It was like, I didn't surrender to the historical inflation of the movie.
I think that's why I liked it more, is just the idea of that people are so crazy nowadays. Like you said, people will literally just go get a gun and just shoot up anything nowadays. And I think what did it for me is the idea that people will be so crazy to accept this and be like, oh yeah, I fucking love this shit. Like this is what made our country better. Like there are a lot of fucking people in this country that would literally say those exact fucking words if this was a fucking thing. And I think that's the fucking scary thing is like, I think we're at a time where if this was literally put into place tomorrow, there's a lot of people that would be fucking really excited for that shit.
Yeah, I get it. I think the other thing too that I had trouble with is it's like this would never happen. None, like unless we went to full dystopia and the president ceased to exist and government ceased to exist, no way in hell would an organized system allow chaos to happen even for a night. Because that's what it is, right? It's that order has decided, okay, you can be chaotic for a night, but only a night, and then you got to stop. But that doesn't work because chaos is not a one and done thing. Chaos
it's not,
expands
for sure.
and continues to grow from what it is. It's like the fucking Joker, bro. Yeah. Like, so that was the other thing too that was hard for me is it's like in 2013, I think it was more believable that it could possibly happen. Or I don't know, maybe that's not it. But for me, it's non-believable. Like, I don't think no chance in hell it would ever happen under an organized government, even Donald Trump. I think that motherfucker's a goddamn fucking idiot. But contrary to popular belief, the country does not run solely off of the president of the United States. There are a lot of other government officials in place that things happen. And yes, they happen to align from time to time and shit can go wrong the way it does. I don't even fully understand how government works, to be perfectly honest with you. But from what I do understand, I highly doubt that anything like this could ever happen to where they would just legalize all crime, even just for a night. You know what I mean?
Listen, man, there's crazy motherfuckers out there. And there's crazy motherfuckers that find their ways into positions of power.
Oh, no, I don't disagree.
So, yeah, I can't discredit this being an actual reality. Do I sit here and hope it's a reality? Fuck no. I really hope that society does not come to this. But I do think that given the right circumstances and the right domino effect of things happening politically,
you think the organized government would condone any criminal activity for 12 hours straight?
Listen, man, money talks. But and when people listen, money fucking talks.
That's fair. That's
and when
fine.
People bring up like I'm not trying to give credibility that this could happen, but I'm just saying if people were to come up and the right people in power were in position, and the right people came up to them and brought them like numbers and graphs and blah blah and said, hey, look, if we do this blah 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 blah, this would happen. Yeah, I do think there would be people that would consider that and be like, you know what, let's fucking try it.
Consider it, sure. I just don't think it would ever happen. Because, okay, here's it. Look, when crime is illegal, People stormed the Capitol of the United States. They charged the fucking White House, ready to kill people.
Yeah.
So put your rules in place of like, you can kill anybody you want, but not the president. They're smart enough to realize people would not give a shit. If people are willing to charge the fucking White House when crime is illegal, no way they're not going to charge in there and kill everybody that put this thing in place the first night it fucking happens.
Depends on the way you word it, right? Because if you just say, hey, for a night you can just go out and kill people, a lot of people are probably like, that's fucking crazy.
Well, the way they say it, right?
But
Is
if
that
you
crime
say,
is legal for 12 hours. That's what it's presented to us as.
But if you present it as you're doing this to better America, better your nation, America is better because of this, there's a lot of people that would subscribe to that. Because there's a lot of people that are very big nationalists.
Yeah.
And that will be like, I will do whatever the fuck for my country. And if there's people that see that this, makes the economy better, there's a lot of people that will do whatever the fuck.
But here's my problem. You have to have the first purge. You don't get data until after that. So you're not going to do the first one, be like, okay, that's enough. Everybody go back to being normal. We need to do our research now.
But
you open the floodgates and then it's over.
But again, it's in the movie, it's also deeper than just like, this makes the economy better. It makes the economy better because the rich people are getting rid of the poor people.
Killing the poor people,
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
And where are we at right now? We're at a place where like you go to San Francisco, you go to LA, homelessness is
at all-time high. Yeah,
all-time
100%.
high.
Yeah, definitely.
And there are a lot of people that don't want to do the right things don't want to do the hard things to do the things to help people like that.
Yeah.
Or they'd rather take the easy way out.
Yeah, no, I get that. But like I said, I'm just saying there's no point in real life where whatever scientists think that the purge would help would get the opportunity to conduct their research in order to put the public message out. Hey, everything you did on that one night is actually helping the economy and helping population, helping this and that. Because the very first night you introduce a purge, it would be over. People wouldn't just stop after the 12 hours. I'm sorry, but that is something they would not stop. So the second you introduce the first purge, the United States of America ceases to exist. It's over. You now live in a dystopian society where everybody does whatever they want. We're back to the wild, wild west. So the scientists who thought their hypothesis would work don't even get a chance to confirm that and tell all these nationalists, you're making the economy better. All you white folk are going to make more money because they probably got killed by the white folk going on a fucking rampage.
Again, I think it just depends on the way you word it. And if you are marketing it to people as like, you do this for the 12 hours and this helps you doing things that are illegal is being in these 12 hours is being a law-abiding citizen and being a good American. There are people that'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, let's fucking do that. And after, I do agree, it would probably be hard for people to stop. Like, if people are just like, if you just have this 12-hour window, it's probably going to be hard for you to be like, oh, I'm going to murder this one person, and I'm not going to murder another person. Yeah. But there's a lot of people that will do shit just for the love of their country. And if you word it that way, there is a lot of people that will do shit within those 12 hours because of the love of the country. And you cannot discredit that.
No, I'm not discrediting that. The only thing that I am saying is hard for me to believe is that there is no way, because again, like we've both agreed, after the very first purge, it wouldn't stop. So there's no way for them to look at the purge and gather enough anything to say that, oh, this actually worked. We're bettering the economy now. Because they wouldn't stop after the first one. So unless they just told everybody from the beginning, I think this is going to work. We're pretty sure that this will better the economy, that this will get rid of homelessness, that this will do that. They have nothing to actually confirm to you that what you're about to do on the very first purge is going to continue to make the world better. Because they would have to do the first purge, stop, figure everything out, realize that probably all the rich white folk killed all the poor people. Then they would be able to tell people, every time that you do this each year, you're continuing to get rid of the folk that you don't like, and you continuing to like amass everything. That's what, you know what I mean? Like, that's the part they wouldn't be able to tell people that because they wouldn't know until after they've done it once. But what they've done it once.
But they just don't tell people that. That's the thing.
See, but that's what I'm saying. So if you don't tell people that, they're just going to do it and they're going to go crazy. They're going to kill people forever.
Yeah, but I think that also adds into like the whole propaganda thing. Because did you, when the credits rolled, did you listen to like what was?
Oh, yeah.
So, and I think that's the whole thing. If you, like, again, like there's outlets like Fox News, there's like really like right-wing outlets, and there's really left-wing, left outlets, right? That will feed you information based on their biases, right? And it really just depends on which is the most popular.
Yeah.
And I think, especially the time now, like given the news and everything like that, a lot of the people that are like, oh, this person said this, like, yeah. If you are in power and you tell these people, I want you to fucking say this because I can grease your pockets up a little bit, those people are going to fucking say that shit. And those people are going to say that shit 100%. Because they're tapped into millions and millions of people, and people are going to start to believe in that thing.
Oh, yeah.
So
definitely.
I think a big part of this is just propaganda at the end of the day. It may not be scientifically backed evidence of like, hey, if you do this, the economy is going to be better.
Sure, yeah.
But it's these people that have this idea of like, we're the rich and we don't give a fuck about the poor. We want shit to be better for ourselves. So we're going to we're going to create this so we can kill all of these fucking people.
See, but because the other thing too is because if you remember, the very last soundbite that they have is a father. And he says, I supported the Purge. I love the Purge. I thought it was the greatest fucking idea ever. But I lost my 2 sons last night. I thought I was being a true American. I no longer know what that means anymore.
Yeah.
That is real.
Yeah, that's 100%.
That is what would happen. Even these nationalist fucks. Sorry, Jesus, I'm getting really heated.
No, call them. Call them that shit.
Even these fucking crazy bastards, as soon as it got personal and they lost somebody that they give a shit about, the realization would set in. Oh, fuck, I just did that to somebody else. Oh, fuck, I lost my... Oh, this doesn't work. We're just being fucking psychos. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think it works. I don't think there's a reality where this is a consistent thing that would actually happen. I think the minute you tried to do the first purge, like I said, the U.S. would cease to exist. We would kill each other until we burned each other alive. That would be it. You're right. You can propagate the very first purge. You can tell all of these psycho motherfuckers who gun-wielding, gun-toting bastards who want to fucking just pull the fucking trigger. Like, yeah, if you do this, you're going to make the economy better. But the second a homeless person fought back or a person of color fought back and killed one of their sons or killed one of their family, the realization would set in like, oh, I made a mistake. And that's it. It's over. Yeah. So that's all I'm saying. I don't think the purge works. I think that like, at a certain point, that's what I'm saying, right? Is it's like, I don't think we want violence. Like, it is in us, and it is a primal instinct. But the second that violence affects you personally, you don't want that shit.
Oh, no, yeah, 1,000%.
And so that's what I'm saying, is it's like, in order for this to work, everybody would have to be fucking psychotic. You'd have to be okay with, like, it's free range. Like, yeah, I might get my aggression out, but somebody else is going to either let that out on me or my family or my loved ones or my friends or whatever, and I'm just going to have to deal with that and move on. That wouldn't work. The nation would be traumatized. Let's say the first purge went successfully, and by a fucking miracle, everybody stopped purging at like 7 o'clock the next day. We are fucked forever. Everybody who participated, everybody who did not participate, who just watched from their homes, is forever and irrevocably traumatized to the max, because literally our government body that is supposed to, at the very least, keep us alive, maybe not look out for our best interests, but keep us alive because we make the government function. Without us, they don't exist. So they need to keep us here at the very least. Sheep, right? As soon as that was over, that's it. It's gone. It's poof. It's it. That's it. As soon as you introduce chaos into a governing body that fucking thrives on control, that's it. It's over. There's no way that a purge goes successfully in my mind. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think it's a good thing at all. I'm just saying I don't think it's not a non-conceivable
Maybe the first
idea.
One would happen. I just don't think it would continue to happen is what I'm saying. After the first one, I think it would be over. I don't think that there's a scenario in which you can have a situation like this where the purge has been a regular thing for 10 years and people have just accepted it at this point. That part I don't believe. Because again, I just think human reaction, the instincts and the feelings and the reactions that we can't control based off of what happens when we lose a loved one or even a friend or a close person, throws all that out the window. Like this, like that's why I bring up that last soundbite, right? Of like the guy who fully believed in the purge, who's like, yeah, this is great. I'm doing my duty as an American. As soon as he loses his 2 sons, he loses all credit. That plan loses all credibility, and he's done. That would happen to everybody on the very first night, because everybody would be at risk. Even if you're rich and well armed, somebody's going to get a lucky shot in, and fucking Donald Trump's son is going to get killed, or whatever rich government official's daughter is going to get fucking sniped in the head. You know what I mean? So like, that's the part where I find it unbelievable. It's like, it just, after the first one, that's it. It's over. If you ever did that, you just send the country into chaos and that's done.
Yeah.
Because that was the other thing too that was interesting to me, is they very specifically mentioned that this is an American thing. Like, I don't know what the rest of the franchise is like, so maybe they expand on it. But as far as what they cover in this movie, it doesn't seem like the rest of the world purges. They don't ever confirm or deny it. They just talk about the United States in this movie.
Yeah, I think it's all just the United States.
Yeah, it's just U.S., yeah.
Because the United States is fucking crazy.
We're the worst.
We're fucking, and again, that's why I think like this is not the most like inconceivable fucking idea.
Yeah.
Do I think it's something that would last? Probably fucking not. But
I
again,
think it's a Republican's wet dream, like a psycho fucking.
So I'm saying, I think
nationalist wet dream.
given the right circumstances and given the right people in the right places, I think it's something that could probably cross some fucking people's minds and be like, hey, did you see this fucking movie, The Purge? Not so bad of an idea.
Yeah, oh yeah, cross their minds and people thinking it's a good idea. I 100% I agree with you. I'm just saying in terms of actual application, execution, again, I think the second it happened, it'd be over. There's no recovering from that.
Yeah, I think,
there's no going back to normalcy after that.
No, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with that.
People thinking it's a good idea, people being down for it, people higher in like government officials, even scientists, whatever, telling people this is going to help this, blah, blah, blah. You're right. I can 100% get behind that. Like I said, the only thing that just makes the whole thing unbelievable to me is I don't think it would continue to happen. Like I said, after the first night, I think it's over. I think that's it. It's a one and done type of thing. We'd be picking up pieces. The California would, what do they call it? Like, when they like remove themselves or whatever. If fucking homeboy, whatever the governor's name is, is even still alive.
Secede or something.
Yeah,
like that.
something like that. Like everything it would just go back to the Wild West. Everybody would be lawless. Like you would just be, it would be the Purge forever after that.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think there's a way to go back to normalcy after that.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's
100%
it.
no. 100% no.
You let people start shooting people in the streets, they're not gonna stop. It's gonna keep going.
Yeah. I'm just saying I don't think people wouldn't jump at the idea.
They'd be down for it, yeah. They'd be down for 100%.
Like I'm saying, there's crazy motherfuckers out there that, given the voice, given the right positions of power, would try to do some shit like this.
They don't even need it.
Might be fucking successful.
They don't even need it. It already happens.
Yeah.
The successful thing I don't agree with. But yeah. I mean, the first night, sure. But like,
no, as in might be successful in implementing it and being like, oh, let's fucking do this shit.
Yeah, sure. Maybe.
And again, if there's people crazy out there like that, I can't discredit there being people crazy enough to be like, let's do this all the fucking time.
Yeah. It just would never stop.
Yeah.
It would be every day. Every day would be the purge. 365 days a year, you'd have to be purging.
Unless they like really like hammer down on like law enforcement like right after the purge. Like if they're like super strict on like, yeah, if you kill someone, you are for sure going like, not that that's not a thing nowadays, right?
Yeah.
But if it's like, no, the purge is just for the purge, and if you break the rules after, like it's gonna be fucking bad.
Well, yeah, I mean that's how it's supposed to be, but like, then that just goes up against another wall of issues that we have, which is that the government already does that.
Oh no, yeah,
our law enforcement already does that. They're like, oh, you did this, I'm gonna fucking shoot you down in the street now. You're dead.
Yeah.
You don't do what I tell you, you're fucking dead in your car. Like that already happened, and that's a whole nother issue. If anything, that would be a better rebellion. Yeah. The people versus the government. Fuck the government telling us to kill each other for control. We fucking go and kill everybody up there and say, fuck you. You're like, okay, I'm going way hardcore. I'm sorry. Again, it's got me really fucking heated, and I apologize. Yeah. But yeah, it just didn't fucking hit for me, bro. I like Ethan Hawke a lot in the movie. I think he's really good. But like, everything about this movie is so counter to my beliefs. There's no way I would like this movie. It's impossible for me to like this movie.
I feel it, dude.
It's not going to happen.
Teach their own, brother. Teach 100%. Their own.
That's what I preach every day, man, you know?
On these podcasts. Their own, man.
That's what I preach every day on these podcasts.
Like I said, I love this shit. I think I'm fucking...
That's good. I'm glad.
I think it's fucking awesome. I think it is corny at points, but like, I don't know. I just love the crazy idea of people fucking doing shit like this and it being like.
See, because the other thing that I worry about is this, right? Is that like pop culture can influence society in a very heavy way. So who's to say that putting the fucking Purge in theaters didn't put the idea into people's heads?
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Good. That's awful. This movie should have never been released if that's the case. If we can find a direct correlation at some point to
But here's also what I'm saying.
Things like this.
If there's people that have the minds to come up with a movie like this, who's to say there aren't people that have already thought things like this?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. But see, that's why I bring up the thing.
But I think that's why I like it as a horror movie, is it brings something that can be very realistic into light, and it's like you have to face that, you know?
I think I mean
at least to me,
no,
like when I
yeah.
like sit there and I'm like, damn, like there's some crazy people. This shit could fucking happen. Like, damn, this shit is pretty fucking scary, especially since it is 2022 and we're 2023.
Yeah.
And like there's shit that fucking goes down here.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, I just think that like. That it's just I can genuinely see that there probably is a correlation for some people where like they watch The Purge and it feels irresponsible to me to put something out into the world that is as realistic as this is and not try to provide some kind of solution. Not that they were going to fucking solve everybody's problems, but to drudge up as much deep, real fucking heavily seated violence and intense instinct that we actually have in our society, and then to end it on action, fun, thriller, shoot everybody down is irresponsible to me, because it's like, you're fucking bringing up real shit and you're putting it out into the world of like, ooh, what would happen if this? Let's cook. Let's do this. And then the ending of the movie doesn't give a shit about that anymore. And they're just like, Ethan Hawke, go crazy. So people out there who might already have that in their mind don't have the roadblock at the end of the movie that poses an alternative, that asks them to think differently about it. They throw the idea out there and then they double down on it for the sake of glorifying the action of what needs to happen at the end of the movie. And to me, that's dangerous because, again, there's no alternative presented at the end that tells you this is bad. This is not good. The end of the movie is basically like, yeah, people who act like fucking shitty people deserve to get what's coming to them or whatever. And maybe there's a single mom somewhere who's going to say like, no more fucking violence. But in the grand scheme of things, everybody's just going to go into that. And that is the part that I have, I think, such an issue. I mean, I have issues with a lot of it, but that's one of the parts that I have such a big issue is you have a responsibility as somebody who puts out mass consumed media to make sure that you are not inciting terrible fucking things like that. And again, I'm not going to go so far as to say that like, you know, the Purge started riots, but I guarantee you if we actually went back and looked at some news articles back then, some crazy shit probably went down after this movie happened. People probably did some fucked up shit. And so like to not try and figure out like other movies that pose real things like this or psychological stuff or do it or whatever, either end with them telling you like, this is wrong. You should not do this. This is very bad. Don't fucking, this movie doesn't do that really. Like not clearly enough. I
guess, but to me, if you need a movie to sit here and be like, hey, killing people is fucking bad.
For us. But again, I'm talking from the perspectives of people who already have that idea in their mind. Then there's nothing at the end that makes them second guess themselves. Somebody who already thinks that like the Purge might be a good idea is going to watch this and be like, it will work. Look at the movie. We can't always prescribe the same level of like understanding and intelligence to everybody that's going to watch this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then I guess by that logic and reason, you can't like someone that already has that idea in their head probably isn't going to be like, oh, this movie fucking changed my mind.
That's fair.
You know, I think to me, if you already have this idea before going to watch this movie,
yeah,
I don't think you're going into this movie expecting to get your fucking mind changed.
That's fair.
You know,
that's fair.
So,
like I said, I just think that there's
And I personally don't think horror movies are out there to change your mind on a lot of shit.
Sometimes it depends. Psychological stuff, psychological horror, I think, is definitely trying to alter your perspective on things.
True.
Yeah,
true.
Typical drum scares, sure, are not. But stuff like this is for sure trying to get you to think.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I just think they don't follow through on a lot of the ideas that they set up. And so by the end of it, I just can't agree with it.
I feel you.
They just don't fucking like it.
I feel you. I loved it. I love this shit. I love this shit. The only thing that I would say, the only thing for me that was fucking super fucking dumb was when like the daughter was hella crying over the boyfriend that was just wanted to, that he literally was just gonna shoot your fucking dad.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It's like, this fool literally just tried to fucking shoot your dad, and you're hella crying over this fool. All right, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, like I said, I think that happens with all the characters, if you ask me. But yeah, they all do stupid shit that makes no fucking sense. Like, which is, again, fine.
I think that's every horror movie. I think every horror movie,
that's part
people
of it.
Are making fucking stupid fucking decisions.
Yeah, 100%. But like I said, in a movie that tries to promote what I would consider to be a smart idea, having that set in a movie where your characters are bound to make stupid fucking decisions is not a good fit.
Yeah, I feel that.
That's all.
Yeah, I feel it.
At this point, we're going in circles. Yeah. So I'm just gonna say I'm done trying to explain it. I just didn't like the movie.
We're just agreeing to disagree.
Just give it a 5 out of 10 for me.
Dang, 5 out of 10.
It's bad. Like I said, on if I had to rate it as just a movie, and I took all of my personal stuff out of it, I would still probably only give it like a 6.5. I don't think it's like a super strong movie, just to begin with. So like,
granted, I don't think there's any like horror movies in around that time that I'm looking at straightforward, just like the content of the movie, stripped of just like the horror aspects. You know what I'm saying?
Like, what do you mean? Like something that's good? Like something that would get a high score, like based off of the movie that like is crafted around that genre?
Yeah, I don't know if like around that time there were very many like super crazy like banger like crazy movies that were coming out in terms of like oh my god, conceptually this movie is fucking.
I would say that we can find one, but probably. But this is my argument in general about this type of stuff and like a lot of the conversations that are happening now of like movies are ruined now. It's like most of the movies that come out in any given year are probably going to be bad because there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of movies that get released every year that we just don't watch. And it's very easy for us to look back at last year and just talk about the Oscar winners or the Oscar nominees and stuff and say like, oh, it was a good year because these 5 came out. But if you want to go statistical about it, every year there are more bad movies than there are good movies because it's harder to make good movies and it's harder to make good content than it is. I think that's true for every medium. There's going to be more bad books than there are good books published every year. There's going to be more shitty YouTube videos than there are good YouTube videos every year because it's easy to pump out shit and we will consume it. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So it's like it's easy to pick and choose a good year. It's harder to have the reality of like, okay, but what other bad stuff came out in that good year that we talk about? That's like one of the things that I try to like keep myself level on when it comes to the good old days. Like I'm not good about it because I love shit from them, but I always try to remember like, okay, yeah, I can look at the 70s and be like Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Jaws, blah, 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 blah. But across those 10 years, how many more hundreds, if not thousands of shitty knockoffs or bad original ideas came and went that were garbage too? You know what I mean?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
It's harder to make good shit.
But yeah. Yeah, I think also for me, like, I'm not looking for horror movies to be like this super crazy, like deep, conceptual type of movie. Like, I think for the most part, for a horror movie, I'm looking to like have fun.
Okay.
And then if you hit me with some crazy deep shit that I really have to sit there and think about, then that like makes it hit more for me.
Okay.
But I think for this movie, the amount of fun that I had with this movie was really what did it more for me.
Okay.
I think, yeah, if you sit down and you really analyze the movie, you're like, damn, this movie probably kind of fucking sucks.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But I don't know. I think I had a lot of fun with it. I think it brings up a lot of crazy ideas. Yeah, is it like not smart to put out a movie that, you know, deals with a lot of crazy shit, i.e. fucking Americans killing Americans and shit like that, and not provide a, you know,
at least some
like, sort of dialogue that's like, hey, this is fucking terrible. But again, like, I think if you're going into a movie like this already not knowing that, hey, killing someone's fucking terrible, I don't think a movie like this at the end saying like, hey, this is bad is going to fucking change your mind.
I can agree with that.
So I'm not going to sit there and hold that against them.
Yeah.
Because it's like, maybe that wasn't what they intended to do. Maybe they didn't intend this to make this a piece on like, where at the end they're like, hey, this is fucking bad. Maybe it's just like, hey, look at the whole grand scheme of what the fuck is going on and what the fuck these characters are doing.
Yeah.
The fucking dad being like this sleazeball and like selling people this freaking security system that like kind of works, but it also fucking kind of doesn't, you know, and stuff like that. Like, and then, you know, these rich ass fucking white people just wanting to kill off the fucking poor people, you know, like. Yeah, so, it's fucking crazy, but maybe they didn't sit there and we're like, yeah, we're going to tell people, like, this is fucking bad. It's hey, look at all this and decide for yourself, like, this is fucking bad.
Yeah, no.
And if you don't think it's bad, you're probably fucking crazy.
Probably a little psychotic. Yeah. No, I think it's interesting that you bring up the idea of, like, how you don't go into horror movies expecting a whole lot of, like braininess, smarts from it over it. Because, like, again, I've tried to give the disclaimer across all the heatedness that I've put into this microphone these last hour or whatever that we've been talking about it. But like, I had an opposite introduction to horror movies where I never watched them when I was a kid because they would scare the fuck out of me.
Yeah, same.
So when I did decide to start watching them, what I got introduced to was smart horror.
Okay.
Things like 2001, things like Suspiria, like these psychological thrillers that do change your perspective on things. So this is a personal thing because that's what I was exposed to first, but that is what I come to expect from what I would consider good horror or good thriller or good suspense, whatever you want to call it. So when I see something like this, it doesn't hit the level that, because for me, it's the adverse effect of like what happens with you and me and Marvel, right? For me, I have a much lower standard of stuff because I can turn my brain off for shit like that because like, I don't know, I don't care. Like it doesn't matter. Like, so, but when I have recently as an adult decided to delve into this new genre to where everything that I've exposed myself to has been intelligent, has had some kind of thought that really made me think and really possibly changed my perspective on stuff. When I see shit like this, I'm just like, nah, get it out of here. I don't care.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you.
It's the personal bias thing. It's just what happens. It's it's to each their own, like you said.
But yeah, no, I feel you. I think, but I was also introduced to like the more well thought out psychological horror. Like the first horror movie I remember watching, me like, hey, watch this fucking horror movie was Silence of the Lambs. And being like, oh damn, this is fucking crazy. But I think there are like it's two sides of the same coin. I think like for horror movies, you can't have those deeper psychological think pieces that scare the fuck out of you, but also present you with these ideas that have, you know, solutions to them.
Sure.
But I think there's also those regular, like, I think this is like a weird amalgamation of like a slasher film and like something that is trying to be a little bit deeper, but they don't go all the way.
Trying to like
they don't
combo
go.
them.
They don't go all the way through. And like
trying to coexist between two different camps.
Yeah, and I take it more of like a slasher film because like again, it is sort of like this crazier idea of shit. Do I think it could possibly happen? Yeah, I think it fucking could. I've made that pretty fucking clear. But it is this greater, like more fantastical type of idea that is a lot more far-fetched.
Yeah, the genre is for sure very far-fetched. Like I said, it's just too contradictory for me because the idea is very real and the idea is actually intelligent until it's not.
Until it's not, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the end of this movie is where it like really like
it just goes full action. It just goes full thriller. Like it's just an excuse for Ethan Hawke to kill a bunch of people and then get killed
and then die
and then more people.
Yeah. But yeah, I rated 8 out of 10.
5 out of 10.
You rated a 5 out of 10. Let's fucking move on from some fucking
Black Phone. I really like this one.
Let's do some fucking Black Phone.
I thought this was really good.
I thought this was a real fucking good movie. It really I fucking really liked it. I liked Ethan Hawke in this role. It was very interesting not really seeing his full face until the end of the fucking movie.
Yeah, you kind of get a glimpse in the beginning, but he's got like the shades on and it's very, very quick like images of him and stuff. So and then even at the end.
We're talking about Black Phone. If you guys don't know what Black Phone is, it's a movie about a serial killer that abducts children. And this one kid gets abducted and he is getting some help from some fucking spirits.
Yeah,
and he
basically
fights his way out of
all the previous victims.
Yeah, exactly.
Help him escape. Yeah.
And yeah, this was a fucking nuts ass movie. Takes place in 1978.
That super surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but like when I saw the trailers for this, like I just assumed
Thought it was more modern.
Yeah, there was nothing about the trailers that I remember seeing that like made me think 70s or like late 70s or whatever. So yeah, it definitely got me. I was like, oh, okay. I was down for it 100%.
Hell yeah.
But I was definitely surprised.
But yeah, Ethan Hawke plays the Grabber.
The Grabber. That's a good name.
Dude, I liked it. It is very like it is very just plain. Yeah. Like it's very simple, but I think it works.
Well, I think the myth that they set up around it is what makes it work. Because like the name itself is stupid, but like, I'm not gonna say stupid, but basic. Yeah. Simple, right? Effective, but simple. And I think what really sells it is like, it's a quick little bit of dialogue, but in the very beginning, Finn and his sister are like walking home or to school. I can't remember. And she keeps saying like, oh, the Grabber got another kid. Did you see or whatever? And he's like, I wish you wouldn't call him that. And she's like, oh, what? Do you believe the stories? And he's like, no, I just wish you wouldn't say it. And then she's like, you know, if you say his name, he's not really going to get you or whatever. So it almost has like a Bloody Mary type of vibe to it. Yeah, he almost becomes like this mythological character of like, don't say his name or he's going to come get you, which I think like makes it more effective for sure. But yeah, it's good. I like it a lot. I think I'm going to get it out of the way now because it was really the only gripe that I had. But like, I think in general, horror movies have to set up like an idea of safety in the beginning in order for all of that to get upturned and then for it to scare you. It lasted maybe a little too long for me in this movie. Like, I think it's almost like the first 30 to 40 minutes before like he actually gets captured. I could be wrong. Maybe I elongated it in my head. But it felt a little long to me until shit hit the fan. But everything,
I think they do take a while to like set up everything.
Like when Finn actually gets grabbed, because like in the very, very beginning, we see Bruce Yamada, who is like a fellow baseball player with Finn on the opposite team, right? Gets captured after their big game or whatever. And fucking, shit goes down and Bruce is gone and Finn's pretty affected by it. It's not like a close friend of his or anything like that, but
he just knows him from baseball.
Yeah, but he's still tripped out either way. And then the movie continues. We kind of get the sense that what's his name gets bullied a lot. Finn gets bullied a lot, right? We almost see it happen, but then the homeboy steps in. Fucking one of the most highlight characters in a movie that I've seen. He's good.
Favorite character in any fucking movie. The awesome. Homie Robin Arellano. Oh my god, this guy was sick, bro. Fucking awesome.
Yeah, he was cool as fuck. Yeah, he's because for one, he can hold his. He's a little kid. He's like about the same height as Finn and probably just as skinny. But the motherfucker can hold his own because like in the very first scene that we're introduced to him in, he takes on a kid who's like. Maybe not twice his size, but like,
dude, probably like fucking twice his size.
Almost like maybe like 0.5 times his size.
Well, he's taller and then he's also fucking bigger. Bigger. So he's for sure twice his size.
But the other thing too is we also get the sense that like whether it's self stuff or he actually went through some, and maybe this was just like a disconnect between the choreography and what they intended for the character. But like from what it looks like, the kid Robin has some kind of like fight training. Because he's like doing grapples and shit and like kind of boxing and stuff, So it's like not like he obviously has a leg up. He's not just like a big kid who wants to like fight. Like he knows how to fight. Yeah. And again, whether that's like
especially towards the end when he's like teaching him how to fight.
Yeah. So whether that was learned on the street or like actual trained or whatever, like he has an advantage. But even still, it's very satisfying to see him take on this like bully kid who's like just obviously bigger than him.
Fuck out of him, dude.
Tears him up hard. So it's like. It's a weird, like, off-putting thing because I think they do try to make you uncomfortable with it, I think, because he fucking wails on him for, like, a really long time.
Yeah, you too where I was like, damn.
Yeah, it's like, chill, bro. Holy shit. Like, after the third or fourth one, you're probably good, but he goes for, like, fucking 8-10 times just fucking punching this kid in the fucking teeth, bro, like, bleeding all hardcore. And obviously our main character, Finn, is, like, not comfortable with it. Finny, yeah, so he walks away. But then later we realize that the two of them are actually friends, and like we don't know if they're super close friends, but like they obviously are like cool with each other. The sense that I got was that like Finny tutors him a lot, because I mean if the kid can fight, he can't be smart at the same time.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
so like,
that
classic,
was a pretty like
classic tropes, I guess. Like, you know, the kid who can fight obviously can't
It's
be
stupid.
smart. Yeah, I guess.
so stupid.
That was a little basic to me too. I thought it was like maybe a little unnecessary. You could have just told me that they were friends and I'd be fine with it. It didn't have to be that dynamic, but that's what they give us, and they seem to have like a pretty cool relationship. Like I said, I don't know if they were like best fucking friends or anything like that, but they seem like tight enough.
They seemed good enough friends to where like, yeah, Robin's willing to stick up.
He's looking out for him.
Yeah, to when he's in the bathroom and all those kids are picking on him, and he's like, he walks in, he's like,
"What's going on, bro?"
What's up, motherfuckers? And all the kids are like,
yeah.
He's fucking just washing off his fucking bloody ass knuckles. That was the moment where I was just like, damn, is this kid the best fucking movie character I've ever seen in my fucking life? Because he just walks in like a fucking G.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, what's going on? And all these kids are fucking scared the fuck out of him. And Finney's just like, oh, nothing, dude. Just, you know, keeping on, you know?
I don't know exactly which character to put the Enter the Dragon thing in. But you've said that a few times, and I very much keep thinking of the scene that we're talking about, where it's like, this was the best shit ever. And then you could be like, what about this guy? And you'd be like, okay. But it's like, right now, though, this is the best fucking
This
shit.
is the best guy.
Like,
this is the best guy I've ever fucking seen in my life. Just because he's so sick. Like, he comes off and he's just like nothing ever happened. Just like starts washing off his knuckles. He's like, yeah, that fool had fucking sharp ass teeth, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
You know, one thing that like I wish one movie I mean, they do it in like comedy, but I feel like they never do it in like serious stuff. Like, and this is like more serious, but not super serious. Is like, I've only ever punched someone once, and I've gotten like not hardcore, but like I've gotten punched once, and both times that this has happened, that shit fucking hurts, bro.
Yeah.
Even just like a little slug fucking hurts because you're punching bone. So like, it's a movie and I get it. But no way that kid's knuckles aren't fucking like fucked up, you know?
Oh,
like,
no,
he's not
fuck
just
no.
gonna wash them off and tape them up and be like,
Well, it's probably got a broken hand.
100%, he fucked up his hand from like wailing on it. But again, it's a movie, so we forgive it. It's fine. But I do like every time I see it, I'm like, just once, give it to me. Where it's like, yeah, I fucked him up, but I also fucked my hand up too, or something, you know?
I just like to do the fact that he just like puts paper towels on his hand and just like puts the tape over it and just like, what else do I fucking need, dude?
I was wondering what he was doing because I
cast.
saw him washing it and I was like, why is he taping his hand up? But then I saw like the paper towels underneath and I was like, all right, that's cool. That's
You're like,
fine.
oh, he's trying to be responsible.
Yeah, he's bandaging himself and shit. And he's like super hardcore too because he's like, psh, God, it's great. Like all nonchalant. He's like, fucking bled through all first period, bro. It was so annoying.
Yeah.
like it's
that
not
shit fucking sucks.
Yeah, dude.
I hate bleeding.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, holy shit, you're hardcore, Robin.
Yeah.
I was hella sad when he got, honestly.
So
like,
sad. But
Did
yeah,
I
after that we see like fucking. Is that when we see Bruce fucking just going down the fucking?
I think that's even before that.
Yeah.
It's like right after the baseball scene in the beginning.
Yeah, right after the baseball scene, we see Bruce riding down the fucking street, and then we see a black van,
and we just cut,
and it just fades out.
Yeah,
you know, and we're just like, oh,
yeah,
we're led to believe that he probably got stolen, and then freaking that's when we have
hear
the
about
opening
it
credits.
Yes, yeah,
and then we see like the missing person like posters and shit like that. So, yeah, nuts shit. Then we see all that shit with Robin and freaking Finn at the school.
Yeah.
And then we get a glimpse of Finn's home life, which is not very good.
It's very intense.
Very fucking sketch. Him and his sister are very close, but that's because their dad is a piece of fucking shit and beats the fuck out of him.
Yeah, we only see him hit the daughter, but you get the sense that they both get it, obviously. But yeah, there's a scene super hardcore. It was very hard to watch, but they literally have a whole scene. They're not showing like the contact or anything, but you have the dad whipping the girl fully in frame without any breaks for like a cool 10 to 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Just like him fucking yelling at her and her just like crying. And it is very hard to watch. It's for sure super disturbing. So like I did like that. What I liked was that like I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I think I was saying that it took too long for them to get to like the meat and potatoes or whatever, but that actually gives you a good sense of horror as well before you get to the actual like supernatural stuff of like spirits talking through the phone. They still set up like, like they're still in danger even when they're home. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, they do get to it quick enough with that stuff. Definitely. And I really, 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 in general, anytime this happens, I really appreciate when they show like a healthy brother-sister relationship.
Oh, yeah.
And like, again, I'm going to go ahead and call my bias on this. Like, it's probably due to the fact that like my sister is arguably one of my, if not like my closest ride or fucking die. Because like we're close in age, we're only 3 years apart, so like we've always grown up to like super close on stuff. So I always appreciate when I see it, because like, do I understand that it's maybe like not normalcy? Yeah, I get it, but it is also possible, and so I like that.
It's easy to throw in the trope of like the brother and sister hate each other.
Yes, and so to do it effectively, and to actually make it feel warm and compassionate, and like actually like there's real love between these siblings, like, is good. And I think it's healthy, because the kids are very easily influenced by the things that they watch, and if you show a teenage boy a movie where the brother is a dick to his younger sister, by osmosis, he's probably going to act like a dick to his younger sister. So I think this is a really good and healthy depiction of like a sibling relationship where like, yeah, you don't have to be a dick to your younger sibling, whether you're a brother or a sister or an older sibling, whatever it is, right? Like, you don't have to go with the classic trope of like, oh, get away from me, you're so young and stupid. Oh, yeah. Like whatever, like it was really good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
They sold me on that super well.
Yeah, that show was awesome. And then, we get, not super quick, but, we get to see, Robin get stolen, which kind of fucking sucks.
He's like on the way to the supermarket or something like that. And he's like taking kind of a sketchy route. He's like walking behind the buildings. And again, we just see a glimpse of the black truck, and then you cut away. And, obviously that affects Finney pretty hard in both like a psychological and a physical way, because he's missing his friend, but also he doesn't have his protection anymore.
Yeah, exactly. He goes to school and he gets beat the fuck up by his by those bullies, and his sister has to try to protect him.
Fucking smacks that motherfucker with a rock.
Was fucking awesome.
Savage, bro.
Loved that shit. But then that fool gets beat up, goes to class, gets paired up with his crush, pretty much, which I thought was pretty fucking
definitely
cool. But then when he's walking back home from school, homie gets abducted.
100%.
by the grabber. And you see how he does it, does his playful little fucking thing, drops some groceries. And then, Finn, being like a good kid, is like,
I'll help you out.
Yeah, I'll help you out. And then no, just gets stolen. And that's when we get into the fucking shit. We also forgot to touch on that his sister Gwenny is like
kind of psychic,
this clairvoyant type shit, which I thought was cool. That kind of just threw me off, because they don't really get too much into it. It's just like, oh yeah, she can see shit in her dreams. And this is just kind of like, I don't know. It was just kind of random for me in this story that is very grounded and something that is super real, and like child abduction and shit like that. Just be like, hey, this kid also can hear fucking ghosts.
Yeah, I mean, I was okay with it. Like, I would attribute.
It was fun. I was
gonna, because the other thing too is like, I would attribute to something like Carrie. Like Carrie also deals with like bullying and like standing up for yourself, but she also just happens to have superpowers. Yeah,
but I think early on it's like established that it's just weird the way they play it, and like with Carrie, like you just see like straight up like she can just do shit like with her mind, and that's just like, okay, she can fucking she can do shit, she's teleconnect, she can do all this fucking shit. But then with like Gwenny, it's just like, oh, you have these dreams, and like, yeah, they fucking come true sometimes, but it's like, what, like, just give me a little bit more. They try to touch on it with her, like her mom and stuff like that, but it's like, give me just a tiny bit more. And I think I'm down with it like a little bit more. And I think just by proxy, like through the brother, you're just supposed to assume that like, oh, he also has these fucking powers because he hears the fucking phone and shit like that.
Yeah, well, I think in general, there's a couple of things that they don't really explain. And I think we've talked about this before, but I think our qualms with this kind of stuff just happens because you and I happen to be lore heads.
Yeah.
We really like the explanation for
we just want to know shit.
Yeah. So like, because I get it. Like I had some of the same reactions, not so much with Gwen, but with the grabber. Because it's told to us by one of the spirits, like, you're the only one who could hear the phone. The only other one who could hear the phone was him, but like he doesn't want to admit it or whatever.
Yeah.
And for me, that was the one where I was like, oh, give me a little bit more of that. Like, where's the like? Because at first I was like, are they gonna pull some weird like time jump loop shit, and like Finn is actually the grabber in the future? Because like the kid gave me Ethan Hawke vibes, and he had the same long hair that the grabber does. And they're the only two that's confirmed to us in the movie that they can hear the black phone.
Yeah.
So that was the first thought that initially popped into my head. I was like, is this the same person? Is there like some weird magic or fucking something or other going on here where like they're the same kindred spirit or whatever it might be? So like I for sure had that same thought where it's like, damn, there's some cool stuff that they could expand upon here. But at the same time, I think there are certain moments where like I try to remember like, okay, this is not necessarily crucial to the story that they're trying to tell. Yeah. Do I wish that I had that information? Yes, but it doesn't actually affect what's happening within the context of this hour 45, really. Mm-hmm. You know, like not knowing that stuff doesn't really like detriment. So it was a weird balance for me too, because I was like, fuck, I want the backstory of this world, of this universe. It seems interesting. Yeah. But it's okay. It's not like the worst, but it's just like it's like an itch in the back of my mind, you know?
Yeah, it felt kind of not weird, but like
the beginning is.
It was just random to throw something supernatural like this again into something that just feels so grounded, and just to be like, oh yeah, there's this crazy supernatural element to it. Did
you watch the trailer or anything? Had you like?
I remember watching it. Yeah.
Okay, because it didn't throw me so much, and maybe it's because like I had the trailer in mind, so like I knew the supernatural stuff was gonna happen, you know, like I was already aware that like he was gonna talk to spirits through the black phone.
I knew it too, but I think it still felt just like random to me at the same time. The fact that it just happens, like this was just hearing the fucking phone. I don't know. It was just
well, because what I liked about it was that the real supernatural thing that is like intense to me is him talking to spirits on the phone. Yeah. So the fact that they start to slowly introduce the supernatural element through Gwenny seeing the abducted kids' like history in a sense through her dreams worked for me, because like she starts to dream about Bruce at first, right? And like we get the montage of like him growing up and like how he liked baseball as a kid and stuff like that. I don't think we get one for Robin, but like I said, for me, that was a good introduction into the supernatural stuff, because they kept it vague enough to where they weren't trying to jump full on into the boat of like, we're in some magic shit now. Like they still kept it sort of a mystery, you know? And so for me, the tension of like, what's going on in this world worked, because it helped to add to like the confusion and the suspense of it, you know, because I think movies like this need to keep you somewhat confused until the end comes around. Yeah. So for me,
can't give you everything.
No, so it was effective. Like I said, is the itch still in the back of my mind? Yes, because I want the lore. I want to know why. But it was effective for the movie and the story that they were trying to tell, and that I can't deny. So yeah, it's like it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, like I liked it. It just felt weird to me at times.
Just jump into it.
That I was just like, oh yeah, supernatural, but then we're not supernatural, but then we're supernatural, but then we're not. But it was cool. I liked it. Yeah,
the thing that I will say this is like the one that pushed me too far was when the spirits kind of like started messing with the world around him. It doesn't happen too much, but like I was fine with the dreams. I bought into the phone. Totally cool. When the bottle starts spinning on its own and like pointing to stuff, that was a moment that took me out a little bit, where I was like, okay, maybe this is a little too far. Like we don't necessarily need to cross that line. I already believe you. Like I'm already down. I'm already sold that there's some new supernatural shit happening. You don't have to show me a floating bottle. You know what I mean? That felt like taking a step too far for me. So that was when I crossed that threshold of like, all right, chill out, you guys. It's okay. But like up until that, and even after that, like I think what they do with the supernatural stuff is good, and it's like I think it's unique and pretty creative. Like I really liked the way they treated the audio when he's talking to the spirits, because he's on the conversation on the phone, and physically as the audience members we can see the kids in like, you know, whatever horrible state they were left in, like blood and shit. Yeah. In the room mouthing the words, but their dialogue is still filtered through the phone, which I thought was really cool. I liked that a lot. It definitely was like kind of eerie and just like helped to sell this idea of like, okay, he's just communicating with like a non-physical spirit, but for our understanding of the emotion of that non-physical spirit on the other end, it helps to have a physical representation of like what's happening. So that I thought was cool. I liked that a lot. I thought that was solid.
Yeah. Yeah, that shit was pretty fucking sick.
No, yeah, that was cool.
That was another part that I think at first was a little jarring to me, because it was just like all of a sudden like the spirits are just there. Yeah. But I think over time of the movie, like I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Well, because then you start to realize like, okay, they're not actually there.
Yeah.
Like it's more just for me to understand that it's like they're in the room with him or whatever, like type of vibe. But yeah, it was good. I liked the buildup of Gwenny trying to like figure stuff out, and like also I'm a big potty mouth, so like I loved a lot of her lines. Like one of my favorites is when she's like first getting interviewed by the police, and she's like, "What would I do, you stupid fucking fart knocker?"
Yeah, that
or like
was
whatever
awesome.
she said. I was like, "Fuck yeah, tell those fucking pigs, kid."
Yeah.
That was great. Yeah, and then like.
That's when I was like, damn, these kids in this movie are fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude, they're great. They got a lot of really good kid actors for this movie. Even just the smaller parts for like some of the other kids who were abducted. Like they only have a few moments to shine, but they really sell it. Like they do a good job. But the other one I really like too is it's like early on in like after one of the first or second dreams, we see Gwenny like praying in front of her little dollhouse, and it's very sweet, very simple. She's like, "Please, Jesus, like, just help me find my brother. Help me have one more dream to help me find him, whatever, and it'll be fine." And, like, that happens a few times. She starts to get more jaded. And then by, like, the third or fourth time, she's like, "What the fuck, Jesus?
Yeah.
Help me out, man. I thought you were real, dog."
I don't even know if you're real anymore. Yeah.
Like
that full Santa Claus or something.
That shit made me laugh. That was good. Because it's also real, you know? Like, it's pretty legit, too.
Yeah.
So, like, but it was also good comedic relief in, like, a pretty heavy movie. I don't think it's anything that's going to, like, fuck you up really hard unless you have, like, you already have some trauma based around this type of real life tragedy like child abduction, then obviously it's gonna be intense. Maybe don't watch it, but otherwise I don't think it's like super hardcore, like I don't think it's really intense. It's a pretty easy watch if you're like adverse to horror.
Yeah, it was pretty like, again, I'm pretty new on horror, so it was like I was sitting there like, huh, what's gonna fucking happen?
Yeah.
So
I would say it's like mystery thriller more than it is like horror. Like I don't think the movie ever tries to like scare you necessarily. It just kind of tries to put you off guard a lot more than anything.
I will say there were times where I was just like, so this grabber guy, is he just not like observant about like this whole room that he has built? Does he just not notice the bars are off the window?
Yeah.
Does he not notice this random fucking carpet just laying on the fucking floor that might have an indent in the carpet, So there was a few times where I was just like, this fool does not know what's like going on here.
Yeah, no, I agree, because I think one of my like thoughts and like theories, I guess you could say, is like earlier on in the movie is he starts to the grabber in one of the early sequences when he's talking to Finney is like, I got to be careful, otherwise he'll notice. And then Finney's like, him or whatever. He's like, oh, so there's a he up there, right? And eventually that's revealed to just be his fucking idiot brother. But like,
hey, what's up? I'm Max, man.
Yeah.
Do you want to figure out how I found you back here?
Fucking axe in the back of the head. That was good. That was solid. That's like that. I was wondering, he looked really familiar to me, and I looked him up after. He plays Eddie in It Chapter 2, the newer rendition of it.
Okay.
Grown up Eddie. Yeah.
Okay.
The like germ kid, the one who's like, but yeah, at first I was hopeful, and I'm not gonna go so far as to say I was disappointed, but like I would have wished that supernatural element was doubled down on, and that the he that they were talking about was like some kind of scary supernatural force that like Ethan Hawke's character, the grabber, was like obeying. That's the route I thought they were gonna take.
I thought they were going on some like multiple personality type shit, because he had like the masks that had like the different faces.
It's like the top part, the bottom part, and then there's like the smiley face one, and there's also like the frowny face.
And there's
one.
Also just a blank face.
Oh yeah,
one
where
too.
there's nothing. That's right. Yeah.
So I thought there was gonna be something with that. Like I thought there was gonna be like a split personalities type shit that was going on.
Yeah, that would have been cool too.
Yeah.
No, there's not. Yeah. Yeah,
it almost felt like it, because I felt like at times when he had the different faces on, he was talking differently, but then there was other times when he would slip into the like, I don't know. Yeah,
I will say that like, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was like pretty good. I would recommend it to people, but like I will say that if I had to change something, or if I had like a gripe in somewhere or another, I think I could have done with a little bit more characterization on the villain part.
Yeah.
Like give him just like, he was effective enough. Mm-hmm. But I don't know anything about him, and it might have just been Maybe because he's a human and not like an actual monster. Because I think he's very much treated as a monster, right? Like in a traditional monster movie, he's almost like a Frankenstein or a werewolf or something. Like just like this bearing force that is in control of the situation, and you just have to do what you can to get out of it. But because he's a human and he talks to Finney about stuff, and we get the backstory of like, oh, he also hears the black phone. I think I was just expecting a little bit more from him as a character.
It felt like there was supposed to be a little bit more there because he makes the reference like, oh yeah, I used to hear that phone like when I was a kid. So I was like, oh, did some shit go on when he was a kid?
Are you like are you traumatized by like getting grabbed and then you ended up becoming the grabber in your later?
Yeah,
they never expand upon that.
Yeah, I feel like that is just like one of the like little weak points of the movie is like that feels like there are breadcrumbs that are leading to other places that they just kind of don't pay off.
Yeah.
Granted, I did see there's supposed to be a Black Phone 2.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if they're going to expand on more of that shit.
The other thing, too, that I just remembered now is in the opening credits, it does say based off of the short story, The Black Phone. So it's not an original idea. It comes from something else. And on top of that, the thing that it comes from is condensed. It's a short story. So it kind of makes sense that there's not like a whole ton of lore involved in it, you know? So it is what it is. Like I said, dude, like I know I am, and I know you are too. We're just lore heads, bro. Like, just give me the universe.
We just need to know more.
I want the whole universe. Give me all the stupid details that don't matter.
I just want to be fully immersed into the whole world.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it before. Like, if I watch a new movie in like a franchise or a property or something, like I'm gonna go watch the hour and a half long iceberg video that breaks down all the little facets of it. Like that's the kind of fan that I am. So
exactly.
So yeah, when I think, but also too, I think that's one of the things that like we just have to accept is it's like not all movies are that way. Like we got lucky and we're kind of spoiled where like the MCU and like all these comic book and franchise movies do that expansion, but like movies didn't give a shit about that back in the day. Yeah. And so movies that chase after that old school vibe of stuff like this don't care.
Yeah, I have to a lot of the times like remind myself of that.
This is not a franchise.
Yeah, like you don't always need to. Everything doesn't always need to be explained to you. Yeah, like you really need to do your job as a viewer and like
think about
things.
That's the point of it. Sometimes, it's meant to make you think. Yeah, but yeah, it's a hard balance, especially when they have very intriguing ideas like they do.
Yeah,
in this,
and you just want to know more.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
What do you mean this fool heard this phone as a kid? Like, I want to know, like, I want to take me back to the moment when he fucking heard it as a kid and expand on that.
Yeah, I was going to say, if they make the Black Phone 2, that's what I would like. Set it in, like, the 50s or 60s and make it Ethan Hawke's character as a young boy and what he went through when he heard the phone and shit like that, you know? Yeah.
How did you feel about the end fight scene when fucking Finn is just fucking beating the fuck out of the grabber?
I thought it was fine. Like, I think, again, it was one of those things where it's like, I would like it one day if a horror movie just doesn't feel the need to have, like, a big action sequence at the end. Like, was it satisfying? Yes. Because, like, obviously he was trapped and he gets, like, you know, the visceral revenge on his fucking kidnapper and stuff. So, like, I won't go so far as to say it wasn't satisfying, but I would like it if at one point something that is trying to be more of, like, a mind thriller doesn't devolve into just action at the end where they resolve everything with violence and punching each other in the face.
Yeah. They had a cool like Silence of the Lambs thing going on where they like, you know, thought you thought they were going to go and actually go into the house that they were in. Oh
yeah, that was good.
That was really cool.
Yes,
I liked that a lot.
And I will say too, like I liked the whole idea of okay, all these other kids slowly started to get closer to the full picture of what it would take to escape, but it's not until Finn that all of those puzzle pieces come together to help him get out. Like I like that idea.
Well, really not until Robin, because Robin's the one that's just like, hey man, you're gonna sit here and you're gonna fucking fight. It's time for you to stand up for yourself. You're gonna use everything that we fucking have taught you.
Because he uses everything, right? Because he uses the hole dug in the wall or in the floor that he learns from about Bruce, right? He fucking uses the rope that the paperboy kid tells him about when he trips. He even uses the meat locker that homeboy tells him about to distract the dog when he gets out. So like all of the phone calls.
He uses the fucking shit for the lock.
Yeah, to get out, right? Yeah. So all the phone calls were meaningful in the end, for sure. So I liked that element of it. But like I said, I think, again, even in the end, like most suspense, thriller, horror, whatever stuff does, it just, at the end, it just evolves into the
action.
Punch him in the face and it's good and you're good.
I was sitting there having a hard time believing that this kid is choking out this dude with this cord.
The only reason I could believe it was that he broke his ankle and he got smacked in the fucking face like 3 or 4 times at that point. So I could imagine he would probably be like a little bit dazed. Is it more on the unbelievable side? Yes. But he talks to ghosts in the movie. So like for me, that wasn't too bad. You know what I mean? Like if I'm going to go so far as to be like, well, that doesn't make sense. Then I have to start applying that logic to other stuff too.
That's true. That's true.
So like it was fine, but I do get where you're coming from. Cause it is more on the unbelievable side of like.
Cause I think at one point you see him with like his hands like this.
Yeah.
The cord in his hands. And it's like, how are you getting choked when the cord is not around your neck?
To be fair, the only thing I'll say is that could just be a product of movie making.
Yeah.
Is like, you know,
they didn't
obviously they're not going to
correctly.
fucking choke him. So like maybe Ethan Hawke is just,
come on, man.
Maybe it's just a
You're
bad
not going to get choked out for a role, brother?
Shit.
Come on, man.
Commit, dog.
Commit, man.
You have to actually die.
Yeah. You're telling me you're not going to fucking pass out for this role?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that it could have just been something like that, or you know, maybe they just fucked up. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
But
I also wasn't a big fan of like the phone ringing and him being like, "It's for you. This call's for you."
Oh wait, when is that?
He's literally choking him out, and then the phone starts ringing.
Yeah,
and then the kid's
and it's
just
all
like,
the kids.
Yeah, he's
that
like,
was corny. That was corny. Yeah.
It's for you.
Yeah,
that's where I was like, okay,
that's
you
when
really went full on action hero right here, and you gave him like a fucking the superhero fucking line where he's telling this fucking.
That's something that I have a problem with, even in my favorite type of stuff. You know, like it happens to me in Spider-Verse, like. Miles jumps off the roof and like you hear all of the dialogue lines that everybody said to him like 5 minutes before. And it's like, I just watched this happen. I don't need you to remind me of it in the finale. It's okay. Just do it. Like, I know that he's got the force of all of those other dead kids behind him. You don't need to have the corny fucking moment to sell it to me, you know?
Yeah.
I don't need it.
I would agree.
But a lot of people do it. I think, again, it's just like sometimes movie viewers don't take our attention spans seriously. And so they're like, they probably forgot all the shit that the kid said on the phone these last 2 hours. Let's just have them say it again in the finale or whatever, you know? So, like, it's annoying, but...
It's for you.
Yeah, it's a lot. I was like, that part is like, I don't even care about that. If he just said that, for me, it was the, like, repeating of the lines that we already heard. Where it's like, what does he say? I think like he comes in and he's like, this one's for you or whatever. And then like the bully kid with like the fucking Stranger Things kid hair says the same line, like, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, they all say the same line they've said.
It's the repeat lines that get me where I'm like, I know, I heard it, I get it.
You're running out of time.
Yeah, like I was like, okay, I get it. Yeah. So yeah, it is what it is. But I agree. It was I don't know. I'm sure there's a movie out there, but I want to find it where the problem just gets solved without... It has its place. I'm not saying it's bad all the time. Like, if a movie is an action movie, then of course I want the ending to end in a fight. But when the movie is more of like a supernatural horror thriller, I don't need it to end in like fisticuffs, you know?
Have you ever watched Prisoners?
Yes, that one's really good. We
one's
should do that actually. Yeah, because I haven't seen that in a long time. Yeah, that movie's
so
awesome.
fucking good.
That movie's really good, yeah.
Was it Paul Dano and fucking...
Paul Dano, Hugh Jackman, and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yep.
Yeah, that one's really good. We should do that movie, and we should do Zodiac, the Zodiac, with RDJ, Mark Ruffalo, and Jake Gyllenhaal. There's our connection.
Wow,
to
so
Jake
fucking
Gyllenhaal.
down.
Let's do those. Those are
the
good.
Jake Gyllenhaal episode.
Serial killer episode or whatever.
But yeah, what would you rate The Black Phone?
I'm going to give it like a strong 7, like a 7.7 or 7.8. Because it's not like killer fucking awesome, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know?
I think just by the fact that I rated the Purge an 8,
yeah.
I think I'm going to give this one an 8.5. And
Okay.
I'm not mad at that. Like, I was really pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed this movie after.
Me too.
Granted, are there a couple gripes that I have where I'm just like, that's kind of corny? But you go into any movie, no movie's going to be fucking perfect.
No,
you know?
and there's honestly bound to be corny shit in practically everything we watch too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But no, this shit was fucking sick.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
Me too.
You guys should go ahead and fucking watch this. Get ready for Black Phone 2. I don't know when the fuck it's coming out, but I saw that and I was like, all right, cool.
I'd be down for it.
I'm fucking down.
I'd check it out.
Hell yeah. But yeah, anything else to say about Black Phone or Ethan Hawke or any of these movies before we get out of here?
No, I really liked this last one. I think Ethan Hawke's a great actor across both of these movies. It was nice to see him. I don't see him in a lot of stuff in the things that I watch, so it was cool to see him. I liked it.
Oh yeah, same here. And yeah, guys, this was episode motherfucking number 79.
Oh
79.
shit!
We're almost there.
Oh shit!
Yeah, guys, episode number 79. This is TH4TV. You know where to follow us: Instagram, YouTube, all that shit. TOHIGH4TV, and that's the number 4, motherfucker. If you don't spell shit out, we fucking write shit out. We use the symbol.
The number 4, like it's math.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But all right, guys, that was our episode. I hope you guys have a good Halloween. Be safe out there. Don't do anything sketch.
Trick or treat. Happy Halloween.
Don't get into anyone's van that's black and has black
don't get
balloons.
Don't get into any vans.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, guys.
Be safe.
Be safe.
Have
Happy
fun.
Halloween.
You know what I was practicing today? I'm going to do it really quick before we cut. Because obviously I've been playing a lot of Spider-Man. I've been practicing my Venom voice.
Yeah.
And I did it for a kid today. And so it goes like this. I'm going to do it really quick. Starts as Harry first, right? And then it goes into Venom. So it's like this. No. We are Venom.
Oh, dang. That was pretty fucking good. God damn.
Not bad, right?
That was really good. Wow.
It's the last one, bro. It's the Venom.
Yeah, that was fucking good, dude. Holy shit.
In the headphones, too?
Oh, my gosh. I got fucking scared. I got goosebumps out here.
The symbiote actually came out of me right there.
I got goosebumps out here.
Just a little happy Halloween tag in for you guys.
Hell yeah. Hey, guys. Happy Halloween. Be safe. Don't eat sketch candy.
Yeah,
and,
fucking A.
Motherfucking bye.
Bye.